Xiao Ming traversed into a fantastical realm, initially desiring to cultivate in obscurity. However, he found himself falsely accused by his unscrupulous younger brother, while his parents exhibited extreme favoritism, compelling him to confess. Unable to endure any longer, he awakened the super choice system, vowing that this time, he would not succumb to oppression. In the eastern region, North Xin territory, within the Grand Hall of the Xiao family, Xiao Ming faced accusations of attempting to violate his own cousin and inflicting grave injuries upon his brother. Did he truly believe that being the young master of the Xiao family granted him the right to act with such impunity? As an enraged voice resonated, Xiao Ming's demeanor grew increasingly frigid. Originally, he was an inconspicuous young man from Blue Star, sharing the same name, Xiao Ming, who accidentally crossed over to this world 19 years ago, possessing a naturally pure young physique and being born with memories. He exhibited astonishing talent for cultivation from a young age. He commenced body refinement at 8, successfully opened his meridians at 10, entered the condensation realm at 12, achieved the Xiandan level at 15, and reached the Spirit Sea at 18. At the age of 19, he had already attained the 5th level of the Spirit Sea, making him the most prodigious talent in the Xiao family in centuries. Consequently, he naturally became the young master of the family, enjoying immense favor from his parents and relatives. However, this adulation abruptly ceased 6 months ago when his long-lost brother, Xiao Run, suddenly returned. At the tender age of 5, Xiao Run had been abducted by a mysterious old man, remaining untraceable for a full 11 years, until 6 months prior, when he unexpectedly rejoined the family, bringing immense joy to Xiao Tiansu and his wife. It was revealed that the enigmatic elder was the peak master of the Tai sacred land, possessing the formidable cultivation of the 7th realm of sainthood. He had taken Xiao Ren due to the latter's unique constitution, which harbored the embryonic form of a supreme bone. With urgent matters at hand, he took Xiao Run without hesitation to nurture him within the Tai sacred land. Now, at 16, Xiao Run, yearning for his biological parents, had returned to the family for half a year. During this time, the Xiao family, overwhelmed by the joy of his return and his extraordinary adventures, lavished him with affection. Whatever Xiao Ren desired, the family would fulfill, even though this younger brother exhibited a rather tempestuous temperament, often threatening violence. Xiao Tiansu and several elders treated him as a cherished treasure. On this particular day, this extraordinary younger brother set his sights on a cousin, intending to ensnare her in the courtyard. Unfortunately, Xiao Ming stumbled upon this ill-fated encounter. Upon realizing the situation had been exposed, his younger brother resorted to self-harm, striking his own chest and falsely accusing Xiao Ming of the injury. I regard you as family, yet you treat me like refuse? One lacks conscience, casting slander upon me, while the other indiscriminately seeks to judge me. It is truly absurd. Reflecting on the day's events, he found it ludicrous that he was unjustly labeled a criminal for merely witnessing Xiao Ren's heinous actions. Furthermore, in the 6 months since Xiao Ren's return, their parents began to show blatant favoritism, completely disregarding his feelings. A chill swept across Xiao Ming's face. Ding! A voice resonated within, detecting the host's unjust plight. The life choices system has been successfully bound, granting the host the following options. Option 1. Endure humiliation and accept the blame, apologizing to parents, younger brother, and clan members, continuing to be the exemplary eldest son and the pillar of the family's future, which rewards the host with the beginner's gift package of survival path. Option 2. Embrace death as a declaration of integrity, taking one's own life on the spot to ensure that parents and clan members live in eternal remorse and guilt, which rewards the host with the beginner's gift package of ghost path. Option 3. Sever all ties, declaring a definitive break with parents and clan, repaying the debt of upbringing, and embarking on a new life apart from the family, which rewards the host with the beginner's gift package of divine and demonic path. Option 4. Argue with reason, using eloquence to enlighten parents and clan members, helping them discern right from wrong and cleanse his name of injustice, which rewards the host with the beginner's gift package of Confucian path. At the moment when Xiao Ming felt disillusioned by his parents, a cold mechanical voice suddenly resonated in his mind, causing his gaze to sharpen. The system? Unexpectedly, his golden opportunity had awakened after 19 long years. Precisely at this critical juncture, after briefly scanning the options, Xiao Ming resolutely made his choice. System, I choose 3. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice. Receiving the beginner's gift package of divine and demonic path. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the reward, Nirvana Transformation Pill. Congratulations on acquiring the Supreme Technique, Chaos Path Demon Scripture. And congratulations on receiving the life-saving item, 1000-Mile Spirit Travel Talisman. All rewards have been automatically placed in the system space. ready for the host to extract and inherit with a single click after making the choice. Nirvana Transformation Pill contains the profoundly mysterious power of Nirvana transformation, capable of reviving the dead flesh and transforming the physical constitution of mortal beings, granting them a physique that aligns with the techniques. Chaos Path Demon Scripture, an unparalleled technique created by the Chaos Path Demon God, drawing upon the righteous energy of heaven and earth, complemented by the power of demonic energy, simultaneously mastering the forces of Tao and demon, evolving into myriad divine and demonic manifestations. Cultivating to the utmost can shatter chaos, transcending heaven and earth to become the Chaos Path Demon God. 1,000-mile spirit travel talisman. Upon use, it enables teleportation across thousands of miles, disregarding any spatial barriers regardless of cultivation level. Upon reviewing the rewards bestowed by the system, Xiao Ming felt a surge of astonishment within. Not to mention the incredible prowess of the Nirvana Transformation Pill and the Chaos Path Demon Scripture. Just the possession of the 1,000-mile spirit travel talisman alone would afford him the means to depart from the Xiao family with ease. With the system and these rewards at his disposal, why should he remain in the Xiao family to endure indignities? However, these rewards could only be extracted after completing the choice, so let him definitively sever ties with the Xiao family. Bang! You insolent wretch, why aren't you kneeling? Seeing Xiao Ming remain unperturbed under his furious rebuke, Xiao Tianzu was infuriated, smashing the tea table in his wrath. The crowd in the hall was startled, their hearts trembling. Minger, quickly kneel and admit your mistake. Apologize to your father, your brother, and your clan sister. Even if you acted impulsively, you have caused a grave disaster. If your attitude doesn't improve, even your mother cannot intercede on your behalf. After Xiao Tiankai spoke, Lin Wanqing interjected, confess? What crime should I admit to? A cold smile emerged on Xiao Ming's face as he regarded his biased parents. I am the one who committed the act. Yet I must bear the blame? Why do you not first inquire of the parties involved? You seem to judge me relentlessly, as if he is your son while I am not your son. With an icy demeanor, Xiao Ming chastised Xiao Tiankai and Lin Wanqing before pointing toward a woman in white within the hall. This woman was Xiao Yiting, a cousin he had grown up with, and they shared a bond of affection. Very well, you refuse to confess, do you? Truly unrepentant. Yiting, speak the truth. What exactly transpired? No matter who has wronged you. As your father, I shall seek justice for you. Upon hearing Xiao Ming dare to refute them, Xiao Tiansai's tone grew frigid as he turned to Xiao Yiting, commanding her loudly. As the words left his lips, Xiao Yiting trembled, revealing a hint of struggle on her face. Slowly, she raised her head, glancing first at Xiao Run and then at Xiao Ming, responding astonishingly, Master of the house, it was Xiao Ming. He invited me to the courtyard for tea, and after I drank, I lost consciousness. As for what happened afterward, I have no recollection at all. With Xiao Yiting's declaration, the hall erupted in disbelief. Everyone stared at Xiao Ming in shock, initially believing he had been wronged, only to discover that it was indeed he who had acted improperly. Realm, body refinement, opening meridians, condensing essence, profound Dan, spiritual sea, cave heaven, Dharma manifestation, nirvana, ascension, entry into sagehood, saint king, quasi-emperor, emperor monarch. Chapter 2. This child is innately rebellious and must not be spared. Alas, I never anticipated that the young master would commit such absurd acts. I once thought he was the hope of the Xiao family, but beneath the gentlemanly facade lies a heart so vile and despicable. I had warned you all that this young master was not virtuous. His past kindness to the clan was merely a facade. You all doubted my words, claiming I was envious of him. Now do you believe? Upon the young master's return, feeling neglected, his true nature has surfaced. Bah, truly a wretch. I once admired him so, only to find he is such a person. How disgraceful. After Xiao Yiting's words, whispers filled the hall. Many clan members began to secretly scorn and revile the young master who had once made them proud. Perhaps this is the fate of those who fall from grace. Xiao Ming, what else do you have to say? Without discerning the truth of her words, Xiao Tiankai erupted in fury once again, directing his wrath at Xiao Ming. A terrifying aura swept through the hall, akin to a towering mountain pressing down upon him. Yet, Xiao Ming felt no fear, standing resolute like a pine tree. The world declines, and the hearts of men grow ancient. Once I believed that justice resides in the hearts of people, that there would always be those who steadfastly uphold their moral principles. However, I was taken aback by the repugnant opportunism displayed by some. Upon hearing these words, Xiao Ming let out a cold laugh, his gaze icy as it fixed on Xiao Yiting. That look made Xiao Yiting shudder, prompting her to quickly avert her eyes. Unable to meet his gaze. What do you mean? Are you implying that Yiting would conspire with your brother to tarnish her own purity and reputation? This is utterly absurd and beyond redemption. Xiao Tian's expression darkened significantly upon hearing Xiao Ming's remarks, his voice turning even colder as he spoke. Considering you are my son, I shall grant you one final opportunity. If you earnestly admit your mistakes and seek the forgiveness of your brother and family, I may still be lenient in your punishment. Forgiveness? How utterly ludicrous. Before Xiao Tian's could finish his sentence, Xiao Ming interrupted with a cold sneer. I, Xiao Ming, dare to swear to the heavens that if what they say is true, I would willingly accept divine retribution. Do they dare to do the same? His words reverberated like thunder throughout the Xiao family hall, causing Xiao Tian's and Lin Wanqing to change countenance. In the Tsang Yuan realm, swearing to the heavens carries karmic implications. Should one's oath be false or violated, even if they do not face divine punishment, they would still be plagued by inner demons, adversely affecting their future cultivation. Thus, only those with a clear conscience dare to make such oaths. Impudent! Who permitted you to speak to your parents in such a manner and maliciously slander my character? After Xiao Ming's proclamation, the previously silent Xiao Ren suddenly erupted with fury, unleashing his cultivation as he raised his hand to strike Xiao Ming. Dare to defame me? Kneel before me. This unexpected turn of events caused the expressions of everyone in the hall to shift dramatically. It was evident that Xiao Ren was in a frenzy. To dare strike his own brother, he truly is the family's cherished one. Observing this, Xiao Ming merely sneered, channeling his own power to retaliate. The two brothers clashed in an instant, the sound of their confrontation echoing through the hall, resulting in Xiao Ren being hurled backward with a pained cry. Fortunately, Lin Wanqing reacted swiftly, catching Xiao Ren before he collided with the wall. Though endowed with the supreme bone, his physique was indeed stronger than that of his brother, Xiao Ming. Yet, Xiao Ming had 2 years of additional cultivation under his belt, and the supreme bone in Xiao Ren had yet to fully mature. At present, Xiao Ren had just broken through to the first level of the Spirit Sea realm, rendering him significantly inferior to his elder brother. Impudent! To dare injure your own younger brother before the clan. The family raised you. Is this how you repay them? Witnessing Xiao Ren being struck down, Xiao Tian's was utterly enraged. Guards, seize this ungrateful wretch. Execute him according to clan law with the fire whip, and then confine him to the dungeon for 6 months of reflection. Upon hearing Xiao Tian's command, the expressions of those present shifted dramatically. The fire whip was the most brutal punishment in the Xiao family. If Xiao Ming were to be taken to execution, even if he survived, he would surely suffer greatly. It appears that this head of the family is quite serious. It is clear that he initiated the conflict, yet only I face punishment. Truly, you are a commendable father and family leader. Upon hearing Xiao Tian's command, a glint of coldness flickered in Xiao Ming's eyes as he continued in a tone devoid of emotion. In that case, from this day forth, our ties are severed. I, Xiao Ming, shall no longer be a member of the Xiao family. Do you wish to betray the Xiao family? At the utterance of these words, the expressions of the Xiao clan shifted dramatically. Xiao Tian's demeanor darkened, his gaze fixed icily upon Xiao Ming. The family has nurtured you for so many years, expending vast resources to cultivate you to this level, and you would consider betraying us over a trivial matter. As Xiao Tian's words fell, Lin Wanqing's face was also one of profound disappointment. Minger, you have truly let your mother down. Your brother acted impulsively, but you should not have harmed him. Now you wish to sever ties with us? What of the sacrifices made by your father and mother? Do you not owe your gratitude to the Xiao family for their years of support? Upon hearing such rebellious remarks from Xiao Ming, Lin Wanqing did not take them lightly. She adopted the demeanor of a mother scolding her child, delivering a stern lecture to Xiao Ming. After all, Xiao Ming had always been sensible and obedient, deeply attached to the Xiao family. How could he easily sever their relationship? After all this talk, you merely believe that because you gave me life and nurtured me, I owe you everything, and thus can be coerced into compliance. You even imposed baseless accusations upon me, forcing me to bear the blame for that wretched creature, becoming a sacrifice to appease your favored son and the holy land of Tai. Faced with the moral coercion of these unworthy parents, Xiao Ming mockingly retorted without mercy. Be silent. Both Xiao Tiansu and Lin Wanqing could not contain their outrage at the unmasking of the truth. Can you not bear it? Xiao Ming, undeterred, laughed derisively. You know full well the nature of this scoundrel. However, because he possesses the supreme bone and has the holy land of Tai backing him, coupled with his inexplicable disappearance for 11 years, you believe yourselves indebted to him. Thus, you seek to placate him and shield his misdeeds, hoping to instill in him a sense of belonging to the Xiao family. In the future, should he become the saint of the holy land of Tai, or even a powerful figure, the Xiao family could rise strongly through him. Not just you two, but even the others share in this folly. With these words, the Xiao clan was thrown into a state of unrest. The elders, their faces ashen, erupted in a chorus of stern rebukes. To dare slander the esteemed elders of the Xiao family, this child is utterly audacious. His cultivation should be abolished, and he expelled from the Xiao family. Disrespecting one's parents and showing disdain for kin is a sign of inherent rebellion in this child. He must not be permitted to remain. Initially, I contemplated leniency, given his status as the family's young master and his prior contributions. However, this child shows no signs of repentance. If the Xiao family does not impose severe punishment, how can we command respect in the future? As a parent, to have given birth to such a child is indeed a lamentable fate. To strip him of his cultivation and cast him out of the Xiao family? I had already intended to sever all ties with you, so there is no need for you to go to such lengths. At this, Xiao Ming let out a cold laugh, his gaze directed toward the couple, Xiao Tiansu and Lin Wanqing. Since you believe that the family has given me life and raised me, I am inherently indebted to you. Thus, today, I shall return to you all my cultivation and the body you bestowed upon me. With that declaration, Xiao Ming's cultivation erupted violently, his blood and true essence surging forth uncontrollably. Unfilial son, what are you trying to do? Upon hearing Xiao Ming's terrifying words, Xiao Tiansu's expression changed drastically. Even Lin Wanqing and the other members of the Xiao family gasped in shock. Within the Xiao family's loft lies an ancient secret method that enables one to instantaneously burn away all cultivation, self-destruct their constitution, and condense a bone relic. Consuming this relic can cause a transformation in the root constitution of another. The value of this relic is sufficient to repay your nurturing grace. As the words fell, Xiao Ming formed a mysterious seal with his hands, and his internal true essence and blood instantaneously reversed. The pure yang energy and all his cultivation coalesced into a bone relic with a single spurt of blood. This action caused Xiao Tiansu and Lin Wanqing's pupils to dilate, their faces finally revealing an unprecedented panic. Stop it, unfilial son. Ming or no? But by the time they reacted, it was already too late. The bone relic had fully formed, and Xiao Ming's entire cultivation was rendered null, the pure yang aura dissipating entirely. His once black hair turned white in that moment, as if proclaiming the injustice he had suffered today. At this instant, the entire Xiao family hall fell into a profound silence, everyone staring blankly at Xiao Ming and the relic hovering before him, unable to fathom how events had escalated to such a degree. The young master, once a source of familial pride, had turned so extreme after enduring unfounded grievances. To self-destruct one's cultivation and destroy their constitution, none present could match such resolve. This individual has truly lost his mind. Be it the grace of birth or the grace of nurturing, this bone relic is sufficient to settle all debts of gratitude. From this day forth, I, Xiao Ming, shall have no further ties with either of you or the Xiao family. With that, Xiao Ming turned and departed without a trace of longing. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have completed the choice. All rewards are now unlocked, and the host can retrieve them with a single command. At the moment Xiao Ming turned away, the system notification rang out, bringing a smile to his face. The 3 grand rewards have been secured, and from this moment forth, the horizon is vast, welcoming a new future. As they watched Xiao Ming's departing figure, everyone exchanged bewildered glances. Neither Xiao Tiansu nor Lin Wanqing, nor the elders of the Xiao family, knew what to say. A glimmer of pain and guilt flashed in Xiao Yiting's eyes. Had it not been for her fear of the Tai Holy Land behind Xiaoren, worrying that offending this disciple would result in future grudges and retaliation, she might have revealed the truth instead of shifting the blame onto Xiao Ming. Perhaps the situation would not have escalated to this point. Wait, did I permit you to leave? Just as Xiao Ming was about to exit the hall, Xiaoren suddenly spoke with a malevolent expression, his voice laced with a chilling coldness. Since you have severed ties with our parents, you are no longer my brother. Now it is my turn to settle the score. Upon hearing Xiaoren's words, the crowd's expression changed dramatically. They stared at Xiaoren in disbelief, completely unprepared for such a declaration. Renner, what do you intend to do? Your brother is already incapacitated. What accounts do you still wish to settle? Lin Wanqing asked nervously, her face etched with concern. Yet, before she could finish her sentence, Xiaoren interrupted her. What brother? Did you not hear that he has already severed ties with us? Do you still wish to shamelessly call him your brother? Does he deserve such a title? Coldly cutting off Lin Wanqing, Xiaoren turned his gaze upon Xiao Ming. As a traitor of the Xiao family, not only did you slander my character, but you also dared to harm me. You truly must be tired of living. With that, Xiaoren immediately summoned his powers, a terrifying killing intent rapidly enveloping the space. Renner, what is the meaning of this? Do you wish to take his life? Xiao Tiansu, now fully aware of the situation, looked at his younger son in shock, never having anticipated such ruthlessness. As a core disciple of the Tai Holy Land, with the prospect of becoming a holy son, how could I allow a family traitor to humiliate me so? This is an affront to the Holy Land. If this matter reaches my master's ears, even with my intervention on behalf of the Xiao family, they will face the wrath of the Holy Land. Thus, I cannot allow this traitor to leave unscathed." As these words fell, the members of the Xiao family felt a chill run down their spines, their hearts trembling as they looked at Xiao Ren. They had thought his return was a blessing for the Xiao family. But now it seemed they had welcomed a cold-blooded fiend. One misstep, and the Xiao family could be doomed. Was Xiao Ren not joining the Holy Land, but rather a merciless demon? "Renner, do not act this way. I implore you. Your brother, no matter the circumstances, is still your kin." Lin Wanqing, in a state of turmoil, pleaded with tear-filled eyes. However, before she could complete her plea, it only served to further provoke Xiao Ren. "Silence. I shall say it once more. He is not my brother. Merely a blind, traitorous fool who knows not the value of life." Xiao Ren let out a furious roar before turning his gaze toward Xiao Ming. His expression grew ever more menacing, his face alight with a sense of cruel satisfaction. What of blood relations? Those who dared to provoke him would inevitably meet their demise. Not only did he dominate the clan, attempting to dishonor his own sister, but now he sought to kill his brother. Is this the cherished son you hold dear, truly a source of irony? As Xiao Ren advanced menacingly, none among the Xiao family, including his parents, dared to intervene. Xiao Ming sneered, remarking on the sorrow of being a parent to such a son. "Kneel before me, you wretch." Xiao Ren, infuriated by the words, unleashed his power, striking down on Xiao Ming with devastating intent. In that critical moment, Xiao Tiansu and several clan members involuntarily closed their eyes, unwilling to witness the gruesome fate that awaited Xiao Ming at the hands of his own brother. However, just as Xiao Ren approached within 10 paces, a talisman suddenly appeared in Xiao Ming's hand, igniting with a brilliant light, distorting the very fabric of space around him. A teleportation talisman? Xiao Ren was taken aback. Such a life-saving artifact was extraordinary. Even within the sacred grounds, only the most esteemed disciples possessed such a treasure. To his astonishment, his own elder brother wielded such a relic. "We shall meet again." Xiao Ming's voice, cold as ice, lingered in the air as he vanished from the Xiao family hall. Xiao Ren, momentarily halted, collided with the wall, creating a gaping hole in the structure. The hall fell into a profound silence, all present staring blankly ahead. They had presumed Xiao Ming was doomed, only to discover he had concealed a trump card. Cursed be it, he managed to escape. Unable to crush his elder brother with a single blow, Xiao Ren's eyes blazed with rage. He commanded a pursuit of the traitor. He must not be allowed to live. As that declaration echoed through the hall, the expressions of Xiao Tiansu and others shifted dramatically. "What? Ren, your brother is already incapacitated. Will you not relent?" Lin Wanqing gazed at Xiao Ren in disbelief, nearly fainting in Xiao Tiansu's embrace. The rift between brothers was already a misfortune, but now to escalate it into a deadly conflict was a calamity upon calamities. What wrong had she, Lin Wanqing, committed to see her two sons at odds? Disrespectful to parents, betraying kin. This son is not only despicable and treacherous, but also harbors a vengeful spirit. Just based on his previous words, if we do not eliminate him soon, we shall surely face his retribution in the future. Therefore, he must die? Upon hearing Lin Wanqing's words, Xiao Ren slowly turned, responding in a voice as chilling as frost. But Ren, your brother is already ruined." Lin Wanqing trembled at the response. Still wishing to secure a path for Xiao Ming, it remains unclear whether this stems from a deep-seated guilt or genuine affection for him. "Enough. He has severed ties with us. Do you still dare to show pity for him here? Is your intention to further tarnish my reputation?" Before Lin Wanqing could finish her retort, she was furiously interrupted by Xiao Ren. "At this moment, I am your son, your only son. You surely do not desire to lose another child after having lost one already, do you?" As these words fell, Lin Wanqing's complexion turned an ashen hue, her body trembling incessantly, yet she remained speechless, tears cascading down her cheeks. "Issue my command. Initiate a nationwide manhunt for Xiao Ming. Upon any sighting of him, he must be brought back to the Xiao family. Regardless of life or death, I must see him." Upon hearing Lin Wanqing and Xiao Ren's exchange, Xiao Tiansu's expression shifted before he solemnly issued the warrant. This caused the members of the Xiao family to gasp in astonishment. It was evident that the head of the family had unequivocally allied himself with Xiao Ren, even if this younger son wished to eliminate his elder brother. Xiao Tiansu. Upon hearing this decree, Lin Wanqing felt her legs weaken, nearly collapsing to the ground. Overwhelmed by despair, she covered her face and fled the hall of the Xiao family. "Father, your wisdom is profound." Xiao Ren glanced at his father, a satisfied smile gracing his lips. A true man knows no mercy. Such actions befit his father, ensuring he would be deserving of future favors. With matters having escalated to this point, there was no turning back. Xiao Tiansu, with a complex expression, could only sigh internally. He clearly perceived that Xiao Ren and Xiao Yiting had conspired to frame Xiao Ming. Yet, one misstep leads to another, with the situation now irreversible. He could only continue down this flawed path. After all, this youngest son was allied with a powerful force and would undoubtedly become his support in the future. When choosing between his two sons, only a fool would make the wrong choice. Today's events must remain confidential, otherwise, the consequences will be dire. Suppressing his inner turmoil, Xiao Tianzu cast a sweeping glance at the assembly and warned in a grave tone. Head of the family, Miss Su has arrived. Just as Xiao Tianzu concluded his orders, a guard rushed in, delivering the news. Miss Su? Xiao Tianzu was momentarily taken aback, uncertain of her identity. She is none other than Su Qingwei, who grew up alongside young master Xiao Ming and was betrothed to him in childhood. She arrived with a veiled woman who claimed to be a core disciple of the Fuyao sacred ground, stating she had urgent matters to discuss with both the head of the family and the young master. The Fuyao sacred ground? Upon hearing this, Xiao Tianzu's expression changed dramatically as he queried urgently. Did she mention her relation to the person? She did not specify, but the subordinate overheard her refer to that individual as senior sister. The attendant replied truthfully, causing Xiao Tianzu's expression to shift once more. The Fuyao sacred ground. This indeed stands as a sacred force that ranks alongside the Tai sacred land, the Yaoquan sacred land, the Jiuyou demon gate, and the Daqian sacred dynasty, collectively recognized as the 5 great dominators of the northern Xian realm. Although it was known that the young lady from the Su family possessed a rather unique constitution, it was unexpected that she could become an acolyte of the Fuyao sacred land. However, considering the timing of her arrival with her senior sister, could it be that she intends to resolve the marriage agreement established with the Xiao family before embarking on her training at the Fuyao sacred land? As Xiao Tianzu pondered this, the two women had already traversed the front courtyard and made their way directly to the hall of the Xiao family. Upon learning of a visitor from the sacred land, yet receiving no prompt welcome, the serene lady in a plain dress remarked coolly to her companion, junior sister. It seems the Xiao family does not hold you in high regard. Upon entering the hall, the poised Su Qingwei felt a tinge of embarrassment. Yunling, please don't be this way. The Xiao family and the Su family have long-standing ties. Perhaps they were preoccupied with some matters earlier, she quickly interjected, attempting to diffuse the tension as Yunling seemed poised to assert dominance. Ah, it is my dear niece Su. It has been several years since we last met, and I see you have grown remarkably, Xiao Tianzu exclaimed with a hearty laugh, stepping forward to greet her. After lavishly praising Su Qingwei, his gaze turned quizzical as he regarded Yunling. Then he asked with feigned ignorance, did I hear mention of a sacred land? Could it be that this ethereal maiden beside my niece is one of the young luminaries from the Fuyao sacred land? Indeed, Fuyao sacred land. Yunling, the latter replied, slightly nodding, her voice as cold as the winter breeze. She bears the appearance of a generation's prodigy. Yunling, could it be that you are one of the 3 core disciples most likely to ascend as a saintess from the Yunnu peak of the Fuyao sacred land? Upon hearing this, both Xiao Tianzu and Xiao Ren's expressions shifted, their astonishment evident as they regarded her. As the head of the Xiao family and a disciple of the sacred land, they were somewhat acquainted with the prodigious talents among the 5 great dominators, including this illustrious woman commanding respect within the Fuyao sacred land. To their surprise, she had come to visit alongside the daughter of the Su family, seemingly to bolster Su Qingwei's standing. Ah, so it is the renowned fairy from the Fuyao sacred land. Indeed, your reputation precedes you, Xiao Tianzu remarked. It appears my niece has successfully entered the Fuyao sacred land. This is truly a cause for celebration. With his suspicions swirling in his mind, Xiao Tianzu cupped his hands in a gesture of inquiry. You two have come to the Xiao family today. Could it be concerning the marriage agreement made between myself and the head of the Su family 11 years ago? Yunling and Su Qingwei nodded in response, the latter appearing somewhat apprehensive, as if feeling a hint of embarrassment. I understand. Seeing your reactions, it is clear, Xiao Tianzu responded with a knowing smile, exuding a sense of ease. The marriage proposal from years past was a capricious arrangement made by myself and your esteemed father after a convivial evening, neglecting the feelings of young Miss Su. Since she finds this union somewhat inappropriate, I shall take it upon myself today to annul this engagement. Henceforth, you may venture to the sacred land of Fuyao without concern. Wait, just as Xiao Tianzu was about to finish his statement, Su Qingwei abruptly interjected. Uncle Xiao, I don't believe I ever mentioned that I came to withdraw from the engagement, did I? How dare you presume to decide on my behalf? Su Qingwei, the protagonist's betrothed, is tentatively one of the beauties. Yunling, Su Qingwei's senior sister, has yet to have her role fully conceived. Chapter 5. Inheriting the engagement? The Xiao family is quite the playful bunch. Not here to break the engagement. Upon hearing Su Qingwei's reply, Xiao Tianzi was momentarily taken aback, a sense of foreboding welling up within him. As the saying goes, a wild chicken soaring to the treetops transforms into a phoenix. The one who climbs the tree must be prepared to sever ties with the ground. The young lady from the Su family, having entered the sacred land of Fuyao, is no longer a mere talent. She is well equipped to attract those extraordinary disciples. While Xiao Ming possesses some talent and is innately a pure yang spirit body, he still pales in comparison to those with sacred physiques. Could it be that this woman is oblivious to the necessity of choices and wishes to uphold this engagement? Miss Su, if you are not here to break the engagement, then what is your purpose? Xiao Tianzi inquired, his voice laden with suspicion. Isn't it obvious? I have come to see Brother Xiao Ming and invite him to join me in the sacred land of Fuyao. Su Qingwei replied, her cheeks slightly flushed. Yet she spoke with grace. I, Su Qingwei, am not unfaithful. Marriage is a serious matter, and since Brother Xiao Ming and I made this vow in our youth, I cannot abandon him simply to remain in the sacred land. I have made an agreement with my master that as long as Brother Xiao Ming can pass the trials of the sacred land and become an inner disciple, he will be permitted to cultivate alongside me. In time, when he catches up and becomes a core disciple, my master shall preside over our marriage. Upon hearing Su Qingwei speak with the fervor of a lovesick maiden, Xiao Tianzi's expression was one of complete bewilderment. What on earth is happening? This is utterly unconventional. Could it be that Xiao Ming, that scoundrel, has inadvertently captured her heart? By the way, where is Brother Xiao Ming? Noticing Xiao Tianzi's change of demeanor, Su Qingwei observed that while many members of the Xiao family had gathered in the hall, Xiao Ming was conspicuously absent. A slight frown creased her brow. Why does it feel as though something significant has transpired within the Xiao family? The faces of those present turned unnaturally pale at the mention of Xiao Ming, and the family members scarcely dared to meet her gaze. Xiao Ming has attempted to drug and violate his own cousin, and when I uncovered his plot, he sought to turn the tables on me, even going so far as to injure me and flee in fear of retribution. He is no longer a disciple of the Xiao family, but merely a stray dog bereft of its home. Just as Xiao Tianzi was about to mention Xiao Ming's seclusion, Xiaoren coldly interjected. This statement not only caused Su Qingyue's expression to change dramatically, but also made the eyes of the Xiao family members narrow in disbelief. Impossible. How could Brother Xiao Ming possibly commit such an act? In the midst of her turmoil, Su Qingyue immediately refuted Xiao Ren's claim, clearly unable to accept such absurdity. For in her memory, Xiao Ming was not only kind-hearted but also devoid of ulterior motives. He appeared rather naive when it came to matters of the heart. How could he possibly engage in such a monstrous act? Why is it impossible? The saying goes, one may know a person's appearance, but not their heart. Previously, he had merely concealed his true self, and alas, no matter how well one masks their intentions, the day of revelation will inevitably arrive. The events unfolding today within the Xiao family serve as the most compelling proof. Xiaoren sneered upon hearing her words. To his astonishment, this elder brother had such a beautiful fiancée and even sought to bring her along in his rise. It was enough to incite jealousy to the point of eruption. Who are you? Su Qingwei turned her gaze toward Xiaoren, although she was still unaware of his identity. His audacity to speak ill of her fiancé left her with no fondness for him. I am Xiaoren, a core disciple of the heavenly sword peak of the Tai Holy Land, and the long-lost young master of the Xiao family. Upon hearing Su Qingyue's inquiry, Xiaoren responded with an air of arrogance. Xiaoren. Only then did Su Qingyue grasp his identity. He was the brother of Xiao Ming, whom she had heard mentioned in passing. However, from the tone of his speech, it was evident that he harbored considerable animosity toward Xiao Ming. Xiao Ming is now a traitor to the family, having committed unforgivable crimes, and is currently under a full-scale manhunt by the Xiao family. Thus, the engagement between Miss Qingyue and Xiao Ming can only be unilaterally annulled by the Xiao family. However, considering that both the Xiao and Su families are esteemed clans, and now that Miss Qingyue has joined the ranks of the Fuyao Holy Land, I can, on behalf of the Xiao family, offer Miss Qingyue an explanation. While Su Qingyue remained silent, Xiao Ren continued to prattle on, speaking as if he were the arbiter of all matters concerning the Xiao family. What explanation? Su Qingyue's eyes narrowed, her expression growing increasingly frosty. For some reason, she felt a sense of foreboding, as if Xiao Ming's misfortune within the Xiao family was somehow orchestrated by this very individual before her. Of course, it would be a good explanation. Xiao Ren's lips curled into a slight, sinister smile upon hearing her response. The Xiao and Su families are both prestigious clans. And now that Miss Qingyue has aligned herself with the Fuyao Holy Land, our statuses are indeed comparable. Therefore, my suggestion is, why not allow me to inherit this engagement, and let us become partners on the path of life? This way, not only can Miss Qingyue's reputation be spared from scandal, but it will also forge a remarkable alliance between our two holy lands. As these words settled in the air, a profound silence enveloped the Xiao family. Xiao Tians and the members of the Xiao family were all wide-eyed in disbelief as they gazed upon Xiao Run. They had never anticipated that he would utter such shocking words. Just moments ago, he had wished to eliminate his own brother, and now, in a brazen display, he claimed the right to inherit the engagement with his brother's fiancée. Truly, they had witnessed shamelessness before, but never to this extent. If Boss Xiao were to discover this, he would surely be so ashamed that he would seek out a block of tofu to end his life. They had heard of inheriting family businesses, techniques, and cultivation, yet never of inheriting an engagement. A brother turning traitor while the younger sibling steps in to claim the engagement. How amusingly audacious of the Xiao family. Did they truly believe that the disciples of the Fuyo sacred land were mere refuse, unwanted by anyone? As Su Qingyue's expression darkened upon hearing this, Yunling, who had remained silent for quite some time, suddenly spoke with a cold smile. Stepping forward, she unleashed an overwhelming presence. Xiao, do not presume that your status as a disciple of the Tai sacred land grants you the privilege to insult the Fuyo sacred land. Should I hear you utter such disgraceful words again, I would not hesitate to educate you on behalf of your master. None of your business. Xiao Ren's face turned crimson with rage after Yunling's scathing rebuke, and he was about to retort fiercely. However, before he could finish, Su Qingyue's icy voice interrupted him. Uncle Xiao, the reason I do not oppose the marriage arrangement my father established with you, and why I have come to discuss it so proactively, is solely because of brother Xiao Ming. It is not that the Su family is desperate to ally with the Xiao family, nor is it true that I would marry just any member of the Xiao family. What I just said can be dismissed as a joke, the folly of your son. But now, I implore you to tell me honestly, what has happened to brother Xiao Ming? I refuse to believe he is the kind of person your son describes. As her words hung in the air, the hall of the Xiao family fell into a profound silence once more, and Xiao Tian's expression shifted dramatically. This revelation made Xiao Ren's countenance even more unsightly. He had not anticipated that his proposal to inherit the engagement would be rejected by Su Qingyue. Could it be that he truly paled in comparison to that useless brother? Since you all choose to remain silent, I shall investigate this matter myself. If brother Xiao Ming has indeed committed disgraceful acts and become a traitor to the family, then I will represent the Su family to terminate this engagement. However, if he is wronged, I will seek justice for him in the name of his fiancée. With that, Su Qingyue cast a sweeping glance at everyone present, and without a moment's hesitation, left with Yunling. This only served to deepen the scowls on the faces of Xiao Run, Xiao Tians, and the others. Chapter 6. Transformation. The chaotic body, a truly monstrous talent. Damn it. What do I lack compared to him? As he watched Su Qingyue and Yunling depart, Xiao Ren's face contorted with rage as he hissed under his breath. He was born with the supreme bone, destined to be the future saint son of the Tai sacred land, a leading figure in the eastern region. Unexpectedly, two despicable individuals underestimated him. To his astonishment, the girl from the Su family has entered the illustrious Fuyao sacred land and harbors affection for Xiao Ming. This indeed complicates matters. As Xiao Ren bellowed, Xiao Tian's gaze darkened ominously. The Fuyao sacred land, a formidable power rivaling the Tai sacred land, poses a significant threat. Should Su Qingyue become a pivotal figure within Fuyao and leverage her connection to Xiao Ming against the Xiao family, it would spell disaster for them. What are you still standing there for? Quickly locate that traitor and eliminate him before it's too late. Consumed with fury, Xiao Ren barked at Xiao Tiansu, who stood silently by. In that moment, the members of the Xiao family were left bewildered, unable to discern who was the true patriarch and who was the offspring. Xiao Tiansu narrowed his eyes, a glint of cold light flashing within them. Yet, he restrained his anger and merely snorted before vanishing into the courtyard. Were it not for his reliance on this unfilial son to aid him in breaking through to the saint realm, he would have long since dealt with this ungrateful child in a far more forceful manner. Far from the Xiao family, amidst the 10,000 great mountains, a figure plummeted through a distortion of space. Xiao Ming, who had narrowly escaped with his life from the Xiao family. Xiao Ren, Xiao Tiansu, the Xiao family. Today's events shall be repaid in kind. A chilling murderous intent flickered in Xiao Ming's eyes as he recalled the recent events at the Xiao family. When Xiao Ren sought to kill him, not a soul from the Xiao family intervened. Since Xiao Tiansu and his wife refused to acknowledge him as their son, and the entire Xiao family disavows him as a kin, then henceforth, he shall not hesitate to sever ties and bring ruin upon the Xiao household. However, prior to enacting his vengeance, he must first strengthen himself. Although the Xiao family may not rank as the pinnacle of power within the North Xian realm, they nonetheless possess a commendable standing, with several formidable beings among them. Xiao Tiansu himself has reached the 9th level of the celestial realm, just a step away from the saint realm. Yet, Xiao Ming remains unperturbed, for he possesses a system that ensures his survival in the early stages, allowing him to gradually amass strength. Not only will he be able to contend with lesser celestial realm beings, but even if that old dog ascends to the saint realm, he shall still meet his demise at Xiao Ming's hands. With this thought in mind, Xiao Ming rose from the ground and surveyed his surroundings. Not sensing any immediate danger, he commenced the extraction of his system rewards. This time, he received 3 rewards: Nirvana Creation Pill, Chaotic Tao Demon Scripture, and 1,000-Mile Divine Travel Talisman. Having already utilized the 1,000-Mile Divine Travel Talisman, he was left with the other 2 rewards. System, extract Chaotic Tao Demon Scripture. His eyes gleamed momentarily as he commanded. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully extracting with a single command. Chaotic Tao Demon Scripture has been comprehended at an introductory level. As the system notification resonated, a tremendous roar surged within Xiao Ming's mind. It was as if chaos itself had just begun to unfurl. He vaguely perceived a towering figure, surrounded by demonic energy, yet exuding an aura of sanctity. Wherever this being walked, 3,000 deities and demons fell, and with every movement, chaos itself was torn asunder. That invincible demeanor surpasses all imagination. Is this the Chaos Path Demon God? A fusion of the powers of the Chaos Demon God and the Chaos Saint God, once the mightiest being across the myriad realms? In but a moment, Xiao Ming extricated himself from the transmission of the cultivation method, yet he remained profoundly shaken by the spectacle he had just witnessed. In the blink of an eye, 3,000 divine beings were reduced to ashes. With a mere gesture, he could recreate the primordial chaos of heaven and earth. This is what true invincibility means. With such a technique, how could I ever despair of rising to greatness? As this thought settled in his mind, Xiao Ming promptly seated himself cross-legged and commenced the operation of the Chaos Path Demon Scripture. A tempestuous force surged forth, sweeping across the cosmos, as vast spiritual energy poured into him like a funnel, flooding his very being. The fluctuations of his vital essence soared like smoke into the sky, and the cultivation he had lost began to restore itself. First level of body refinement. Second level of body refinement. 9th level of body refinement. In a mere instant, with a cacophony of cracking sounds, his bones were tempered to perfection, and he surprisingly stepped into the legendary pinnacle of body refinement. His physical strength rivaled that of a young true dragon, capable of splitting mountains with a single motion. Truly, this is an unparalleled technique. Merely by activating the remnants of my discarded cultivation, the residual true essence within me has enabled me to reach the pinnacle of body refinement. Such prowess, I fear, is beyond what even the scriptures of emperors could achieve. As he felt his body being refined to flawless perfection, a satisfied smile graced Xiao Ming's face. The only slight regret was the transformation of his constitution from a pure yang spiritual body to a mortal body. However, there remained another reward, the Nirvana Transformation Pill. It can metamorphose the practitioner into a corresponding special constitution based on their cultivation method. The higher the level of the cultivation technique, the stronger the transformed constitution. Whether it be a Tao body or a divine body, both can undergo this transformation. Now that I have cultivated the Chaos Path Demon Scripture, I wonder if I can metamorphose into a chaos body. With a sense of eager anticipation in his heart, Xiao Ming issued another command, extracting the Nirvana Transformation Pill without a moment's hesitation and consuming it. The moment the pill entered his mouth, it dissolved instantly. Xiao Ming felt an indescribable medicinal power erupting within him like a volcano. The Chaos Path Demon Scripture operated frantically, every cell undergoing a wild transformation, while the heavens and earth shifted tumultuously. In the next moment, the surrounding void for 1,000 miles seemed to be replaced halfway, as the cosmos transformed into a chaotic starry expanse. Countless divine beings manifested in the void, kneeling before Xiao Ming like loyal subjects. The chaos replays, deities kneel in reverence. This heralds the manifestation of the chaos body. However, Xiao Ming, situated deep within the depths of the 10,000 great mountains, remained unnoticed by any formidable beings. Instead, the beasts of this region were utterly terrified, all prostrating on the ground, too frightened to move, even the sacred beasts. Fortunately, this extraordinary phenomenon did not last long. It dissipated after merely 2.5 minutes. Once the celestial anomaly faded, Xiao Ming's cultivation surged as if under a divine boon. First level of meridian opening. 9th level of meridian opening. 9th level of essence condensation. 9th level of mysterious Dan. In the brief span of merely 2.5 days, Xiao Ming ascended from the 9th level of the body refinement realm to the 9th level of the profound pill realm. A remarkable leap across 3 major realms and 27 minor stages. With only a modicum of further cultivation required, He was on the verge of reclaiming his former pinnacle. It was indeed true that the chaos body had awakened within him, along with an initial awakening of his physique, propelling him to the 9th level of the profound pill realm. It was unimaginable. What kind of extraordinary power would manifest if this potential were to be fully unleashed? Feeling the surging energy within him and the rejuvenation of his body, a spark of exhilaration illuminated Xiao Ming's face. However, this transformative emergence of the chaos body brought forth not merely a change in cultivation level. The most significant boon was the awakening of 2 innate talents. Divine breath. As long as the host is able to breathe, he can autonomously operate his cultivation methods. Godslayer. Once activated, the host enters a berserk state, wherein his strength, speed, and agility experience exponential increases, potentially soaring up to 10-fold, contingent upon his physical endurance, allowing him to disregard various cultivation restrictions. Both of these talents are exceedingly formidable. The first talent ensures that as long as Xiao Ming remains alive, even during sleep or unconsciousness, his cultivation continues autonomously, akin to a form of effortless training, rendering him nearly invincible. The second talent allows Xiao Ming to double his combat prowess, provided his physical strength is sufficient and operates without any cultivation constraints, enhancing all attributes comprehensively. Unlike certain secret techniques that only augment specific attributes and become unusable beyond a certain level, this talent is astoundingly powerful. Next, he intended to find a secluded location to cultivate for a while before seizing the opportunity to enact his revenge plan. With a preliminary strategy forming in his mind, Xiao Ming rose to depart. Just then, a sudden whooshing sound pierced the air as a figure shot towards him like a bolt of lightning. As he observed this, Xiao Ming's gaze sharpened, and he lifted his head. He initially anticipated encountering some decrepit elder from the Xiao family who had attained the heavenly realm, but to his astonishment, a breathtaking celestial maiden clad in green came into view. However, this enchanting figure bore signs of distress. Her flowing hair was slightly disheveled, her garments were tattered, and a trace of blood marred the corner of her mouth. She appeared as though she had just endured a fierce battle and was being pursued by an unknown entity. Man. Upon seeing this individual, Ling Ruoxuan also caught sight of Xiao Ming. A flicker of struggle crossed her face, and she promptly lunged towards him. As a junior passing through inadvertently, I have never offended the celestial maiden. What intentions do you harbor? Witnessing the green-clad woman rush towards him, Xiao Ming's expression shifted dramatically. Though she appeared grievously injured, the aura emanating from her remained terrifyingly potent, far beyond what he could contend with. Yet, before he could employ his agility to evade, the woman had already plunged into his embrace. The sensation of softness and resilience was far more exhilarating than a mere jelly collision, compelling Xiao Ming to inhale deeply. Is this how uninhibited society has become? To see a man and then throw oneself upon him. Does she not fear that this handsome figure might be a formidable demon? Quick, remove your clothes, I must. Before Xiao Ming could utter a word, Ling Ruoxuan, having flung herself into his embrace, began to babble incoherently, as if intoxicated. Her hands and feet became increasingly unruly, attempting to forcibly tear away Xiao Ming's garments, which sent a shiver down his spine. He initially thought he had encountered a seemingly celestial being who secretly practiced some form of dual cultivation, a voracious seductress with a penchant for preying upon men. However, as he cast his gaze downward, he realized that the young woman before him, clad in green, bore a flushed complexion and her eyes sparkled with a hint of infatuation. She was even unconsciously tugging at her own attire, as if her entire being were on the verge of melting from heat. Could it be? She has fallen victim to lustful poison? Observing Ling Ruoxuan's condition, Xiao Ming could not help but twitch his lips. To stumble upon a stunning beauty afflicted by lustful toxin right after leaving the novice village felt akin to a cliché encountered in past lives. Was it possible that he had been ensnared by his brother, forsaken by his parents, and betrayed by his kin, only to have become the destined child of fate? How else could one explain such an encounter? Ding. The life choice system has been randomly triggered. The host may make the following selections. Choice 1. Sacrifice oneself to save another, assisting Ling Ruoxuan in purging the toxin, and receive a random reward item. Choice 2. Stand idly by. Wield a blade to castrate oneself and preserve personal purity, allowing Ling Ruoxuan to lose her virtue and descend into madness, and receive a random reward technique. Choice 3. Be of service to others. Carry Ling Ruoxuan in search of a beast or man capable of detoxifying her, and receive a random elixir as a reward. Staring at the options that suddenly materialized before him, Xiao Ming nearly lost his composure. What nonsense is this? To wield a blade against oneself and let another suffer the loss of virtue? Does the system not feel a pang of conscience when presenting such choices? While he was bold enough to relinquish his cultivation when at the Xiao family, the thought of self-castration was utterly beyond his limits. And the third option was even more outrageous. What does it mean to seek a detoxifying beast? A goblin, perhaps, or a lustful monkey? Should he proceed with that? The first thing Ling Ruoxuan would do upon awakening would be to kill him. I cannot bear it any longer. As Xiao Ming could not refrain from voicing his thoughts, the terrifying toxin surged forth, causing her to completely lose her sanity. In a fervent whisper, Ling Ruoxuan raised her head, her eyes ablaze with crimson, and without discernment, she pressed her lips against Xiao Ming's. System, I choose one. Witnessing Ling Ruoxuan's inability to hold on any longer, Xiao Ming, in that moment, ceased his hesitations and immediately swept her into his arms, dashing toward a cavern below. Ling Ruoxuan had utterly lost her reason, and with a fierce tug towards Xiao Ming, his garments were completely rent asunder, while her own attire burst apart. The torn fabric cascading down like petals. A figure as fair as the dawn, entwined like a serpent, approached. This celestial being, though a tad impatient, managed to weave an air of romance. One can only hope that upon awakening, she refrains from cries of violence. In that fleeting moment of contact, the sole thought occupying Xiao Ming's mind was this: before being engulfed by a tempest, like a fragile blade of grass, he was battered by the storm. Ling Ruoxuan, the esteemed leader of Jade Maiden Peak, was tentatively one of the enchanting beauties. Time slipped by, perhaps 2.5 hours, or perhaps a full 2.5 days. Xiao Ming felt as though his body had come undone, burdened by a weight akin to jelly, rendering his willpower powerless against such torment. It was only when a system notification pierced through his mind that he jolted back to reality. Ding! Congratulations, host, for making and completing a choice. You have obtained a Wanli Xinxing talisman. A Wanli Xinxing talisman? Quite splendid. Indeed, a tool that could preserve his life in critical moments. This loss of innocence was not entirely in vain. He had recently experienced the talisman's formidable power during his time at the Xiao family. It was indeed a treasure capable of turning the tide from death to life. With this talisman in hand, should he encounter unforeseen dangers ahead, he could easily safeguard his existence. As his thoughts swirled, the sensation of a change in his cultivation struck him, causing Xiao Ming to draw a sharp breath. His cultivation had unexpectedly soared to the 5th realm of the Spirit Sea, matching his prior level before his downfall, yet it felt even more profound and robust. It is worth noting that he had initially possessed a pure yang spirit body, and, with the resources from the Xiao family, it took him over a year and 2 months to ascend from the 9th level of the Xiandan realm to the 5th level of the Spirit Sea. What level of cultivation had the woman, who cost him his innocence, truly attained? At the very least, she must possess the strength of the Holy Realm. Upon this realization, Xiao Ming felt as though his scalp might explode. Had he truly slept with a celestial being of the Holy Realm? Just as he was reeling from this revelation, Ling Ruoxuan, who had been resting atop him, abruptly opened her eyes. Chapter 8. Does this system perceive him as audacious to present such abstract choices? Boom. Before Xiao Ming could even utter a greeting, a tempestuous aura erupted from Ling Ruoxuan, sending him hurtling away. Good heavens, was this woman's awakening fury so intense? The Nine Hells Demon Sect, the extreme desired demon lord. Ling Ruoxuan shall not let this go. As she felt the vile poison within her dissipate and recalled the peril she had faced, a glimmer of resentment crossed her features. She had not anticipated that while foraging for the blood-soaked blue lotus in the 10,000 Great Mountains, she would fall prey to an ambush from the demon sect. Caught off guard, she had inadvertently succumbed to the demon lord's foul poison. Fortunately, fate had not forsaken her. She had encountered a worthy human man. Otherwise, she would have fallen prey to those demons or become the quarry of certain beasts within the 10,000 Great Mountains. As this thought dawned upon her, Ling Ruoxuan then recalled that the man who had stripped her of her innocence had his gaze fixed intently upon Xiao Ming. It became evident that Xiao Ming was surveying her with wide eyes, as if admiring a piece of art. How shameless! Realizing the scrutiny of Xiao Ming, Ling Ruoxuan became acutely aware of her own state of undress and let out a cold huff, conjuring garments to shield her form. This caused Xiao Ming to feel a twinge of embarrassment. After all, as the saying goes, everyone possesses an appreciation for beauty. With such a perfect figure before him, it would be disingenuous not to steal a few glances. Amidst the awkwardness, Xiao Ming too summoned his true essence to manifest clothing, covering his own chiseled physique, adorned with 8 well-defined abdominal muscles. Once this was accomplished, Xiao Ming noticed that the woman was fixated on a splotch of crimson on a white beast skin scroll spread out on the ground. Her body trembled slightly, and the temperature around them began to drop swiftly. A strong sense of impending danger surged within Xiao Ming. Could it be that she harbored thoughts of silencing him permanently? Sensing the change in atmosphere, Xiao Ming queried warily. As he spoke, he retrieved a spatial teleportation talisman from his system space, prepared to activate it and make a hasty retreat should Ling Ruoxuan harbor any murderous intent. What do you think? In response to Xiao Ming's inquiry, Ling Ruoxuan countered with a question of her own. I believe the goddess would not. The true culprits who have led you to such a plight are the vile scoundrels who ensnared you with their lecherous poison. If you seek vengeance, it is surely that you will pursue. Moreover, I have alleviated your affliction. Regardless of my motives, I have saved your life. You strike me as a chivalrous goddess, certainly not one to turn upon her benefactor. Perceiving the shift in Ling Ruoxuan's demeanor, Xiao Ming spoke earnestly, hoping this woman would adhere to reason. Should she prove unreasonable, he would have no choice but to feign weakness and grant her a reprieve. Is that so? Must I, in gratitude for your life-saving intervention, indulge you once more with my body? Ling Ruoxuan's words took Xiao Ming by surprise, nearly causing him to falter. Are goddesses so forthright nowadays? Testing him in such a manner. What man could withstand such a trial? Yet, Xiao Ming was no mere lecher. He waved his hand dismissively, feigning indifference. That is unnecessary. My earlier actions were solely to assist the goddess in dispelling her poison. Now that the affliction is lifted, I would not dare entertain any improper thoughts. As these words left his lips, a flicker of intrigue crossed Ling Ruoxuan's eyes. Despite the evident disparity in their strengths, he possessed the audacity to reason with her, a rare audacity indeed. What is your name? I did not call, I merely spoke the truth. I am inquiring what your name is. Oh, I am called Zhang San. Should you utter a false name, do not blame me for my lack of courtesy. Very well, my name is Xiao Ming. Xiao as in Xiao Ming, and Ming as in Ming. Upon hearing Ling Ruoxuan's inquiry, Xiao Ming initially intended to evade the question. However, upon hearing the subsequent remark, he found himself compelled to respond honestly. Which family do you belong to? Ling Ruoxuan continued to press for details, as he was the man who had stripped her of her innocence. Even if it was to assist her in breaking the curse of lust, she felt entitled to know his origins. Just a homeless outcast, nothing more than that, Xiao Ming remarked with a flicker of resentment in his eyes, followed by a self-deprecating chuckle. Can I leave now? Noticing that Ling Ruoxuan seemed more reasonable than some of the unreasonable individuals he had encountered in his past life, Xiao Ming tentatively posed the question. To his surprise, her expression shifted dramatically. A terrifying aura suddenly locked onto him. You wish to leave? Her tone was laced with a hint of anger, as if daring Xiao Ming to take a single step forward, whereupon he would be met with a tempest of fury. This left Xiao Ming feeling quite vexed. Could it be that this woman had developed feelings for him after their encounter? I won't leave. I was merely inquiring, he replied, feeling rather exasperated within. If Ling Ruoxuan expected him to take responsibility, he was not keen on the prospect of living off her generosity, provided that her temperament was not overly dreadful. Otherwise, he would gladly forego such a prospect. Humph, at least you're perceptive, Ling Ruoxuan huffed lightly, her demeanor softening somewhat. After taking her innocence, he did not even bother to inquire about her name, yet wished to slip away unscathed. Was there any difference between that and being a freeloader? Bah, scoundrel! I understand the circumstances were beyond your control, but we cannot pretend that nothing occurred. Therefore, I present you with two choices. One is to willingly open your mind, allowing me to erase the memories of what transpired. The other is to take this jade pendant and journey to the sacred land of Fuyao to become a disciple there. After observing Xiao Ming intently for a moment, Ling Ruoxuan spoke with a complex expression. As she spoke, she raised her right hand, slowly opening it, and a jade pendant materialized before him. This left Xiao Ming utterly bewildered. Could it be that this woman was a significant figure from the sacred land of Fuyao? Was she planning to have him join the ranks of Fuyao before seizing an opportunity to make him her personal disciple, initiating him into a rigorous and devilish training regimen? Ding. The life choice system has been randomly triggered. The host may make the following selections. Option 1. With disdain. Ignore Ling Ruoxuan's insinuation and choose to erase the other's memory, resulting in a complete severance of ties, which rewards a random ancient formation set. Option 2. Reluctantly accept the situation, granting Ling Ruoxuan an opportunity to strategize against him, agreeing to travel to the Fuyao sacred land, and, upon passing the assessment, become a disciple, which rewards a random ancient weapon. Option 3. Stand firm against the challenge, believing a man should not allow a woman to make choices, retaliating with 2 powerful strikes against Ling Ruoxuan while preserving his own life, which rewards a random ancient elixir. Option 4. Turn the tables, furiously accusing Ling Ruoxuan of merely desiring his body, then retaliating by self-castrating, instilling guilt in the other, which rewards a random ancient technique. Upon seeing the system options before him, Xiao Ming displayed a peculiar expression. Did this system perceive him as bold, presenting such abstract choices? Chapter 9. Just escaped the Sacred Land's ferry, only to encounter a demoness? I agree to travel to the Fuyo Sacred Land and find a way to become a disciple. With this thought, Xiao Ming smiled lightly. He raised his hand to accept the jade pendant and directly chose the second option. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice. Reward, Emperor's Banner. The reward has been automatically placed in the system space. Ready for the host to inherit with a single click after completing the choice. Emperor's Banner, an unparalleled imperial weapon forged by the ancient human emperor. Possessing numerous supernatural abilities such as soul capture, soul devouring, and soul control. However, due to the ancient war, the essence of the Emperor's Banner has been damaged, reducing its power below the saint level. It requires the consumption of vast amounts of soul energy or soul treasures to restore its essence and regain its imperial might. Hiss. An unparalleled imperial weapon, the Emperor's Banner. Upon witnessing the reward yielded by this selection, Xiao Ming could not help but take a deep breath, nearly losing control and venting his excitement on Ling Ruoxuan. By the heavens, truly worthy of ancient rewards, it has summoned an imperial weapon. Although it is currently a mere remnant of its former self, its power pales in comparison to its peak. The prospect of restoration is promising. Given time to recover its essence, it could become a terrifying weapon that even emperors would fear. Why the excitement? Noticing Xiao Ming's exhilaration after accepting the jade pendant, which surpassed even his previous enthusiasm during their spar, Ling Ruoxuan furrowed her brow slightly, inquiring with confusion. No, I merely recalled something delightful. Seeing Ling Ruoxuan's peculiar gaze, Xiao Ming coughed lightly to conceal his amusement and instinctively replied without much thought. What delightful thing? Are you imagining that I will become pregnant? And you shall be a father? Upon hearing Ling Ruoxuan's unexpected remarks, Xiao Ming nearly choked on his drink, almost spluttering it all over her. Truly, she is the Sacred Land's fairy, possessing a uniquely unorthodox thought process. It is not so simple for cultivators to conceive, and besides, Ling Ruoxuan cannot be so naive as to allow herself to bear a stranger's child. Surely, the fairy is jesting. Waving his hand to dismiss the awkwardness, Xiao Ming quickly shifted the topic. By the way, do you not yet know the name of the celestial being? What connection does she have with the sacred land of Fuyao? Although he had already gleaned the name of Ling Ruoxuan from the system prompt, and had some conjectures about her identity, it was still necessary to feign ignorance. You need not concern yourself with my identity and name for now. You simply need to fulfill the promise you made to me earlier. When the time is ripe, you will naturally come to know. As she spoke, Ling Ruoxuan seemed to sense something, her gaze suddenly sweeping across the space above the cave. Without engaging in further trivialities with Xiao Ming, she produced a piece of sword jade. Handle this piece of sword jade with utmost care. It contains a sliver of my sword aura, potent enough to threaten even those at the celestial realm. Should you find yourself in peril, it may very well save your life. I have matters to attend to, so you must tread cautiously on your own from here on. With that, Ling Ruoxuan gently waved her hand, causing the piece of sword jade to float towards Xiao Ming. In the midst of his bewilderment, Ling Ruoxuan's figure had already vanished. Remember, I have left my mark upon you. No matter where you run, I can effortlessly track you down. I hope you will honor your word. Otherwise, when we meet again, we shall engage in a clash of arms. Hearing the final echo of Ling Ruoxuan's voice, Xiao Ming felt as if he were ensnared in a dream. Were it not for the lingering traces of their fervent encounter within the cave, he would scarcely believe that he had survived after spending a night with a celestial being of the sacred realm, the sacred land of Fuyao. This could indeed be an opportunity, Xiao Ming muttered to himself, a spark of determination igniting in his eyes. He had now completely severed ties with the Xiao family. That dear brother of his would not let him off easily, and might very well command the family to hunt him down. Thus, he was in dire need of joining a powerful faction for protection. Otherwise, even with his physique transformed into a Dao demon chaos body, and having cultivated a technique that would make even emperors envious, he would remain but a formidable ant, with no hope of victory against the current Xiao family. Therefore, even if it were not for Ling Ruoxuan, he would still venture to the sacred land of Fuyao. Only by aligning himself with a force of that caliber could he hope to contend with Xiao Ren and unlock the rewards of the heir's imperial flag. However, just as Xiao Ming prepared to depart, a beguiling laugh suddenly resonated, causing his expression to shift dramatically. He, who would have thought that the revered master of Yunu Peak, known as the White Lotus Fairy of the sacred land of Fuyao, would one day have her purity taken by a mere child? Absurdly, this celestial being did not eliminate you, little one, but instead left behind a jade pendant and the sword jade, seemingly wishing for you to become her disciple. How utterly amusing. As the voice echoed, the space before Xiao Ming abruptly distorted, and a figure enveloped in dark mist materialized. With eyes as serene as spring water and a visage akin to a bewitching enchantress, she was draped in a red and black gown that accentuated her alluring form. With ample swathes of snow-white skin revealed at the collar and hem, she appeared as if she had stepped forth from a painted scroll, exuding an aura of terrifying allure with every subtle smile and frown, presenting a stark contrast to Ling Ruoxuan. Knight Xylan, the guardian of the 9 nether demon sect, had yet to determine her role. Who are you? Xiao Ming's gaze fixated on the cloaked woman, a chilling dread surging from his feet to the crown of his head. It was crucial to note that Ling Ruoxuan was a formidable Saint Realm expert, acutely sensitive to fluctuations in energy. Yet, this dark-clad woman could hear their conversation without being detected by Ling Ruoxuan. This implied either she possessed terrifying stealth techniques, or her strength vastly surpassed that of Ling Ruoxuan. Regardless of which possibility was true, she was not someone he could provoke. Who am I? Upon hearing Xiao Ming's inquiry, the woman's lips curled into a seductive smile, her voice resonating with an enchanting echo within the cavern. I am Knight Xylan, the 3rd guardian of the 9 nether demon sect. Would you be interested in becoming my disciple? I can teach you the art of dual cultivation, enabling you to command a harem of beauties, reveling in nightly revelries. As these words fell, a wave of unease washed over Xiao Ming. The 9 nether demon sect. Among the 5 hegemonic powers of the North Xian realm, it was the only one that exclusively practiced demonic arts, boasting strength surpassing even the Fuyao sacred land. He had heard whispers of Knight Xylan. Rumors suggested that she had attained the 7th level of the Saint Realm and excelled in stealth and disguise, delighting in siphoning the essence and cultivation of men. In the North Xian realm, she was often regarded as a red-haired enchantress by many powerful figures. Any handsome male cultivator who fell into her grasp would be toyed with until their demise. To his astonishment, mere moments after Ling Ruoxuan had departed, he encountered this female demon. Was it possible that he was fated to encounter misfortune and love? Still not answering. Are you reluctant to part with the celestial maiden with whom you once shared intimate moments? Or do you deem this enchanting lady unworthy of being your mentor? Observing Xiao Ming's horrified expression and wary demeanor, Knight Xylan delicately toyed with her fingers, her tone taking on an increasingly perilous edge. At that moment, a system notification echoed in Xiao Ming's ears, revealing several options before him. Chapter 10. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind playing with you until your end. Ding. The life choice system has been randomly activated, and the host can make the following selections. Option 1. Seek another path. Betray the promise made to Ling Ruoxuan. Abandon the journey to Fuyao sacred land, and turn to join the 9 nether demon sect, earning a random divine ability as a reward. Option 2. Stand firm. Decisively reject Knight Xylan's allure, and slip away from her clutches, earning a random talent as a reward. Option 3. Take the initiative, rebuke Knight Xylan vehemently, challenging her to a contest of wills between man and woman, using his unparalleled prowess to subdue her, earning a random item as a reward. Option 4. Kneel and plead for mercy, using eloquence to persuade her to spare him and depart, earning a random secret technique as a reward. As he beheld the options that materialized before him, Xiao Ming could not help but twitch his lips in frustration. Damn it! Among the 4 options, the first 2 appeared somewhat reasonable, while the latter 2 seemed utterly perplexing. The notion of turning the tables and engaging in a contest of wills with the enchanting sorceress was ludicrous. To assume he could conquer her with mere prowess seemed overly optimistic. Given his current level of cultivation, should a confrontation arise, he would be swiftly drained of all vitality. After all, the demoness was not akin to the ethereal Ling Ruoxuan, who understood the delicate balance of yin and yang to restore essence. The opponent might commence by absorbing all energy, leaving him with naught but remnants. As for the 4th option, it seemed merely a filler, with mere eloquence. Unless one resorted to flattery, convincing the other party appeared impossible. Thus, the system prompted, I choose option 2. After a moment of internal lamentation, Xiao Ming made his decision. Betrayal was out of the question, not to mention that within the 9 nether demon sect, none were benevolent, and the higher echelons delighted in manipulating their disciples, essentially reducing them to mere pawns. Just this choice alone would result in the loss of the Emperor's banner, making it an unthinkable option for Xiao Ming. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice. You have earned the reward, Eye of Truth. The reward has been automatically placed into the system space, ready for the host to inherit with a single command. Eye of Truth. This ability can discern all illusions of the world, disregarding any disparities in cultivation level, and perceive the vulnerabilities of all beings. This talent is indeed formidable. At that moment, even Xiao Ming was taken aback by the reward resulting from his choice. With such an ability, no formidable opponent could hope to disguise their true nature before him, and during combat, he could exploit their weaknesses. The potential this power held could drive even an emperor to madness. Am I not honoring you? Upon noticing Xiao Ming's disdainful demeanor after her inquiry, Yi Xilan felt a chill sweep across her face, and the cave was soon enveloped in an aura of mist, surging towards Xiao Ming like a tidal wave. Huh. To resort to such measures over a mere disagreement. Who would be foolish enough to wish to become your disciple with such a fiery temperament? Feeling the surrounding space collapsing under the onslaught of destructive force, Xiao Ming activated the long-range teleportation talisman. As the talisman ignited, a brilliant light erupted, distorting the space around him. Even as Yi Xilan's expression shifted dramatically, attempting to contain the mist within the cave, she could not prevent Xiao Ming from making his escape. She could only watch helplessly as he vanished, his presence slipping from her perception. Ignoring spatial constraints? Who would have thought this young imp possessed such a life-saving artifact? Ha 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 ha. How amusing, how delightful. Watching Xiao Ming disappear before her eyes, Yi Xilan, seemingly invigorated, erupted into a fit of maniacal laughter. A terrifying force exploded from her being, transforming the entire cave along with the mountains outside into a deep chasm. An intriguing little imp. You would do well to pray that you never encounter me, lest I take my time in playing with your demise. Ha ha ha. As the swirling dust dissipated, Yi Xilan vanished into the void amidst her loud laughter. In the North Xian realm, at Luyan City, within the Su family. Father, have you uncovered what transpired with the Xiao family a few days ago? Upon seeing Su Yuanshan enter from the living room, Su Qinghua hurriedly approached him with her inquiry. For the past few days, she had been investigating the peculiar circumstances surrounding Xiao Ming, questioning why he had suddenly become a pariah within the Xiao family and was now being hunted down with public notices plastered everywhere. However, under the Xiao family's tight-lipped secrecy, she was unable to discern the truth. All she knew were the words spoken by Xiaoran that day. Thus, she had to implore her father to utilize the family's resources for covert inquiries. I have discovered the truth. As you suspected, it was the younger son of Xiao Tianze who attempted to violate his own cousin, only to be caught red-handed by Xiao Ming. After being injured by Xiao Ming, he retaliated by falsely accusing him. The cousin, named Xiao Yiting, fearing retribution from the Tai sacred land, not only remained silent during Xiao Ming's trial, but also defended her brother with a biting retort. This deeply wounded Xiao Ming, prompting him to forsake his cultivation and sever ties with his parents and the family entirely. Subsequently, that younger brother sought to eliminate him completely. Yet Xiao Ming had prepared an escape route, using a spatial teleportation talisman to flee. What? The Xiao family would treat brother Xiao Ming in such a manner? Upon hearing Su Yuanshan reveal the truth, Su Qingyue's expression shifted dramatically, a chill radiating from her being. She immediately turned to leave the Su family residence, intent on seeking justice for Xiao Ming from the Xiao family. Where do you think you are going? Before Su Qingyue could step out of the hall, she was intercepted by Su Yuanshan. The Xiao family was vast and powerful, with Xiao Tianze having reached the pinnacle of the 9th level of the celestial realm, complemented by several elders of the same realm within the family, making their collective strength far beyond that of the Su family. Furthermore, I have learned that Xiao Run, the younger son of Xiao Tianze, not only possesses a natural supreme bone with the potential of a holy king, but has also been accepted as a disciple by the peak master of the Tai sacred land Sword Peak. Although you have awakened the Taiyin sacred spirit vein and been taken under the wing of the grand elder of the Fuyo sacred lands Jade Maiden Peak, your standing is still inferior to his. Should this matter escalate, not only would you be unable to seek justice for Xiao Ming, but you would also endanger yourself and your family. Unless you can ascend to become the holy maiden of the Fuyo sacred land, it will be exceedingly difficult to bring that fellow to justice. Upon hearing her father's words, Su Qingyue's steps faltered, her fists clenching involuntarily. To become the holy maiden of the Fuyo sacred land? I will achieve that. Once her emotions had settled somewhat, Su Qingyue's gaze hardened, and she turned to Su Yuanshan. Father, I leave the search for brother Xiao Ming's whereabouts in your capable hands. I shall return to the Fuyo sacred land with sister Yunling and strive to pass the trials to become the holy maiden at the earliest opportunity. As for the account with brother Xiao Ming, I shall seek to reclaim my dues from his younger sibling during the genius battle in the North Xian realm. Having said this, Su Qingyue did not linger and strode directly out of the hall. This prompted a sigh from Su Yuanshan. He had not anticipated that upon learning of Xiao Ming's status as a family outcast, reduced to a mere shadow of his former self, Su Qingyue had not abandoned her feelings for him. It seemed that when they were younger, due to the torment she endured from the Yin sacred spirit vein, Xiao Ming's assistance with his pure yang energy had deeply captured this girl's heart. Chapter 11. The Reborn Empress Feng Xianhuang and the Supreme Treasure, the Chaotic Yin-Yang Scale. In the vast expanse of the 10,000 Great Mountains, amidst the 100-fracture mountain range, a sinister laughter echoed. Indeed, the little princess of the Feng family from Heavenly Demon City is remarkable. despite merely being at the 5th level of the Spirit Sea realm. She manages to endure against us for so long. As the harsh words reverberated through the forest, a terrifying shockwave surged forth, uprooting ancient trees and shrubs. Suddenly, a figure was hurled from the chaos, crashing to the ground and spitting out a mouthful of blood. This was a girl of approximately 17 or 18. Her exquisite visage resembling a masterfully sculpted work of art, adorned in a dress embellished with phoenix patterns. Her alluring figure rivaled even the most enchanting beauties such as Ling Ruoxuan and Yi Xilan. However, her pallor suggested she had suffered grave injuries. Shortly thereafter, with a series of piercing sounds, several figures descended before her. Each wore a ghostly mask, exuding a terrifying aura that marked them as denizens of a demonic sect. I have been reborn. As the dark-clad figures landed, Feng Xianhuang's eyes flickered with confusion, swiftly followed by a flood of memories surging through her mind, ultimately crystallizing around a mysterious supreme treasure. It was a scale, one side black and the other white, the body of the scale inscribed with ancient patterns, emanating a chaotic essence. This revelation caused Feng Xianhuang's pupils to constrict sharply, confirming her rebirth. The chaotic yin-yang scale, a mystical treasure born from chaos. Not only capable of reversing time and reopening the cycle of reincarnation, but also possessing unfathomable powers. She had discovered it within the ancient ruins of the chaotic star sea after breaking through to the 7th level of the Emperor realm. Little did she know, while attempting to refine this treasure, her confidant who accompanied her to the chaotic star sea conspired with outsiders to deal her a lethal blow, forcing her to self-detonate in a desperate bid for survival. Believing her demise was certain, she was astonished when the chaotic yin-yang scale activated on its own, distorting time and space to grant her a rebirth with a fragment of her soul. Observing her current predicament, it appeared she had been reborn on the very day she was ambushed by the demonic sect while en route to the saintly land of Fuyao to seek a mentor, ultimately compelled to unleash her ancestral bloodline. To her astonishment, the empress had been granted a second chance at life. In this lifetime, she would eradicate the treacherous villains from her past, ensuring that all who conspired against her would pay a grievous price. Gazing upon the oblivious dark-clad figures before her, a chilling murderous intent flickered across Feng Xianhuang's countenance. According to her memories from her previous life, next, these figures clad in black cornered her, thrusting her into a perilous situation, when suddenly, her illustrious cousin descended from the heavens like a divine being, rescuing her from their clutches. Indeed, these black-clad assailants were hired by her cousin, Feng Yan, with the intention of staging a heroic rescue to win her heart, and thereby gain access to the core legacy of the Feng family. However, to their astonishment, the remaining black figures betrayed their master, severely injuring her cousin and forcing her into a desperate position where she had to ignite her phoenix bloodline. Unexpectedly, this act awakened a strand of ancestral blood within her, setting her on the path to becoming an emperor, accompanied by an illustration of Feng Xianhuang, the reincarnated and proud empress, tentatively identified as one of the beauties. Ha ha ha, lady of the Feng family, why do you not continue your flight? The more you flee, the more exhilarated we become. If you do not escape, where's the thrill in that? Upon witnessing Feng Xianhuang struck to the ground, she remained motionless, as if stunned. The leader of the black-clad men spoke in an unsettling manner. Brother, shall we not proceed? I have never encountered such an exquisite beauty. Especially not the daughter of the Phoenix clan from Heavenly Demon City. Perhaps her bloodline could transform my humble self into a phoenix. After the leader's words, a rotund accomplice could not restrain his exclamation. Such vile language rendered Feng Xianhuang's expression even more frigid, a terrifying aura coalescing around her. Capture her. Upon meeting Feng Xianhuang's icy gaze, the leader of the black-clad men shuddered involuntarily, swiftly issuing commands to his companions without a moment's hesitation. In that fleeting moment, he felt as if Feng Xianhuang had transformed. Her eyes bore the fierceness of a blood-soaked empress, casting a shadow of death upon him. As the command echoed, the leader unleashed his cultivation, charging towards Feng Xianhuang with murderous intent, prompting his subordinates to follow suit. Yet, in that instant, the space between the black-clad man and Feng Xianhuang warped and rippled, as a figure materialized like a specter. This individual was none other than Xiao Ming. Although Yi Xilan was an immensely formidable sage-level warrior, she could only watch helplessly as Xiao Ming eluded capture, thanks to the space-ignoring teleportation talisman. Before Xiao Ming could assess his surroundings, an overwhelming sense of danger erupted within him. Without a moment's thought, he unleashed his power, striking towards the source of his impending doom. With a thunderous crash, a violent shockwave swept through the forest, sending the masked black-clad men and their cohorts flying like refuse, each spitting blood in shock as they beheld the unfolding scene. What is happening? Casting a glance at the fallen figures, Xiao Ming landed in the woodland and was astonished to discover a young woman in red nearby, her form and visage rivaling those of Ling Ruoxuan and Yi Xilan. As the young girl caught his gaze, her eyes widened in shock, clearly taken aback by the unexpected turn of events. What was happening? Who was this person? He had never appeared in her previous life. Could it be that the emperor's rebirth had altered the course of destinies? Gazing at Xiao Ming, Feng Xianhuang wore a perplexed expression. She could assure herself that she had never encountered this individual before. How had he come into existence? Who was this rogue? Daring to harm my sister Phoenix? Just as Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang were engulfed in confusion, a powerful voice reverberated through the forest, announcing the arrival of a striking figure. However, upon witnessing the peculiar scene before him, a flicker of astonishment crossed his face. How could there be an unexpected addition to the plan? Who are you? After a moment of surprise, Feng Yin bellowed, his gaze fixed menacingly on Xiao Ming. If this fellow hadn't appeared, he would have been the hero saving the beauty. How dare he disrupt his good fortune? If he lacks any backing, he shall be dealt with. Paying no mind to Feng Yan's outburst, Xiao Ming cast a brief glance, quickly grasping the situation. Clearly, this was a classic scenario of a damsel in distress, with a hero poised to save her. But why had fate orchestrated for him to stumble upon this? Was he truly destined for romantic entanglements, with beauties seemingly drawn to him? Ding. The life choice system has been randomly triggered, allowing the host to make the following selections. Option 1. Stand against injustice and assist Feng Xianhuang in vanquishing the black-clad assailants, thereby showcasing his prowess before her, with a reward of a random elixir. Option 2. Stand against injustice by aiding Feng Xianhuang in defeating the black-clad assailants, then publicly humiliate the foe in front of her cousin, with a reward of a random divine skill. Option 3. Remain indifferent to the conflict between Feng Xianhuang and the black-clad assailants, openly declaring his refusal to intervene, with a reward of a random item. Option 4. Aid the oppressors by assisting the black-clad assailants in subduing Feng Xianhuang, sharing the beauty with them, with a reward of a random formation. As Xiao Ming pondered the options presented by the system, he couldn't help but internally critique their absurdity. Aside from the first and third options appearing somewhat reasonable, what on earth were the second and fourth choices? One involved humiliating Feng Xianhuang before her cousin, while the other suggested joining forces with the black-clad men to humiliate her. Was it truly necessary for Feng Xianhuang to be subjected to such indignities? System. I choose 3. After a moment of reflection, Xiao Ming made his decision. The notion of heroically intervening held no allure for him in this dog-eat-dog world. Survival necessitated focusing on oneself. He cast aside the urge to assist, respecting the fates of others. As long as others do not provoke him, it is best to avoid unnecessary trouble, lest one inadvertently invites significant misfortune upon oneself. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice. You have received a reward. 1. Life Substitution Teleportation Talisman. The reward has been automatically placed in the system space, ready for the host to extract and inherit with a single click upon completing the choice. Life Substitution Teleportation Talisman. After refinement, it generates a mark within the host, capable of withstanding a single fatal blow and granting one opportunity for free spatial teleportation. Note, the damage resistance of the talisman disregards cultivation limitations, while the teleportation ability is constrained by the host's realm of consciousness. Another treasure. Upon witnessing the reward from this selection, Xiao Ming could not help but feel a surge of emotion within. To withstand damage without regard for cultivation levels, what does that signify? Even at his current state of merely possessing the spirit sea cultivation, he could endure a strike from a mighty emperor. Boy, how dare you ignore me? Do you even know who I am? As Xiao Ming disregarded him, Feng Yan's expression turned increasingly frigid, shouting once more at Xiao Ming. Who you are is of no concern to me. I am merely passing through and have no interest in your affairs. Kindly refrain from provoking me. With that, Xiao Ming, disinterested in the group, turned to leave. The prompt indicating the completion of his choice resonated in his ears, filling him with excitement. Along with the eye of truth that he had yet to extract, he was poised to inherit 2 system rewards at once. Once he joined the Fuyo Sacred Land, he could also inherit the Emperor's banner with a simple click. At that point, ascending would be a trivial matter. How dare you strike me and then attempt to leave? Do you think our Ghost Blade Demon Sect S5 Tiger Generals are mere pushovers? Just as Xiao Ming was about to depart, the chubby individual among the 5 black-clad figures suddenly began to boast loudly. Before the leading black-clad man could issue an order, the chubby one surged forward, his cultivation erupting with an air of determination that suggested he would not allow Xiao Ming to leave unscathed. Observing this, Xiao Ming furrowed his brow slightly. He had encountered those eager for death before, but never someone so reckless as to seek the title of first in such a venture. I had no intention of engaging, but your audacity is truly infuriating. Witnessing the chubby one closing the distance in the blink of an eye, a glint of cold light flashed in Xiao Ming's eyes, and he unleashed his full cultivation. Without any enhancements or mystical arts, he simply threw a punch. Yet, as this punch was unleashed, it resonated through the mountains and forests like thunder, causing the others to narrow their eyes in shock. Fourth, fall back. The leading black-clad man shouted urgently upon sensing the terrifying power contained within Xiao Ming's strike. Unfortunately, it was too late. In the very instant the words echoed, Xiao Ming's fist connected with the chubby man, shattering his offense like a bubble. The corpulent figure erupted in a mist of blood, sent flying like a rag doll. And after crashing through several ancient trees, he fell silent. The essence of life was extinguished. Such a horrifying scene left Feng Yan and the other cloaked figures in disbelief. They had perceived Xiao Ming's cultivation to be merely at the 5th level of the Spirit Sea realm, while that pudgy individual had reached the 7th level. With a 2-tier difference in their cultivation levels, even some core disciples from sacred grounds possessing spiritual bodies could not achieve a one-hit knockout. Could it be that this individual before them was a prodigy endowed with a sacred body from some holy ground? You could have lived, yet you chose to provoke me. With a single punch, Xiao Ming obliterated the cloaked little fatty, his gaze shifting to the remaining figures cloaked in black. A palpable aura of murderous intent emanating from his visage. Come at me together. As Xiao Ming's murderous intent surged, the leader of the cloaked men bellowed, unleashing a torrent of true essence. With a mere gesture, he summoned a powerful technique aimed at Xiao Ming. The other 3 cloaked figures followed suit, unleashing their own techniques in a fervent assault. 1 at the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm, 2 at the 8th, and 1 at the 7th. This assembly appeared formidable. Yet they were nothing more than mere chickens and dogs. As the black-clad figures drew nearer, Xiao Ming relinquished any restraint. The demonic true essence erupted like a volcano. A grand black and white sun materializing behind him, exuding an aura both sacred and eerily chilling. The Heavenly Sun Fist. This was a martial art Xiao Ming had mastered during his time at the Xiao family, and he had perfected it over the years. Although it was classified as a top-tier earthly technique, when executed through the chaos demonic scripture, its unleashed power could rival heavenly-grade techniques. Give it your all and brace for impact. Sensing the terror of Xiao Ming's strike, the leading cloaked figure shouted, swiftly shifting from offense to defense in an attempt to withstand the blow. Perhaps his words were too hasty, as the others interpreted them as a signal to unleash everything they had. They all went berserk, abandoning defense for a full-on assault. The outcome was predictable. Within the shadows of Xiao Ming's sun-like fist, the 3 cloaked figures were reduced to a mist of blood, vanquished almost instantaneously. Feng Yan, why are you still not making a move? You brought us here to eliminate this woman. Why has another arisen? Witnessing the brutal demise of his 3 comrades, the leader of the cloaked figures roared in fury, his true essence morphing into a monstrous figure that clashed with Xiao Ming. This declaration caused Feng Yan's expression to drastically change, clearly taken aback by the black-clad man's attempt to drag him into the fray. Sister Huang, do not heed his nonsense. I do not know him at all. In his panic, Feng Yan turned to explain to Feng Xianhuang, only to see her with wild hair and a murderous glare, unleashing her true essence to crush him. Boom! With a thunderous explosion reverberating through the forest. The leader of the cloaked figures was slain on the spot, while Feng Yan was sent flying, spitting blood. This scene left Xiao Ming in a state of astonishment. However, he refrained from intervening. After all, those who had provoked him were already dealt with, and the enmity between these 2 was none of his concern. It would be better to cleanse the battlefield and extract a couple of system rewards. As this thought crossed his mind, Xiao Ming retrieved the storage rings from the several cloaked figures, discovering a considerable amount of spirit crystals and rare treasures within. It appeared that they had indeed acquired numerous benefits from Feng Yan. System, extract the true eye, and the life, transfer talisman. After collecting these spoils, Xiao Ming immediately commanded the system. With the sound of a system prompt, 2 beams of light surged forth from the system space, and Xiao Ming directly inherited the true eye and the life, transfer talisman. In this brief moment, Feng Xianhuang and Feng Yan had also determined the victor. Despite Feng Yan's cultivation being at the 8th level of the Spirit Sea, he was decisively overpowered by Feng Xianhuang, who was only at the 5th level, suffering severe injuries and being trampled underfoot. This spectacle piqued Xiao Ming's curiosity, prompting him to utilize the true eye to inspect Feng Xianhuang. As he activated the true eye, fundamental information regarding Feng Xianhuang continuously manifested before him. This revelation left Xiao Ming astounded, staring wide-eyed at her. The quality of her spiritual consciousness reached the imperial level, and she was suspected to be the reincarnation of an imperial powerhouse. Is this truly genuine? He had just encountered a celestial maiden from a sacred land, and narrowly escaped the clutches of a demoness. only to now meet another reincarnated empress? This woman's fortune is simply unparalleled. Xianhuang, why? I am your distant cousin. Why must you turn against me? As Xiao Ming grappled with his astonishment, Feng Yan, who was underfoot, shouted in frustration and fear, attempting to break free from Feng Xianhuang's grip. How dare you question me? Feng Xianhuang's eyes flashed with a chilling glint, her voice reverberating coldly through the forest. The Feng family attempted to poison me, but fortunately, I did not consume their vile concoctions. Upon learning of my intention to seek mentorship at the Fuyao sacred land, they not only dispatched assassins to eliminate my attendants and guards, but also aimed to stage a heroic rescue in front of me. For these transgressions, you deserve death. With that, a terrifying inferno erupted from Feng Xianhuang, as she delivered a powerful kick to Feng Yan, followed by a devastating palm strike. Crimson flames instantly coalesced into a phantasmal phoenix that surged toward him amidst his terror-stricken gaze. No. In the face of overwhelming power, Feng Yan let out a desperate scream. Yet, no matter how he struggled or defended himself, it was futile. He could only watch helplessly as the flames consumed him. He could not fathom why his cousin, who was weaker than him, suddenly wielded such terrifying prowess in utilizing the Phoenix's power, capable of effortlessly crushing him despite their three-tier difference in cultivation. As Feng Yan was utterly transformed into ashes, Xiao Ming locked eyes with Feng Xianhuang, and an eerie silence enveloped the forest. What are you staring at? After a brief moment of mutual gaze, Feng Xianhuang slightly furrowed her brow and asked coldly, a glint of wariness flashing in her beautiful eyes. She was acutely aware of the formidable power Xiao Ming had just unleashed. He was no ordinary prodigy, although she had yet to awaken the ancestral phoenix blood within her. And despite possessing combat experience equivalent to the 7th level of the Emperor realm, she harbored no certainty that she could subdue the man before her. After all, if one's physical strength, essence quality, and cultivation level did not align, even the most seasoned experience would struggle to manifest its full potential in battle. Thus, unless absolutely necessary, it would be wise to avoid offending this individual. Naturally, should he prove to be insensible, she would not hesitate to send him to the depths of despair. Upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's inquiry, Xiao Ming felt an urge to retort with a casual "what is it to you?" However, realizing that she was no ordinary woman, but rather a reincarnated empress of great might, he deemed it prudent to refrain from provoking her. The specifics of her combat prowess remained unknown, and it was wise to tread carefully, especially since they bore no animosity towards one another. After casting a glance at her, Xiao Ming chose to remain silent and turned to leave the area, feeling no need to engage in idle chatter. Leaving already? Observing Xiao Ming's indifference as he turned away, Feng Xianhuang couldn't help but frown slightly. She found herself quite intrigued by him. After all, the techniques he had displayed, along with the peculiar essence he wielded and the unique constitution he possessed, left her in a state of perplexity. Yet, since he had not approached her for conversation, she felt it beneath her dignity to extend an olive branch. Just as Xiao Ming was about to depart, the chaotic yin-yang scale within Feng Xianhuang's consciousness suddenly stirred to life, and a chilling voice echoed through her mental space. Detection of a chaotic body present. Physical strength exceeds that of the host. Would the host like to bind for comparative analysis? As this voice resonated, a torrent of information flooded Feng Xianhuang's mind, leaving her astonished. The chaotic yin-yang scale, beyond its capability to reverse time and open reincarnation, could also facilitate comparisons through its dual poles. For instance, if the host is female, she represents the yin pole. The yang pole can be used to bind surrounding male beings, allowing for a comprehensive strength comparison once a month. The bound subject must possess a cultivation level not lower than that of the host, with innate talent at the divine level or above. The comparative strength assessment would be conducted preliminarily by the chaotic yin-yang scale. Should the host dispute the results, they may challenge the counterpart. If victorious, one could harness the complementary effects of yin and yang to replicate any aspect of the opponent, including but not limited to their constitution, techniques, or divine abilities. In the case of a life and death comparison, should one manage to vanquish the opponent, they would even inherit and absorb their entire cultivation. Yet, should one fail, one must acquiesce to a demand put forth by the victor. Otherwise, one shall suffer a backlash that causes a decline in their own realm. Furthermore, once the chaotic yin-yang scale initiates a dual binding comparison, unless the host can surpass the current binding entity, they cannot unbind and rebind to a second candidate. Upon realizing the intricate functions of the chaotic yin-yang scale, Feng Xianhuang could not help but take a deep breath. Even as an empress, it was her first encounter with such a peculiar treasure. The ability to compare and replicate the physique, techniques, and divine abilities of the comparator, and even to inherit and absorb the entirety of another's cultivation, it was simply overwhelming. Of course, If Xiao Ming were to witness such revelations, he might exclaim, "What the heck? This is actually a physical comparison system. Does the host wish to bind the individual before you as a comparison target?" Just as Feng Xianhuang was lost in thought, the cold voice resonated again, snapping her back to reality. A chaotic body. This individual before her was indeed a chaotic body, the pinnacle of physiques across myriad realms. Observing Xiao Ming, Feng Xianhuang's gaze flickered. After a moment of hesitation, she resolutely made her decision. Bind. What of the chaotic body? She was the reincarnation of an empress, knowledgeable about future significant events, possessing a trace of phoenix ancestral blood within her, and inheriting the legacy of the ancient phoenix clan. With all the advantages of time, place, and harmony at her disposal, how could she possibly be outmatched by a mere chaotic body? Thus, she could not afford to lose. If she could seize this chaotic body through comparison and acquire its chaotic attributes and techniques, she might very well ascend to the status of a great emperor in this lifetime. As her words fell, the chaotic yin-yang scale erupted with a resonant hum. An invisible wave emanating from Feng Xianhuang, enveloping both her and Xiao Ming in an instant. Subsequently, a miniature version of Xiao Ming materialized on the positive tray of the chaotic yin-yang scale, while a diminutive Feng Xianhuang appeared on the negative tray. In the center of the balance, a small hourglass manifested, its sand flowing downward as if entering a countdown from this moment forth. Strange, did something occur? Why do I feel as though I am being watched? After the wave appeared, Xiao Ming furrowed his brow slightly. What the hell? Why does it feel like something is scrutinizing him? Could it be that this empress harbors ulterior motives towards him? With this thought, Xiao Ming cast a sharp gaze at Feng Xianhuang, his aura growing increasingly perilous. If Feng Xianhuang were indeed scheming, regardless of her status as a reincarnated empress or celestial being, she would be suppressed and dealt with severely. Chapter 14. Being watched? System ding. A reward is being delivered. Why are you staring at me? Seeing Xiao Ming fixate on her, Feng Xianhuang felt a shiver run down her spine. Could it be that this fellow detected the actions of the chaotic yin-yang scale just now? Impossible. This is a treasure born from chaos. Even the mightiest of emperors would find it challenging to perceive any signs. Did you do something to me? After a moment of silence, Xiao Ming inquired. This caused Feng Xianhuang's pupils to contract slightly, her gaze shifting to Xiao Ming with a mix of suspicion and uncertainty. Could it be that this man truly sensed the movements of the chaotic yin-yang scale? No, that couldn't be right. If he had genuinely perceived it, he would have rushed over to confront her instead of wasting time with questions. With this thought, Feng Xianhuang's brow furrowed, a hint of puzzlement gracing her features. I do not comprehend your words. Our cultivation levels are nearly equal, and there lies a considerable distance between us. What could I possibly do to you? As she spoke, Feng Xianhuang took the initiative, her tone shifting abruptly. But you have been glaring at me with such intensity. I am curious about your intentions. Upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's words, a twitch passed across Xiao Ming's lips. What did she mean by glaring? That was merely vigilant observation. As a man traversing the wilderness, he faced considerable dangers. Not long ago, he had been unexpectedly embraced by a celestial maiden, and he reluctantly wished to preserve his innocence. Subsequently, he encountered a ravenous demoness who almost ensnared him in her clutches. Now, facing this reincarnated empress, could he not afford to be cautious? Who could know what intentions this woman harbored towards him? System, was there something sinister targeting me just now? After a brief internal lamentation, Xiao Ming could not be bothered to engage in further banter with Feng Xianhuang and directly inquired of the system. Ding. Welfare being delivered. Hearing the system's response left Xiao Ming utterly bewildered. Welfare? Where? He felt nothing at all. Could it possibly refer to this woman before him, who might cook for him, wash his feet, give massages, or even warm his bed and bear him children? Puzzled within, Xiao Ming pressed on with his inquiry. Unfortunately, the system chose to feign silence, leaving Xiao Ming feeling somewhat disheartened, and he lost interest in further suspicion. With a mere glance at Feng Xianhuang, he prepared to head towards the Fuyo sacred land. Wait, are you intending to go to the Fuyo sacred land? Just as Xiao Ming turned to leave, Feng Xianhuang suddenly called out to him, prompting him to turn back with a look of curiosity. The Fuyo sacred land opens its trials every 3 years, and should one miss the timing, joining midway requires a token. Luckily, I possess a token from an elder. If you do not mind, I could take you along. Upon seeing the perplexed expression on Xiao Ming's face, Feng Xianhuang took the initiative to extend her goodwill. No need, I also have. Upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's words, Xiao Ming promptly declined her offer. No good deed goes unpunished. It is said that one who offers kindness without reason is either a thief or has ulterior motives. She is a reincarnated empress. By all accounts, she should be quite proud. Such uncharacteristic behavior must harbor schemes. Could it be that she covets him? Do not misunderstand. I merely wish to express my gratitude for your assistance earlier. However, since you possess a token as well, there is no need for me to impose. Upon being rebuffed by Xiao Ming, Feng Xianhuang remained unfazed, continuing in a tone of indifference. Of course, if you do not mind, let us proceed together. Once we join the Fuyao Holy Land, we shall be considered comrades. However, before Feng Xianhuang could finish her words, Xiao Ming had already vanished into the forest with a swift motion, which left her with a sense of irritation. She had not anticipated that this imperial figure would be so easily disregarded, inciting a simmering anger within her. Gritting her teeth, and with a slightly constrained expression, Feng Xianhuang promptly followed suit. She was already bound to Xiao Ming and could not allow him to escape. In a contrasting scene, at the ancestral shrine of the Xiao family in Luyan City, Xiaoren sat cross-legged. His bare torso was adorned with strange crimson markings, and beneath him lay a profound and mysterious formation, with each node suspended above by a spirit herb, 7 heavenly tier herbs, and 21 earthly tier herbs, the former being primary and the latter supplementary. Surrounding the formation were 7 formidable beings of the Tongtian realm, including Xiao Tiance and several elders. This was the 7-star Nirvana formation, brought back by Xiao Ren from the Tai Holy Land. It was designed to amalgamate the potent powers of rare body-refining herbs with the prowess of the 7 Tongtian realm experts, perfectly integrating the medicinal effects into the body of the practitioner. This formation was originally intended for the body refinement of those at the Tongtian realm, as those below could not withstand the terrifying potency of the concoction. However, Xiao Ren possessed the supreme bone within him, a peak constitution of the Tsungyuan realm, endowed with limitless potential for achieving sainthood and emperorhood. Yet, this supreme bone had not yet fully developed, remaining in a nascent state. Today, he aimed to utilize the 7 heavenly tier herbs and the 21 earthly tier herbs to activate the 7-star Nirvana formation with the assistance of the 7 Tongtian realm experts, accelerating the refinement and maturation of this supreme bone. This was, indeed, his primary objective for returning to the Xiao family. Formation, commence. Refine the herbs. With Xiao Tiance's authoritative command, the other elders joined in, forming seals as the entire array erupted in a brilliant radiance. The 7 heavenly tier primary herbs and 21 earthly tier supplementary herbs funneled their energies through the formation, converging upon Xiao Ren. Instantly, his skin flushed a deep crimson, veins bulging with intensity. He emitted a beastly roar, as if enduring immense agony, yet his physical strength gradually intensified. A radiant glow erupted from his chest, embodying a terrifying energy fluctuation, signaling the supreme bone's awakening and accelerated development. Moreover, as the supreme bone matured at an accelerated pace, Xiao Ren's cultivation soared from the 2nd to the 3rd layer of the spiritual sea realm. In less than half an hour, his cultivation reached the 5th layer of the spiritual sea realm, comparable to the height Xiao Ming had achieved before he had willingly diminished his own prowess. An hour later, as the last remnants of medicinal herbs within the formation turned to ashes, a terrifying surge of energy erupted from Xiao Ren, his cultivation level astonishingly reaching the 8th stage of the Spirit Sea. This revelation left Xiao Tiansu and several elders of the Xiao family in a state of shock and disbelief. Ha ha ha, truly worthy of the supreme bone. Merely in its initial phase of gestation, it already exudes such might. My son, Xiao Ren, possesses the potential of an emperor. Gazing at Xiao Ren, who was enveloped in a heated aura and emanating a terrifying pressure from his chest, Xiao Tiansu could not contain his ecstatic laughter. Though he himself lacked the qualifications to become an emperor in his lifetime, he had given birth to such a remarkable son. Should Xiao Ren achieve the sanctity and ascend to emperor, he, as the father, would also soar to great heights. Not to mention the mere entry into the sacred realm. Even the sacred king realm could be within reach. Is this the power of the supreme bone? Ha 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 ha. From this moment forth, I shall reign supreme, making all saints tremble in my presence. Feeling the surge of power within him, which was exponentially stronger than before, Xiao Ren trembled with exhilaration, ultimately breaking into a fit of wild laughter. Of course, the saints he referred to were not merely the numerous formidable beings of the sacred realm, but the sons and daughters of the saints from the eastern domain. From this moment onward, regardless of how extraordinary those saintly figures may be, Xiao Ren would undoubtedly suppress each one. This was the formidable confidence bestowed upon him by the supreme bone. By the way, have you located my dear brother? After a prolonged bout of manic laughter, Xiao Ren suddenly turned to Xiao Tiansu and inquired. Not yet, Xiao Tiansu replied, shaking his head. What a bunch of useless fools. I care not what methods you employ. You must find him post-haste. Xiao Ren bellowed, cutting off Xiao Tiansu. Remember, I want him alive. I wish for him to witness with his own eyes just how exceptional I am, and what right does he have to compete with me, daring to lay hands on me in public? A few days ago, Xiao Ming's attack in the hall was the greatest humiliation of my life. Even if he becomes a cripple, I must cleanse this disgrace. Chapter 15. Do you expect me to serve as your furnace? This demand is rather excessive. Ahead lay the mountain gate of the Fuyao sacred land. Feng Xian led Xiao Ming through a series of tribulations. Finally arriving at the towering gate nestled among the mountains. The gate soared hundreds of feet high, standing majestically amidst the cliffs. Inscribed with the ancient characters for Fuyao, radiating an aura of grandeur and dominance. Through the gate, one could glimpse a peak that pierced the clouds, resembling a colossal sword spanning the heavens, atop which magnificent palaces and towers stood erect, resembling an otherworldly paradise. And this was the Fuyao sacred land. As one of the 5 dominant forces of the northern Xian region within the eastern domain, the sacred land boasted not only a plethora of formidable individuals, but also countless prodigious talents. It was a sanctified realm where even ordinary individuals and typical geniuses could only dream of entering. Truly, it is a sacred land. Even the mountain gate stands as a formidable artifact of both offense and defense, serving as the focal point that connects the entire protective array of the sacred mountain. Gazing upon the immense entrance, Xiao Ming could not help but express his awe. This solitary mountain gate alone could render the Xiao family's entire heritage insignificant in comparison. It is evident how vast the chasm is between a wholly land-level dominant power and a first-rate familial force. Clearly, today, it is not just we who aspire to join the Fuyao sacred land. As Xiao Ming pondered, Feng Xianhuang cast a glance ahead, her delicate face revealing a hint of surprise. For before the mountain gate of Fuyao sacred land, a considerable number of individuals had gathered. Their varied attire suggested they were not disciples of the sacred land. Thus, it was clear that these individuals were either here to partake in the assessments or lingering in hopes of catching the eye of a powerful figure from the sacred land. This has nothing to do with us. Let us proceed, Xiao Ming shrugged, speaking with a hint of indifference. He was eager to enter the Fuyao sacred land, to become a small genius sheltered by a powerful faction, allowing him a period of safe development. Once he had matured, he would settle accounts with the Xiao family and that good younger brother of his. Wait, just as Xiao Ming prepared to approach the mountain gate, Feng Xianhuang suddenly called out to him, leaving him somewhat puzzled. Your strength is formidable, and your physique is rather unique. Thus, I wish to engage in a contest with you. A contest? Upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's words, Xiao Ming was momentarily taken aback, utterly perplexed by this reincarnated empress's sudden interest. Could it be that witnessing his effortless slaying of several beasts and the swift annihilation of those cloaked figures had left her feeling somewhat overshadowed, prompting her to seek a proper duel? The entrance examination for the Fuyao sacred land requires ascending the Fuyao heavenly ladder, which embodies various elemental powers that test one's strength and perseverance. Those who ascend beyond 500 steps exhibit a semblance of Dharma. Those surpassing 600 steps possess the potential for rebirth, while those exceeding 700 steps show the promise of transcendence. The pattern continues. Breaking through 800 steps offers the chance to attain sainthood, while surpassing 900 steps opens the path to becoming a saint king. The Fuyao heavenly ladder consists of a total of 1,100 steps. Today, we shall witness who can advance the furthest in this assessment. With that, Feng Xianhuang fixed her intense gaze upon Xiao Ming, her face brimming with fierce combat spirit. As the saying goes, knowing oneself and knowing one's enemy leads to victory in every battle. Although she is a reincarnated empress, Xiao Ming is a being of chaotic essence. Even if he is a novice in cultivation, lacking the insights of an emperor-level practitioner, he remains among the pinnacle of the Zhongyuan realm. Thus, seizing this opportunity to gauge Xiao Ming's capabilities would provide her with greater assurance in the forthcoming comparison. Not interested, Xiao Ming replied, his expression one of disinterest. He was already somewhat familiar with the examination methods of the Fuyao sacred land from his time in the Xiao family. Throughout history, those who could surpass 900 steps are truly rare, each causing a stir within the entire Fuyao sacred land. Only 3 individuals have ever ascended beyond 1,000 steps, one of whom was the 3rd sovereign of the Fuyao sacred land. Another is the 11th sovereign of the Fuyao sacred land, and the last is the son of an esteemed imperial family. Given his talents and potential, ascending to the pinnacle should pose no challenge. It's merely a matter of desire. Do you not wish to discover where your limits lie? Upon hearing Xiao Ming's response, Feng Xianhuang became quite agitated. I have no interest. What significance does it hold? The path ahead will not be smooth merely because of this knowledge, and the limits one perceives are not necessarily the endpoint. Therefore, it is wiser to proceed step by step, diligently mastering each moment. This should be our current pursuit. Xiao Ming waved his hand dismissively and replied nonchalantly. Let us make a wager. If you can defeat me, I shall grant you a sacred king's secret technique. Should you lose, however, you must assist me in my cultivation. Feng Xianhuang's expression changed instantly at Xiao Ming's declaration. Offering a sacred king's secret technique as bait made Xiao Ming question whether he had misheard. Staring at her in astonishment, he displayed a peculiar expression. Assist in my cultivation? Are you suggesting I become your furnace companion? That request seems rather excessive. A sacred king's secret technique appears insufficient. Despite having lost his yuan yang, he still possessed a sense of integrity. To trade a sacred king's secret technique for his body was out of the question. At the very least, he would require another technique. Not as a furnace companion. What are you thinking? I merely hoped that after you joined the Fuyao sacred land, you could spar with me and share insights into divine abilities. Feng Xianhuang's lips twitched, her tone slightly constrained. Realizing she did not mean to propose such an arrangement, Xiao Ming's interest waned. Although this reincarnated empress seemed somewhat proud, her physique and visage were undeniably appealing. If he could secure her as a furnace companion, cough cough, ding, the life choice system has been randomly activated. The host may make the following selections. Choice 1. Remain unmoved. Once again reject Feng Xianhuang, regardless of her conditions, and steadfastly refuse to compete, earning a random secret technique as a reward. Choice 2. Push for more. Decline Feng Xianhuang and assert that her offer is inadequate, insisting that she must spend the night with him in exchange for a random elixir. Choice 3. Confident in victory, agree to Feng Xianhuang's challenge, and win during the competition to receive a random spiritual artifact as a reward. Choice 4. Show disdain, reject Feng Xianhuang as challenge, declaring her unworthy of competing unless she kneels and begs, earning a random formation technique as a reward. As the system prompt echoed in his mind, several options materialized before him. Chapter 16. The Primitive Flame Seed. Temptation from the Xiao family's bounty. System, I choose 3. Glancing briefly at the system options, Xiao Ming made his decision without hesitation. As the saying goes, one should not refuse free benefits. Winning against Feng Xianhuang would yield both the Sacred King's secret technique and the system's reward. Truly a double gain. Ding. Congratulations, host, on making your choice and receiving the reward. Original Fire Seed. The reward has been automatically placed in the system space and can be extracted with a single click once you complete your selection. Original Fire Seed. A mysterious seed of fire born from the chaotic void, possessing the ability to consume various exotic flames from across the world and inherit their attributes. Continuously evolving. Once again, a splendid treasure has emerged. Upon witnessing this newfound gem, Xiao Ming's heart brimmed with joy. The ability to devour all manner of exotic flames and inherit their diverse properties sounded incredibly impressive. Coupled with the previous life replacement teleportation talisman he had obtained, this female emperor truly brought him good fortune. All right, I accept your challenge, but do not deny it if you lose. Otherwise, I shall be relentless. In a state of high spirits, Xiao Ming readily agreed. Such audacious words darkened Feng Xianhuang's brow, as she had not anticipated this fellow to be so brazen. Since you possess such confidence, let me see just where your limits lie. With that, Feng Xianhuang strode towards the Mount Fuyao, and after a hearty laugh, Xiao Ming followed suit. Ha ha ha, brother Wang Xian, I never expected to encounter you here. Could it be that you have also garnered the favor of an elder from Mount Fuyao, receiving a token to participate in the assessment? Ha ha. It is none other than the illustrious MOU from Moyang City. I am fortunate to meet you here. I have been favored by Elder Zhou Tianlin from the Array Peak, but unfortunately, Elder Zhou had urgent matters to attend to at the Tianbao Mall and could not escort me personally into Mount Fuyao. Hence he entrusted me with this token for the assessment. What a delightful coincidence. It seems we shall have the opportunity to compete once more as Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang approached the mountain gate. The flattery from various prodigies began to surface. Nearby, numerous other talents lingered, hoping to ride on the coattails of their trial slots, leading to a wave of insincere mutual praise. This left Xiao Ming somewhat taken aback. However, upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's explanation, he realized that each prodigy in possession of a token could bring an additional prodigy for the assessment. If the latter could ascend to the 500th step of the Fuyao heavenly ladder, they too would qualify to become a disciple of the sacred land. No wonder Feng Xianhuang had proposed joining her earlier in the forest. Let us disregard them. We need only inform the gate guards to commence our trial. After clarifying the situation to Xiao Ming, Feng Xianhuang turned her gaze towards the gates of Fuyao Mountain. Among the self-congratulatory prodigies, she found none worthy of her attention. True strength often resides in solitude, and those who resort to flattery typically lack true prowess. Wait, that person looks quite familiar. Goodness. Is that not the little princess of the Phoenix family from Tianyao City? It is said that her Phoenix bloodline purity reaches 97%, granting her a chance to awaken the ancient Phoenix bloodline. She has also come to participate in the assessment of Mount Fuyao. Is it her? It is said that at merely 18 years of age, she has achieved the 5th level of the spiritual sea realm, a feat sufficient to rival some disciples of the inner sanctum of sacred lands. Who is the man beside her? He seems strikingly familiar. As Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang drew closer, they captured the attention of numerous prodigies. When the gazes of the crowd converged upon Xiao Ming, someone appeared to recall a certain matter and could not help but emit a sharp exclamation. What? It's him. The family traitor the Xiao clan of Luyan City is hunting. The brother of the one from Tai's sacred land who is poised to become the saint of the heavenly sword peak. I have seen his wanted poster. Upon hearing this, the expressions of the crowd suddenly shifted, all eyes turning towards Xiao Ming. His demeanor grew somewhat gloomy. Indeed, the Xiao clan was truly seeking him. Yet, he had not anticipated that this news would spread so widely within merely a few days, even reaching the prodigies attending the assessment of the Fuyo sacred land. It is worth noting that Fuyo sacred land lies tens of thousands of miles away from the Xiao clan. It seems they have spared no expense in this bounty. What? He is Xiao Ming, the wretch who attempted to violate his own clan's sister and frame his brother, and when the truth was revealed, had the audacity to act violently, only to be stripped of his cultivation by the head of the Xiao clan. Yet, unexpectedly, this scoundrel secretly retained a trump card, managing to escape using a spatial teleportation talisman. Who would have thought he would arrive at the gates of Fuyo sacred land? Could it be that he intends to partake in the entrance examination of Fuyo sacred land? After the initial exclamation, another prodigy began to unveil shocking revelations, causing Feng Xianhuang's expression to turn peculiar. To violate his own clan's sister, to frame his brother, and yet be stripped of his cultivation? I cannot ascertain the truth of the first two allegations, but the claim of his cultivation being abolished, that is utterly ludicrous. I witnessed Xiao Ming emerge from a spatial teleportation and instantly repel several formidable opponents of the spiritual sea realm with a single punch. He hardly resembles one whose cultivation has been nullified. Brothers, let us seize him. The Xiao clan has truly put forth a substantial bounty. Anyone providing clues about Xiao Ming will be rewarded with a mid-tier spiritual treasure. If someone manages to capture Xiao Ming, they will receive a high-tier spiritual treasure along with a reward of 1 million spirit crystals. As Feng Xianhuang was taken aback, another clever individual, filled with fervor and greed, fixated his gaze on Xiao Ming. A high-tier spiritual treasure. Such an item would entice even those at the celestial realm. Not to mention the added incentive of 1 million spirit crystals as a bounty. If they could apprehend this traitor of the Xiao clan, would they not soar to unprecedented heights? Young man, bring him to me. While some continued to shout, others had already begun to take action. The previously mentioned prodigy, known as Wang Xian, erupted with energy as he charged towards Xiao Ming, raising his hand to seize him. The intensity of his cultivation surged to the 6th level of the spiritual sea realm. Ha ha ha, brother Wang Xian, it is rather unethical to keep all the glory for yourself. Allow me to handle this one. The remarkable individual known as Mo joined the fray, his cultivation resonating at the 6th tier of the spirit sea realm. However, the very next moment, as the two advanced within a mere yard of Xiao Ming, a glimmer of cold light flickered in Xiao Ming's eyes. He raised his hand and unleashed a punch towards the duo. With a resounding explosion, Wang Xian and Mo emitted a chorus of anguished cries. Propelled backward like discarded refuse, their arms twisted grotesquely, their chests caved in, and blood gushed forth from their mouths. Their bodies carved a trench into the ground before they spasmed a few times and fell silent. The scene was instantly enveloped in a profound stillness. As all present gazed at Xiao Ming with expressions of shock and disbelief, akin to ducks with their throats grasped, their eyes wide open, rendered speechless. Unbelievable. With a single punch, he had vanquished 2 prodigies. Was this truly what it meant to have one's cultivation obliterated? Did the Xiao clan harbor some misunderstanding regarding this notion? Observing the lifeless forms of the 2 great prodigies, Xiao Ming cast a frosty glance at the remaining individuals. The terrifying aura he exuded compelling many to take a step back, each one too intimidated to utter a sound. Yet, Xiao Ming had no intention of letting these individuals off easily, his gaze fixated on the raucous instigator, Brother Dong. Was it you who shouted earlier? Thud. Father. I was blind to your greatness. I implore you to show mercy without the slightest hesitation. Brother Dong fell to his knees, repeatedly bowing before Xiao Ming. However, before Xiao Ming could respond, a resounding voice echoed at the mountain gate, accompanied by a terrifying wave of pressure. The author's pseudonym was originally titled Transforming Waste into Treasure, picking up a faux-dead Medusa, now rebranded as Monthly Encounter with a Female Emperor. System, you understand me. Both bearing the intricate connections of Chapter 17, Ling Ruoxuan's Jade Pendant. Who dares to cause a disturbance before the gates of the Fuyo sacred land? The words thundered like lightning. 2 figures descended like celestial beings, each radiating a dreadful aura, their cultivation reaching the 9th tier of the spirit sea realm. Furthermore, they appeared to be merely in their 20s, leaving the gathered prodigies in awe. Even the gatekeeping disciples possessed such formidable talents and cultivation. Truly, it was no surprise that the Fuyo sacred land was one of the 5 overlords of the Beixian realm. The 2 esteemed figures recognized the culprit. This individual was a traitor wanted by the Xiao clan of Luyan City, having not only defiled his own clan elder sister, but also conspired to frame his younger brother, audaciously inflicting harm before the gates of the Fuyo sacred land. The fallen duo had been granted the sacred token to participate in the assessments at the sacred land, only to be ruthlessly slain by him with a single punch. Upon seeing the 2 guarding disciples, Brother Dong, who had just knelt before Xiao Ming, hurriedly slid forward to the guardians, his expression one of fervent excitement as he called out. It was as if these 2 were his reborn parents, almost prompting him to embrace them. This startled those around, causing Xiao Ming's gaze to darken. Unexpectedly, this fool dared to call out, "How dare you take the life of one who possesses a token and has come to undergo the assessment at the sacred land of Fuyao? Truly, you possess an audacity beyond measure." Under the boisterous taunting of a certain traitor, the expressions of the 2 guarding disciples turned towards Xiao Ming, gradually morphing into a dangerous countenance. They could disregard the so-called bounty on the Xiao family, but to dare to take the life of an aspirant at the mountain gate would be to brazenly slap the face of the sacred land. Failing to apprehend him could invoke the wrath of the higher-ups within the sacred land. As this notion settled in, the 2 guarding disciples took a step forward, unleashing the full force of their 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. The terrifying aura surged forth like a tidal wave, pressing down on Xiao Ming. The sense of oppression was far greater than that experienced just half a day prior with the man in black. "Wait, we are also here to participate in the assessment." Just as the 2 guarding disciples were about to strike, Feng Xianhuang furrowed her brow slightly and, with a flick of her hand, produced a token. "This is the Elder's token?" Upon seeing the token hovering in the air, the expressions of the 2 disciples stiffened momentarily, only to coldly retort moments later. "This object is the assessment token granted by an elder of the sacred land, but it cannot protect the other participant you have brought. Is that sufficient?" Before the guarding disciples could finish their words, Xiao Ming casually tossed out a jade pendant, and a formidable pressure erupted forth instantaneously. "Hiss, the azure shin snow pattern jade? This is the token of the peak master." Upon seeing the jade pendant inscribed with the character Ling, both guarding disciples gasped in shock, their eyes wide with disbelief as they looked at Xiao Ming. This man before them was, in fact, a prodigy favored by a peak master of the sacred land. Given the character Ling inscribed on the pendant, it was highly likely that he was favored by the master of the Jade Maiden Peak. Since the young master is esteemed by the master of the Jade Maiden Peak, it is only fitting to discipline a few rascals. After a moment of astonishment, the 2 guarding disciples immediately clasped their hands in respect, although they did not comprehend why the master of the Jade Maiden Peak would bestow a token upon a man. There was no doubt that this man was not someone they could afford to offend. "Father, I was rebellious just now, but I truly did not mean it. I was merely jesting." The traitor who had just crawled beside the 2 guards turned pale upon hearing their conversation and immediately turned to crawl towards Xiao Ming, crying out, "Get lost." But before he could cling to Xiao Ming's leg to beg for mercy, he was kicked away by the latter, landing 10 zhong away, spewing a mouthful of blood and dying on the spot. This scene terrified the surrounding many prodigies. "Young Master Xiao, I was blind and foolish just now. I will now sever my own arm to apologize to young Master Xiao." Upon seeing Xiao Ming's cold gaze sweep over, the other rascals who had caused the uproar turned pale and one by one began to sever their own arms. Severing an arm, however, was not enough. Hearing their words, Xiao Ming revealed a chilling smile, his figure transforming into an afterimage at that moment. To barter with him for rewards from the Xiao family, one must be prepared to leave their life behind. "Please, esteemed elders, save us," cried a few in terror as they witnessed Xiao Ming's onslaught. However, the 2 guardians of the Fuyao sacred land remained unmoved, and in a brief moment, these individuals were swiftly dispatched by Xiao Ming. This scene sent a chilling wave through the onlookers, instilling a profound sense of dread. "Kindly assist us in initiating the entrance trial of the sacred land." Xiao Ming addressed the 2 gatekeeping disciples, disregarding the irrelevant bystanders. "I would like to borrow your tokens." The 2 guardians, exhibiting a courteous demeanor, obliged as Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang exchanged no further pleasantries, allowing the tokens to float toward them. "Heaven and earth, rise in harmony. Disciple Li Tianke, disciple Su Bufan. In the capacity of guardians of the sacred gate, we beseech the esteemed master to unveil the Fuyao ladder, that our sacred land may welcome extraordinary talents from across the realm." As the tokens hovered before them, The gatekeeping disciples adopted grave expressions and unleashed their powers to inscribe seals, pointing a finger upon the tokens. In an instant, the tokens radiated brilliant light. Merging into the mountain gate, the sacred gate trembled violently, a terrifying sanctity sweeping across the realm, as the void within twisted and distorted. An ethereal ladder, enshrouded in mist and seemingly endless, materialized before Xiao Ming and his companions. This was the Fuyao ladder, a revered artifact left by the ancestors of the Fuyao sacred land, typically concealed within the void behind the mountain gate. Only when the gatekeeping disciples activated the Fuyao mountain gate and connected with the master's divine consciousness could the ladder manifest. Certainly, each appearance of the Fuyao ladder was sensed by the powerful beings within the sacred land. The Fuyao ladder has been activated, gasped those aware. For aside from the triennial entrance examination, only individuals possessing spiritual bodies and recognized by elders or higher authorities were entitled to the tokens that could unlock the ladder. Who could this fortunate soul be, and how far would they ascend? Upon witnessing the commotion above the mountain gate, numerous disciples hurried to the plaza, eager to discern the identity of the individual capable of invoking the Fuyao ladder. Who could have opened the Fuyao ladder? In a palace atop the Jade Maiden Peak, a striking figure opened her eyes, curiosity evident as she gazed toward the mountain gate. Had Xiao Ming been present, he would have been taken aback. For this individual bore a striking resemblance to Ling Ruoxuan, save for a tear mole at the corner of her left eye, and her demeanor was notably gentler. If one did not scrutinize closely, they might mistake her for the same person. Indeed, this was Ling Ruoyan, Ling Ruoxuan's sister, the esteemed elder of the Jade Maiden Peak, who had reached the third tier of the sacred realm. Besides Ling Ruoxuan, she was the only other formidable presence at the Jade Maiden Peak to attain such a level. Furthermore, she held another significant role as the mentor of Su Qingwei and Yunling. To my surprise, I discovered that there were other elders besides myself who had also identified remarkable spiritual entities. It would indeed be worthwhile to observe further. I recalled half a year ago when she accepted Su Qingwei, which caused quite a stir in the Fuyao sacred land. Ling Rui felt a twinge of curiosity this time. I wondered if the prodigy chosen by this unknown elder could match the brilliance of her disciple. It is worth noting that half a year prior, Su Qingwei had ascended to the 836th step of the Fuyao heavenly ladder, astonishing many high-ranking figures in the Fuyao sacred land. Should the individual ascending the ladder this time surpass that record, it would undoubtedly present another candidate with the potential to achieve sainthood. Chapter 18. The unparalleled duo shakes Fuyao. The ladder has opened. Please ascend to Fuyao. As the Fuyao sacred land buzzed with excitement, two gate-guarding disciples bowed to Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang. At that moment, many prodigies outside the mountain gate held their breath, eagerly awaiting the performance of these two individuals. I hope you shall not disappoint me. Casting a glance at the Fuyao heavenly ladder, Feng Xianhuang shot a look at Xiao Ming before stepping onto the first step. Suddenly, the entire ladder trembled, an immense pressure crashing down upon Feng Xianhuang as if the heavens were collapsing. The sacred might of the ladder. It adjusts its intensity according to each trialist's bone age and cultivation level. The greater the bone age and the stronger the cultivation, the more terrifying the sacred might one must endure. Thus, a higher cultivation does not necessarily mean an easier ascent. It ultimately depends on individual tenacity and potential. In addition to the sacred might of the ladder, various elemental forces, such as earth, fire, wind, water, and thunder, would emerge on each subsequent step, incessantly eroding the challengers. Furthermore, the intensity of these forces would amplify with the height of the ladder. Indeed, this familiar sensation, as Feng Xianhuang felt the terrifying sacred might of the Fuyao heavenly ladder and the elemental powers contained within, a subtle smile graced her lips. In her previous life, even without the ancient Phoenix clan's secret teachings, she had managed to refine her Phoenix bloodline through the trials of the Fuyao heavenly ladder. In this life, having returned with the ancient Phoenix clan's legacy, she was destined to elevate her innate Phoenix bloodline to new heights. This was also one of the reasons she sought to join the Fuyao sacred land upon her reincarnation, as well as the basis for her audacity to wager against the chaos body. However, the refining effects of the first few hundred steps of the Fuyao heavenly ladder held little significance for her. Only upon reaching the 800th step could she truly refine her bloodline. With this thought in mind, Feng Xianhuang ceased to hesitate and unleashed her cultivation to ascend. Her speed nothing short of astonishing. So that is it. The Fuyao heavenly ladder serves not only as a means to assess disciples, but also possesses the capacity to temper one's physique and refine true essence. No wonder this empress has the confidence to wager against me. Glancing at the Fuyao heavenly ladder and Feng Xianhuang, Xiao Ming discerned the underlying truth. Nevertheless, he was no ordinary prodigy. Even faced with a reincarnated empress who could awaken the ancient Phoenix bloodline, winning against him would not be an easy feat. With this realization, he steeled his resolve. Xiao Ming no longer hesitated, stepping onto the celestial ladder with a momentum akin to a raging torrent. Trailing behind Feng Xianhuang as they ascended towards the clouds. My goodness, they have surged forth. How swift and fierce. Where did these two prodigies emerge from? They have not paused even once during the first few hundred steps. Goodness, they've already crossed the 600th step. I nearly soiled myself just to reach that point. And yet they zipped past effortlessly? Ah, the 700th step. They are even more formidable than Su Qingwei from 6 months ago. Are they truly aiming to conquer the 900th step together? Witnessing Feng Xianhuang and Xiao Ming, resembling phantoms as they raced up the celestial ladder, ignited a fervor among the many disciples within the sacred ground. Some audacious individuals even began to wager in the square, betting on whether Feng Xianhuang and Xiao Ming could surpass the 900th step and the ultimate heights they could achieve. Unfazed by the astonishment and disbelief surrounding them, Feng Xianhuang and Xiao Ming pressed on, enduring the sacred might and elemental forces that assailed them. In a mere quarter of an hour, they ascended into the 800th step, once again inciting a wave of excitement both within and beyond the sacred site. Goodness, the 800th step. These two possess the aptitude for sainthood. The Feng Xianhuang lineage shall rise again. Observing this scene, the disciples in the square were invigorated, perhaps mistakenly believing it was their own ascent they were witnessing. Are you beginning to falter? Noticing Feng Xianhuang's complexion turning slightly flushed, as if under considerable strain, Xiao Ming couldn't resist teasing her upon catching up. The 800th step, a watershed moment. The sacred might and elemental force at this juncture were several times stronger than at the 799th step. For some spiritual bodies, this was a daunting trial. However, for his chaotic physique, such pressure was merely a trifle. Rest assured, as long as you are not faltering, I shall not falter either. Feng Xianhuang replied coolly, exhibiting unwavering confidence in her lineage. Is that so? Then I shall eagerly await. Observing Feng Xianhuang's proud demeanor, Xiao Ming decided to raise the intensity, unleashing his cultivation to surge up the steps once more. With the force of a tidal wave, he crossed 99 steps in a single leap, halting before the 899th step and glancing back at Feng Xianhuang, a smirk on his face that seemed to say, if you are so confident, then hurry and catch up. Goodness, am I seeing things? This fellow just leaped across 99 steps in one go, appearing unfazed. Could he truly be a monster? This young man undoubtedly possesses the potential to be a saint king. From which lineage does such a prodigy hail? Why has he stopped? Hurry and step into the 900th step. I have wagered 1,000 spirit crystals. With such extraordinary prowess, yet lingering ahead to wait. Is he trying to encourage that girl? They truly are a pair. I envy such a bond. Upon witnessing Xiao Ming standing resolutely on the 899th step, the square at the mountain gate erupted in astonishment once more, captivating numerous female disciples. Not only was his beauty extraordinary, with the potential of a saint king, but his thoughtfulness was equally remarkable. He was nothing short of a dreamboat. What was this fellow trying to do, show off? As Xiao Ming's figure loomed ahead and the sounds of cheers filled the square, Feng Xianhuang felt a surge of irritation, her teeth almost grinding in frustration. After a cold snort, she commenced her ascent. However, the overwhelming holy might and elemental force of the more than 800 steps were gradually pushing her current physique to its limits. Unless she awakened her ancient phoenix bloodline, it would be exceedingly difficult for her to proceed further. At the 865th step, she found herself unable to advance any longer. Realizing that her body had reached its utmost limits, a hint of regret surfaced on Feng Xianhuang's face. While her current prowess was commendable, it fell short of her expectations. Fortunately, with the return of her phoenix bloodline, she still possessed various methods to solidify her foundation. At this thought, Feng Xianhuang decided to reveal her true capabilities. She formed a seal with her hands. The bloodline, now further refined by the ascending ladder, underwent a dramatic transformation akin to a volcanic eruption. Accompanied by a resounding phoenix cry that reverberated through the void, a phantom of a phoenix burst forth from within her, unleashing a terrifying pressure that swept across the realm like a tempest. The surrounding spiritual energy surged violently, and the ascending ladder trembled intensely. In an instant, Feng Xianhuang's hair transformed into a brilliant scarlet hue, and an ancient rune materialized on her forehead, her cultivation aura escalating wildly amidst this upheaval. 6th level of the Spirit Sea. 7th level of the Spirit Sea. 9th level of the Spirit Sea. With an unstoppable momentum, Feng Xianhuang's cultivation reached the 9th level of the Spirit Sea, only to be forcibly restrained at this tier by the opposing force. Such an extraordinary transformation immediately sent shockwaves through the ascending Holy Land. Even many of the ancient beings within the Holy Land abruptly opened their eyes, sitting up abruptly from their coffins. What is happening? Is this the return of the bloodline? the might of the ancient phoenix? How could there be a prodigy of the phoenix lineage in the ascending Holy Land? As the powerful figures were struck with astonishment, their gazes pierced through the void towards the mountain gate, some even contemplating breaking free to seize this prodigy. After all, possessing the ancestral bloodline of an ancient phoenix, should this individual not perish, they would surely possess the potential to attain the status of an emperor. Yet in the next moment, a violent, bloodthirsty will emanated from the depths below, seemingly yearning to devour this thread of ancestral phoenix bloodline. This caused the ancient beings to change their expressions drastically. Forsaking their interest in Feng Xianhuang, they hastily formed seals to unleash their true essence, activating the formations to suppress whatever lurked beneath the Holy Land. Chapter 19. The discarded heir of the Xiao family, a young supreme? Unaware of the commotion occurring deep within the forbidden grounds of the ascending Holy Land, the disciples in the square were wholly focused on Feng Xianhuang, mysterious, noble, and breathtaking. At this moment, Feng Xianhuang resembled an ancient phoenix undergoing rebirth, boldly showcasing her unparalleled elegance to the world. Not only the male disciples, but even many female disciples were rendered foolish, gazing at Feng Xianhuang with an expression of infatuation, akin to a lovesick admirer. The sight of her, embodying the ancestral bloodline of the phoenix, was nothing short of a miracle, something I had only encountered in ancient texts. I had presumed her journey would end here, yet she astonishingly manifested her bloodline heritage in the heat of the moment. Could it be that she is destined to ascend the illustrious steps of the Fuyo ladder? Behold, the ancient phoenix is a sovereign of the demon clan. Possessing such a bloodline parallels the lineage of an emperor. If she does not fall, there is an overwhelming likelihood she shall attain the path of the emperor. I sense the highest record in the history of the Fuyo ladder is about to be shattered by her. After a brief moment of stunned silence, an uproar erupted in the square at the mountain gate, with all eyes fervently fixed upon Feng Xianhuang. There was admiration, envy, fervor, and jealousy, irrespective of the emotions at play. In that instant, Feng Xianhuang undeniably stood out as the brightest star, overshadowing even Xiao Ming, who walked ahead of her. After all, reaching the height of 899 steps only signifies the potential of a holy king. For Feng Xianhuang, awakened with the bloodline of the ancient phoenix, the 800 steps were but a mere threshold to cross at will. Only the heights beyond 1,000 steps would pose a true challenge in this assessment. Indeed, as the crowd buzzed with excitement, Feng Xianhuang commenced her ascent. With each step, flames erupted, her movement akin to teleportation, swiftly closing the distance to Xiao Ming, inciting a chorus of awe among the disciples present. How magnificent! Such grace and poise could easily be mistaken for that of an empress, as if she were the protagonist of the realm. You seem unfazed. Did you foresee this? She inquired, her brow furrowed as she approached Xiao Ming, noting his curious yet unshocked demeanor. For some reason, in the presence of his gaze, she felt as though her essence was laid bare. Haha, I am not an emperor. How could I possibly know such things? Xiao Ming chuckled in response to her inquiry, deftly steering the conversation. Are you going to concede, or will you continue to ascend? Though you have awakened the bloodline of the ancient phoenix, enhancing your own physique, you still cannot surpass me. Arrogance, Feng Xianhuang retorted with a huff, immediately stepping onto the 900th step. Even with your chaotic physique, there are limits. As her words echoed, she surged ahead, effortlessly traversing dozens of steps. Drawing closer to the 1,000-step mark, the Phoenix Maiden was once again on the move, charging up the ladder. Could it be that the terrifying prowess of the ancient Phoenix bloodline allowed her to dominate even beyond the 900 steps? Moreover, that man was also in motion. His speed rivaled that of the Phoenix Maiden. How could he achieve such prowess? Could he possess the constitution of an emperor as well? As Feng Xianhuang ascended the 1,000th step, the crowd in the square erupted with fervor once more. However, their excitement turned to astonishment as they beheld Xiao Ming closely following, his pace unwavering. They could only stand transfixed, watching the duel between Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang unfold. As time passed, both entered the 1,000th tier, causing the entire ascending ladder to tremble violently, while a pair of eyes materialized above the sacred ground, as if a sovereign were gazing down upon the world. Many prodigies and elders, upon witnessing this pair of eyes, underwent a dramatic change in expression, for the owner was the ascending Saint Lord, a formidable being whose cultivation had reached the realm of the Saint King. It was unexpected that even he was paying attention to the two. Both Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang sensed the scrutiny of the ascending Saint Lord, yet they chose not to focus on it. For upon stepping onto the 1,000th tier, the divine might and elemental power of the ascending ladder had become indescribably terrifying. Not even special spiritual bodies, let alone certain saintly physiques, could traverse the steps beyond the 1,000th without immense difficulty. Even Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang felt as though they were bearing the weight of a towering mountain, with the encroaching elemental force gnawing at them as if stripping their bones. Each step upward was a tremendous trial. Fortunately, both Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang managed to persist, their stride steady as they reached the 1056th step. This record shattered any previously established by prodigies in the history of the ascending sacred land, including that of the mysterious emperor from the Zhongxian realm a millennium ago. However, observing their state, both exhibited beads of cold sweat and slight tremors, suggesting they had approached their limits. Curiously, Xiao Ming consistently remained one step ahead of Feng Xianhuang. With each gritted step she took, he mirrored her effort. This infuriated Feng Xianhuang. Are you doing this on purpose? After a moment of stalemate, Feng Xianhuang cast a cool glance at Xiao Ming, her voice tinged with frost. I assure you, I am nearing my limit. I'm not jesting. I simply refuse to concede to you, which is why I've endured thus far, Xiao Ming gasped, turning back with a wry smile. I believe you not. Feng Xianhuang retorted with a cold huff, and immediately gritted her teeth to take another step. Upon her descent, the seemingly exhausted Xiao Ming also lifted his foot to step forward, perpetually one tier ahead of her. This spectacle left the onlookers both inside and outside the sacred land dumbfounded. Who would have thought that this man, who appeared on the verge of collapse, consistently outpaced the Phoenix Fairy? Even more astonishing was that both had now broken through to the 1061st tier, and there seemed to be no signs of stopping. Could it be that someone would finally reach the pinnacle of the ascending ladder since its inception? Truly, believe me. Please, do not continue any further. I genuinely cannot endure any longer. Seeing Feng Xianhuang's expression filled with melancholy, Xiao Ming felt a deep, unspoken sorrow. Were it not for the primal fire seed, he would not have persisted through such hardship. Of course, he was not truly on the verge of giving up. Rather, he feared that continuing further might lead to dire consequences. He had now ascended to the 1061st step, just a few more strides away from achieving his goal. This accomplishment, not to mention the ancestors of the sacred land of Fuyou, even some extraordinary sons of ancient clans would find it nearly impossible to reach the summit of the Fuyou heavenly ladder. The uproar this would generate upon being known would be immense. Perhaps some of those imperial sons would come to test his mettle, bringing with them a cascade of troubles. Though reluctant, it seemed this time, he truly fell short compared to her. You have triumphed. Observing Xiao Ming's demeanor, Feng Xianhuang's lips curled slightly, her voice chillingly uttering a single phrase. Following this, she took a step forward. As if unable to proceed any further, she was forcefully ejected by the Fuyou heavenly ladder, standing suspended in the void. Of course, only Feng Xianhuang herself knew if she had genuinely reached her limit. Incredible. At the 1060 steps, the Phoenix Fairy finally could not hold on, and that man actually surpassed her. Witnessing Feng Xianhuang being flung away, the sacred land plaza erupted into chaos. Yet, before their astonishment could settle, accompanied by another resounding boom, Xiao Ming was also expelled from the Fuyou heavenly ladder. Unbelievable. This fellow also could not endure, surpassing Feng Xianhuang by merely one step. Such a pity. Had the Phoenix Fairy held on just a bit longer, she might have claimed the record. As they gazed at Xiao Ming's silhouette suspended in the void, the uproar in the mountain gate plaza reached its zenith, leaving the talented individuals outside the mountain gate utterly stunned. The abandoned son, wanted by the Xiao family, had actually shattered the highest record established by the illustrious talents of the sacred land of Fuyou, even managing to outshine those with ancient Phoenix bloodlines, emerging as a potential future sovereign. If this news were to return to the Xiao family in Luyan City, it would surely set off a tremendous uproar. Chapter 20. The Lesser God of the Ancient Clan? The frustration of the Fuyou Sacred Lord. Phew, being pushed to the limit for the first time. Winning against you is indeed no easy feat. As the entire sacred land of Fuyou resonated with excitement, Xiao Ming approached Feng Xianhuang and let out a long sigh of relief. He had to admit, being compelled to such an extent by Feng Xianhuang was truly unexpected. I can't believe you. You must still have some strength left, right? Feng Xianhuang scoffed at his words, her gaze filled with skepticism as she regarded Xiao Ming. That proud expression seemed to have seen through his act. This caused a hint of embarrassment to flicker across Xiao Ming's face. Ahem, remember to fulfill your promise. Xiao Ming cleared his throat, promptly shifting the topic. Regardless, this time he had indeed struck gold. Not only would he acquire a sacred king-level secret technique, but he had also secured the primal fire seed and the human sovereign banner. Delightful. Rest assured, it is merely a sacred king's secret technique. Everything promised will be duly delivered to you. Feng Xianhuang rolled her eyes at the words, her tone turning somber as she continued. Although I may have lost to you this time, it would be unrealistic for you to think you can triumph over me in our next encounter. Upon finishing her statement, a surge of formidable confidence emanated from her, reminiscent of a once mighty empress who had swept across the realms, now fully revived. This contest had unveiled Xiao Ming's secrets to her. She could readily draw upon the cultivation experiences amassed from her previous life, the ancient Phoenix clan's legacy, and the mysteries of the sacred land of Fuyao, allowing her to grow at an accelerated pace. Should Xiao Ming lack any hidden strategies over the next month, the outcome of their comparison a month hence would undoubtedly be in her favor. Next time, Xiao Ming paused momentarily, taken aback that this woman still wished to compete with him. I don't mind, but I won't engage in this contest without stipulations. Should you lose next time, do not blame me for making rather excessive demands. What of a reborn empress? As long as she dared to challenge him, she would find herself bested in every regard. At Xiao Ming's words, Feng Xianhuang felt a wave of offense wash over her, her fair cheeks flushing crimson at the thought of his potential outrageous demands. Yet before she could articulate her response, the void erupted with a resounding roar, the heavenly ladder of Fuyao concealed within the ether. A towering figure emerged, enveloped in an overwhelming aura that encompassed the entirety of the sacred land. We pay homage to the Holy Master. Upon witnessing the figure in the void, both disciples and elders of the sacred land of Fuyao bowed respectfully. The Holy Master of Fuyao, Nangong Wuya, had held his position for over 15 centuries. Aside from a few esteemed elders from the Forbidden Grounds, no one knew the specifics of his cultivation level, only that he was a formidable figure of the Saint King realm. Junior Xiao Ming, I pay my respects to the Holy Master. Junior Feng Xianhuang, I pay my respects to the Holy Master. Amidst the chorus of respectful greetings, both Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang did not hesitate to offer their salutes to Nangong Wuya. Xiao Ming, Feng Xianhuang, do you both wish to take me as your master? Without unnecessary preamble or inquiry into their backgrounds, Nangong Wuya extended a direct invitation to accept them as disciples. Should he successfully take these two prodigies, gifted with the potential to attain emperorship, under his wing, he might soar to unprecedented heights on the wings of their fortunes. As for the possibility of them being spies sent by rival factions, Nangong Wuya dismissed the thought outright. Which influential power would send such exceptional talents as undercover agents? If anything were to go awry, it would be akin to a steamed bun lost to a dog. Disciple. Just as Xiao Ming pondered his response, a voice suddenly rang out. Wait, I have taken a liking to these two. The voice, laced with a hint of languor, plunged the sacred land of Fuyao into a profound silence, causing both Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang to fix their gazes intently. Who dared to challenge the Holy Master for his disciples on the Holy Master's own territory? Could it be an even more terrifying figure? As surprise washed over them, both Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang turned towards the source of the voice, discovering an unfamiliar figure that had materialized in the void. Clad in a delicate azure and white gown, she possessed an unparalleled beauty. Her statuesque figure and elongated legs rivaled that of the reborn empress, Feng Xianhuang, perhaps even surpassing her. Strangely, this woman clutched a wine gourd, occasionally taking sips as if to drown her sorrows in drink. Jiang Xinying, a member of the ancient divine wilderness clan and the protagonist's master, was tentatively regarded as one of the notable beauties. Jiang Xinying, a descendant of the Jiang family within the divine wilderness clan, she harbored a trace of ancient demon blood. Endowed with a naturally exquisite 9-aperture body and a cultivation level corresponding to the 9th realm of the Sacred King. However, she bore a bloodline seal and practiced a fragmented divine technique, comparable to the scriptures of an emperor. As Xiao Ming activated his true vision, information about the woman before him continuously surfaced, leaving him somewhat astonished. The divine wilderness clan, what an enigmatic entity, he mused. Yet it appeared to be nearly as formidable as the imperial clans. Moreover, this ancient demon bloodline seemed even more potent than that of the emperors. Not to mention the 9-aperture body, a pinnacle physique within the Tsang Yuan realm. Most importantly, this Jiang family's lesser deity had actually cultivated a divine technique. Despite its incomplete nature, it already transcended imperial level. Where could this woman possibly originate? She was evidently not a native of the Fengyao sacred land. Miss Jiang, your presence here is rather inappropriate, remarked Nangong Wuyo, his expression twitching slightly as he spoke with a hint of frustration. He had not anticipated that these two juniors would attract such a woman. With their talents, they would be difficult to instruct. Leave it to me. Only then can they truly discover their potential. Disregarding Nangong Wuyo's irritation, Jiang Xinying took another sip of her drink and calmly replied, I am the sacred master of Fengyao and am fully capable of guiding them. Upon hearing her words, Nangong Wuyo could only respond with a resigned expression, gritting his teeth in a bid to negotiate. Faced with two exceptional prodigies, he yearned to mentor them himself. Rest assured, I merely find myself bored atop Moon Viewing Peak and wish to assist in nurturing disciples. Since they have joined the Fengyao sacred land, they are, from this point forward, naturally your disciples. He did not wish to deny this fact. Jiang Xianying waved her hand dismissively, equally reluctant to concede. Our quarrel here is futile. Let us instead consider their desires. After a moment of silence, Nangong Wuyo turned to Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang. Do you wish to take me as your master, or would you prefer to be mentored by her? At his words, Feng Xianhuang's brow furrowed slightly. She had little recollection of this sudden arrival. In her previous life, although she had successfully awakened the ancient Phoenix bloodline, she could not fully realize its potential due to the lack of inheritance from the ancient Phoenix clan. Consequently, during the trials of the Fengyao celestial ladder, she had only ascended to the 936th step. Despite her impressive achievement, it had failed to draw the attention of this individual. After becoming a disciple of Nangong Wuya, I once heard him mention that on Mount Wangyue, within the sacred land, resides a woman of the Jiang clan, hailing from a powerful lineage. It is imperative not to intrude upon Mount Wangyue, for even he would find it challenging to quell her wrath. Subsequently, a series of events transpired within the Fuyao sacred land. After this woman aided in resolving its crisis, she departed and has not returned since. To my astonishment, today, due to her and Xiao Ming's dazzling presence, she has made an unexpected early appearance. Chapter 21. Indeed, he possesses the potential of an emperor. Even his artifacts bear an ominous allure. Ding. The life choice system has been randomly activated, granting the host the following options. Option 1. Become a disciple of Nangong Wuya, receiving a random elixir as a reward. Option 2. Become a disciple of Jiang Xianying, receiving a random spiritual treasure as a reward. Option 3. Establish an independent sect, rejecting both Nangong Wuya and Jiang Xianying, receiving a random divine ability as a reward. As Nangong Wuya's words fell, the system's notification unexpectedly sounded, presenting Xiao Ming with choices. The system's selection had indeed been triggered. Upon glancing at the options before him, Xiao Ming's eyes gleamed with anticipation. Without a moment's hesitation, he made his choice. System, I choose option 2. With the insight granted by the Eye of Truth, Xiao Ming comprehended the intricacies of both Nangong Wuya and Jiang Xianying. The former wielded a cultivation of the 5th level of the Sacred King realm, while the latter had attained the 9th level. The former possessed the Wind and Thunder sacred body, alongside a trace of imperial bloodline. The latter, the 9-aperture exquisite body, complemented by a fragment of ancient demonic blood. As for their respective techniques, Nangong Wuya practiced an incomplete imperial scripture, while Jiang Xianying honed an incomplete divine technique. There was no need for comparison regarding their spiritual treasures and abilities. The superiority of one over the other was evident. As for establishing an independent sect, wasn't that merely courting trouble? To disdain a powerful ally while simultaneously offending 2 formidable sacred kings was an act only a fool would commit. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice, receiving the reward, Soul-Devouring Sword. The reward has been placed in the system space, ready for the host to extract upon completion of the selection. Soul-Devouring Sword, a demonic sword forged from the bones of the abyssal demon emperor by the Elder of Slaughter. Its overwhelming malevolence attracted the wrath of the heavenly Tao, leading to its degradation to a mundane quality, with its bloodthirsty magic purified by 99%. However, the soul-devouring sword fortuitously retained its innate ability to devour the flesh and blood of living beings, allowing for continual evolution. Yet another evolving artifact. The system's offerings are indeed remarkable. The capability to consume the flesh and blood of life forms grants this sword the potential of a divine weapon. When paired with the Emperor's banner, it becomes a seamless instrument of both slaughter and salvation. One devours flesh, while the other consumes souls. With such power, one can eradicate an enemy thoroughly, even eliminating the need for corpse disposal. Such a style grows increasingly sinister. It seems he truly possesses the potential of an emperor. Even his artifacts exude an ominous essence. Hey, have you yet to decide which master to follow? Observing Xiao Ming's silence, seemingly lost in contemplation, Feng Xianhuang furrowed her brow slightly and discreetly conveyed her inquiry. She too was entangled in a dilemma. Should she divulge any information to Xiao Ming that might lead him to choose Jiang Xianying as his mentor? Yet, this would impose a burden upon herself. After all, no one could predict whether Xiao Ming, upon becoming Jiang Xianying's disciple, might acquire extraordinary opportunities and surpass her. Make up your mind, come with me. Xiao Ming replied with a faint smile, secretly responding to her. Before Feng Xianhuang could transmit another message, Xiao Ming had already clasped his hands in respect towards Jiang Xianying. Disciple Xiao Ming pays respect to master. Noticing Nangong Wuyo's despondent expression, Xiao Ming turned to him and continued, Master, although I have chosen this fairy as my mentor, I remain a disciple of the Fuyao sacred land. Should the sacred land have any tasks, I shall undoubtedly undertake them without hesitation. Upon hearing these words, Nangong Wuyo nodded. his gaze shifting towards Feng Xianhuang. And you? The disciple, like Xiao Ming, has also chosen her as a mentor. I too remain a disciple of the Fuyo sacred land. And if the master or the sacred land requires my assistance, I would not hesitate to face any danger, Feng Xianhuang replied with a respectful gesture. In her past life, she had already taken Nangong Wuyo as her teacher and was familiar with his insights on cultivation. In this reincarnation, should she choose him again as her mentor, she would gain little. However, if she could acquire any secret methods from Jiang Xianying, it would be beneficial for her. Most importantly, she needed to stay close to Xiao Ming, observing his growth. This knowledge would enable her to understand both herself and her rival, preparing her for future comparisons. Very well. I shall guide these two for now. Once they leave, I will not take them with me. Consider it a favor to the Fuyo sacred land. Seeing Nangong Wuyo's slight disappointment, Jiang Xianying took a sip of her wine and spoke. Upon hearing Jiang Xianying's words, Nangong Wuyo heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, his greatest concern was that Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang, after becoming Jiang Xianying's disciples, might be taken away from the Fuyo sacred land. Should the sacred land invest its resources in cultivating these two, it would be akin to losing both the lady and the soldiers, foolishly nurturing disciples for another. Since you have both made your choices, I shall not impose further. Even without a mentor-disciple bond, there remains a connection to the sect. From this moment forth, you two shall enjoy the privileges of core disciples within the Fuyo sacred land. However, certain core inheritances and resources must be exchanged for sect contributions. With these words, Nangong Wuyo departed, his form vanishing into the void. Thank you, Master, Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang replied joyfully, bowing respectfully to the emptiness. It seemed that this Fuyo sacred master possessed considerable vision, not allowing pettiness to cloud his judgment. Instead, he granted them the status of core disciples, enabling them to pursue greater benefits. Rest assured, I shall not treat you unfairly. After Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang exchanged pleasantries, Jiang Xianying cast a fleeting glance in her direction, lazily waving her hand. Without waiting for a response from Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang, she whisked the two away towards the moon-watching peak deep within the sacred land. Outside and inside the Fuyo sacred land, a momentary silence was shattered by an uproar. Who on earth is that enigmatic woman? How could she contend with the Lord of the sacred land for disciples? This was astonishing. It was initially assumed that these two would become the Lord's disciples, rising to prominence as the sacred son and sacred daughter of Fuyo. Yet the situation had taken such an unexpected turn. Even the Lord must regard her with trepidation. She is undoubtedly a sacred king, regardless of her identity. Being a disciple of a powerful sacred king is a rare opportunity beyond mere chance. Who knows the origins of these two? Each one possesses the potential to ascend to emperor status, yet they seem to cause chaos wherever they go. I know. One is named Xiao Ming, a castaway sought by the Xiao family of Lian City, and the other is Feng Xianhuang, the little princess of the Phoenix family from Tianyao City. What? A castaway being pursued? Are you jesting? This individual possesses the potential of an emperor. How could he possibly be deemed a family outcast? Has the head of the Xiao family lost his senses? Believe it or not, this information was relayed to me by my cousin, who was just outside the mountain gate and nearly frightened out of his wits by Xiao Ming. As the events escalated, the names of the two began to circulate widely. News of their backgrounds and exploits swiftly spread within the Fuyo sacred land. Upon learning of Xiao Ming's feats, many disciples were rendered incredulous. Several well-meaning individuals hurriedly sent word to the Xiao family, hoping to bring them some joy, though their ulterior motive was simply to witness the spectacle. If they were to discover that their own sought-after outcast had soared to great heights within the Fuyo sacred land, the Xiao family would surely be so astonished they could hardly sleep. Perhaps they would even send someone to offer their congratulations, providing ample entertainment for those in the know. Chapter 22. Xiao Ming possesses the potential of an emperor? This is impossible. Lian City, Xiao family. Ren, are you really leaving so soon? Lin Wanqing asked, her eyes glistening with tears as she saw Xiao Ren preparing to return to the Tai sacred land after nurturing his supreme bone. Her eldest son had become a family outcast and would likely never return. Her youngest son had only been back for less than half a year, and now he was heading back to the Tai sacred land, making it difficult for her to accept that they might not meet again for a long time. The supreme bone has been successfully nurtured. I must return to the Tai sacred land to compete for the title of sacred son and become the strongest prodigy of this generation, Xiao Ren replied coldly, showing no sign of reluctance. In his eyes, the Xiao family was merely a stepping stone on his path to becoming an emperor, not worthy of his heartfelt attachment. A man's aspirations lie in distant lands. Ren's ambitions are a source of pride for the Xiao family. Nonetheless, the outside world is fraught with peril, and one must exercise utmost caution. Remember, no matter the challenges you may encounter henceforth, The Xiao family will always be your sanctuary. Should your cultivation become weary, do return to the Xiao family for solace. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tians gently patted Xiao Ren's shoulder, embodying a tender paternal concern. Were it not for the events of the past few days, onlookers might have believed they were witnessing a quintessential model family, radiating warmth and affection. My dear Ren, before you depart, might I implore you to refrain from troubling your brother any further? Lin Wanqing beseeched, taking hold of Xiao Ren's wrist with hopeful eyes. However, before she could finish her plea, Xiao Ren's countenance darkened, and he forcefully withdrew his hand from her grasp. I have told you before, he is not my brother. He is merely a traitor. If you care for him so greatly, then perhaps you should leave the Xiao family and seek him out. With that final exclamation, Lin Wanqing's pupils constricted in shock as she instinctively struck him across the face. The slap not only left Xiao Ren momentarily stunned, but also startled Xiao Tians. You struck me? You dare to raise your hand against me for that wretch? After a brief moment of disbelief, Xiao Ren's eyes blazed with fury as he shouted at Lin Wanqing, his demeanor suggesting he was on the verge of violence. Ren, I did not mean to provoke you. I simply wish to see you two brothers reconcile. I genuinely hope for your harmonious coexistence. Lin Wanqing trembled as she spoke, gazing at Xiao Ren's fierce expression. Enough. Xiao Ren's vehement interruption silenced her. If you continue to defend him, I will not hesitate to sever ties with you as well. Upon uttering these words, Lin Wanqing felt as though she had been struck by lightning, rendered speechless and unable to fathom her youngest son's utter disregard for her feelings. Her earlier action had stemmed from a moment of anger and shame, yet she believed it was for the best for both her sons. Master, we have news of the traitor Xiao Ming. Just as Lin Wanqing's complexion turned ashen, an elder burst into the room, his face betraying a mixture of fear and urgency. At this pronouncement, Xiao Tians, Xiao Run, and the disheartened Lin Wanqing all looked up in unison, their attention captivated. Where is he? Why have you not apprehended him? They demanded in unison, prompting the elder to reveal a bittersweet smile. It is beyond our means. Xiao Ming has inexplicably restored his cultivation and has passed the entrance examination for the Fuyao sacred land. What? That scoundrel has not only regained his strength, but has also become a disciple of the Fuyao sacred land. The elder's revelation was abruptly interrupted by Xiao Ren, whose emotions surged with agitation. To their astonishment, in the span of just a few days, Xiao Ming had not only survived, but had risen once more. Even if his cultivation were to be restored, and he were to become a disciple of the Fuyao sacred land, he would still be nothing more than a mere chicken in my presence. The next time we meet, I shall personally render him powerless and slowly extinguish his life. The thought of having nurtured the supreme bone made Xiao Run regard Xiao Ming with utter disdain. You probably cannot accomplish it. As soon as Xiao Ren's words fell, the elder began to rain down a harsh reality. Xiao Ming did not merely enter the Fuyao sacred land through sheer chance. Rather, he shattered the historical record of the entrance examination, ascending to the 1061st step of the Fuyao heavenly ladder as an unparalleled prodigy. This feat even drew the attention of the Fuyao sacred lord, who intended to accept him as a direct disciple, only to be interrupted by the appearance of another mysterious sacred king. Ultimately, Xiao Ming chose to refuse the Fuyao sacred lord and turned to pledge himself to the enigmatic sacred king, thereby obtaining the status of a core disciple of the Fuyao sacred land. Now, whispers circulate both within and beyond the Fuyao sacred land, proclaiming that Xiao Ming possesses the potential of an emperor, and that the bounty placed on him by the Xiao family stems from his brother's treachery and the abandonment by his parents. Boom. When the elders spoke these words, Xiao Run and Xiao Tiansu felt as though struck by lightning, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Impossible. This is absolutely inconceivable. How could that waste of a person, Xiao Ming, possess the potential of an emperor? How could he possibly reach the 1061st step of the Fuyao heavenly ladder? How could he become a disciple of the sacred king? After a prolonged moment of shock, Xiao Ren could not accept the reality, seizing the elder by the collar. Speak quickly. Are you trying to deceive me? Accompanied by the echo of his furious shouts, spittle mixed with his essence burst forth, splattering across the elder's face. Had the elder not possessed the Nirvana realm cultivation, he likely would not have withstood Xiao Ren's spittle attack. I would never jest about such matters. The news has spread throughout most of the northern Xian realm. Alongside Xiao Ming's entry into the Fuyao sacred land was the little princess of the Phoenix family from Tianyao City. Some even recorded footage of the two as they ascended the Fuyao heavenly ladder. If you do not believe me, you may view the footage that was specially transmitted by the Fuyao sacred land. Saying this, the elder retrieved a jade slip from his storage ring, then performed a hand seal upon it. A radiant light emanated from the jade slip, revealing the figures of Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang standing upon the Fuyao heavenly ladder. Although the distance was considerable, recognition was undeniable. This was indeed Xiao Ming. No, it cannot be. Upon seeing the familiar silhouette in the footage, standing alongside Feng Xian Huang like a pair of celestial lovers, Xiao Ren's face contorted in extreme agony, and he was utterly shattered. How could he possess the potential of an emperor? How could he rise again? He had clearly already self-destructed his cultivation. This is all a lie, a fabrication. In a state of profound shock and disbelief, Xiao Ren, unable to bear the weight of the revelation, erupted in a hysterical roar within the hall. He had painstakingly leveraged the power of the Xiao family to expedite the nurturing of the supreme bone, with his cultivation surging from the 1st to the 8th level of the Spirit Sea realm. One originally believed that such fortuitous circumstances would allow him to stand proudly in the world. Little did he anticipate that just a few days prior, his brother, who had renounced his cultivation and ruined his own physique within the Xiao family, would suddenly shine brilliantly within the sacred land of Fuyao, shattering the entrance examination records and gaining the mentorship of a formidable Saint King, all while being widely recognized as possessing the potential of an emperor. What does this signify? It indicates that if Xiao Ming, as the elder brother, truly desires it, even with his cultivation obliterated and his physique destroyed, he could easily surpass his younger brother, who relies solely on the family's legacy. How could he possibly accept this? Xiao Ming, regardless of how you achieve this, I, Xiao Ren, shall ensure the world knows that you, a mere waste, will forever remain inferior to me. Amidst this profound internal turmoil, a thought surged within Xiao Ren's mind, and he fixed a fierce gaze upon the elderly figure. Prepare for me a heavenly grade vessel. I must return to the Tai's sacred land with utmost haste. I will become the holy son of Tai, and then ascend to the Fuyao sacred land to extend my heartfelt congratulations to my brother. Chapter 23. The Rebellious Son, the Abusive Husband, and the Shattered Woman. Renner, are you planning to confront your brother? Upon hearing Xiao Ren's words, filled with animosity, Lin Wanqing was jolted back to reality. She grasped Xiao Ren tightly. Please, listen to your mother. Do not go. Your brother has just regained his cultivation and acquired such an opportunity. Allow me to speak with him, and perhaps our family can return to the way it once was. Silence. Lin Wanqing's words only served to ignite Xiao Ren's fury further. He turned around, his eyes blazing red as he glared at Lin Wanqing, resembling a wild beast poised to unleash its wrath. What is there to discuss with him? Should I confess that I maliciously trapped him the other day, or that the slanders he uttered about me are indeed true? Am I, the younger brother, the disgrace of the Xiao family? Where would you have me save face? What regard do you hold for the Tai's sacred land? His venomous words struck Lin Wanqing like a thunderbolt, leaving her momentarily stunned. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she spoke, her voice tinged with sorrow. Mother merely wishes for you two to reconcile. Stop your pretentiousness. Xiao Ren sneered, dismissing Lin Wanqing's heartfelt words. You claim it's all for our reconciliation, but you merely seek to alleviate your own guilt. Over the past half year, you have paid no heed to either of us. Had it not been for the recent upheaval, would you have watched him destroy his own cultivation and sever ties with you, leaving you to endure some pain and guilt? Would you have acted so disingenuously? No. So cease your claims of wanting us to get along. Your stance is so hypocritical, it makes me feel nauseous. With the harshness of Xiao Ren's words hanging in the air, Lin Wanqing felt as if the sky itself were collapsing, her entire being engulfed in a dizzying turmoil. Little did she expect her most cherished youngest son harbored such thoughts about her. Just a few days ago, during that unfortunate incident, she stood firmly by Xiao Ren's side. How could this ungrateful child dare to speak to his mother in such a manner? Am I not deserving of respect? In the depths of her fury and humiliation, Lin Wanqing momentarily lost her composure, raising her hand to strike Xiao Ren. However, before her palm could land upon his cheek, another hand forcefully slapped her face. Are you done causing a ruckus? The powerful blow nearly sent Lin Wanqing reeling, leaving one side of her face swollen. As she lifted her gaze, she was met with Xiao Tian's icy, piercing stare, his expression dark and menacing, as if he were prepared to devour her whole. In that moment, Lin Wanqing felt as though her world had collapsed. A rebellious son, an abusive husband, and a shattered self. What sins had she committed to deserve such a fate? Renner, you return to the Tai Chi sacred land first. I will handle the rest. After Lin Wanqing stood there, dazed, Xiao Tian's voice emerged, low and resolute. His demeanor suggested unwavering support for whatever choice his son made, which provided Xiao Ren with a modicum of comfort. With a cold snort, he turned and exited the room. Xiao Tian's, how dare you strike me? After Xiao Ren left the hall, Lin Wanqing, still in shock, glared at him like a fierce tigress, her expression indicating that she would not back down without a fight. That slap was meant to awaken you. Had you not favored the youngest son, allowing resentment to fester in Xiao Ming, leading to Xiao Ren's reckless behavior, would we have arrived at this juncture? What do you mean I favor the youngest son? It was you who insisted on allowing the elder son to grow up freely, to endure hardship and cultivate resilience. Which prompted me to push Xiao Ming to set an example for his younger brother. Lin Wanqing immediately retorted, her frantic demeanor contrasting starkly with her earlier tearfulness. I do not wish to argue with you. But from this moment forth, remember this, since you have chosen the youngest son from the very beginning. Do not expect the elder son to return. You play both the harlot and the saint. Who are you trying to deceive? If Xiao Ren were to turn against us, I would relish seeing who you could rely upon in the future. With that, Xiao Tiance let out a cold snort and strode out of the hall. Next, he prepared himself for the worst, seeking a way out. Thus, even if Xiao Ren proved unreliable and Xiao Ming sought vengeance, he would be better equipped to handle the ensuing chaos. Am I in the wrong? Watching Xiao Tiance depart, Lin Wanqing's mind echoed with those harsh words, leaving her feeling utterly drained, her legs giving way as she sank to the ground. No, I am not wrong. I only wish for the best for my two sons. Now that Xiao Ming has restored his cultivation and entered the Fuyo sacred land, he has suffered little loss. Rather, he has turned misfortune into fortune. If I were to plead on his behalf, perhaps he would set aside his grievances and reconcile with me and Renner. This thought brightened Lin Wanqing's eyes, as if she had glimpsed a glimmer of hope. In her memory, Xiao Ming has always been magnanimous and held great respect for the Xiao family and his parents. It is unlikely that he would sever all ties over a minor misunderstanding. Perhaps he merely acted out of anger at that moment. If she sincerely expresses her remorse to her eldest son, Xiao Ming might very well let go of his resentment and accept her once more as his mother. After all, the bond between mother and child formed over 10 months of pregnancy is profound. She could not believe that Xiao Ming could truly be so heartless as to sever such a blood connection. With this thought, Lin Wanqing rose from the ground, resolved to find an opportunity to stealthily visit the Fuyo sacred land. Meanwhile, at the Fuyo sacred land, atop Wangyue Peak, Jiang Xianying declared, "Here is where the two of you will cultivate in the future. Feel free to choose a spot to establish your cave dwelling." Upon reaching the main peak, Jiang casually left the two behind and settled on a rugged stone. Is this Wangyue Peak? Xiao Ming's eyes widened in astonishment. He had imagined that Jiang Xianying's residence would be a picturesque paradise, yet it turned out to be a desolate mountain. Indeed, this main peak was barren, devoid of any greenery, littered with jagged stones. The surrounding area was shrouded in mist, exuding an air of desolation. Even birds dared not defecate here, leaving Xiao Ming perplexed. How could the young Shiming of the ancient divine clan find this place appealing? Beside him, Feng Xianhuang remained remarkably composed, seemingly having anticipated this outcome. Although she had never set foot here in her previous life, she had glimpsed this main peak from afar. However, stepping onto the mountain for the first time still filled her with apprehension. She sensed that the entire mountain held a mysterious power, barren, desolate, deep, and terrifying. This force stirred an inexplicable unease and trepidation within her ancient phoenix bloodline, suggesting that it surpassed even her own phoenix power. This realization left Feng Xianhuang incredulous, her gaze fixated on the barren mountain. This power emanated from within the mountain, undoubtedly concealing some secret. Not only Feng Xianhuang held this thought, Xiao Ming had also come to the same conclusion. While observing Wangyue Peak, he had activated his true eye to uncover the mysteries of the desolate mountain, revealing a cascade of information before his eyes. The new book requires everyone as support. After reading, remember to click for a free little gift to support the author. Angel Yin has arrived. Chapter 24. Whoever comprehends this secret technique first shall become the chief disciple of our sect. On a desolate mountain known as Moonwatch Peak, revered as a sacred ground, lies sealed a fragment of the finger bone of a great emperor from the ancient divine wasteland clan, containing a terrifying essence of desolation and a hint of law's power. The very presence of such an emperor's relic evoked astonishment on Xiao Ming's face, for it suggested that this was a legacy intentionally left behind by the emperor himself. No wonder that the young envoy of the divine wasteland clan chose to remain here. It was to guard the emperor's finger bone sealed within this barren mountain. Do you sense anything unusual about this peak? Feng Xianhuang inquired, her brow slightly furrowing in curiosity. As a reborn empress, even though her divine consciousness could not be easily summoned at present, her keen perception allowed her to discern the mountain's peculiarities. She turned to Xiao Ming for clarification. Jiang Xianying's gaze sharpened as he regarded his two disciples. I wonder, he mused, how such a stunning celestial being as our master could reside in such a desolate place, surrounded by an oddly potent force. I suspect that something dreadful is sealed beneath. And for the safety of the world, our master has resolutely chosen to remain here as its guardian. Such noble spirit. Upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's question, Xiao Ming refrained from revealing the truth and instead concocted a casual excuse. He was uncertain of their master's character and dared not disclose that a fragment of the emperor's finger bone lay sealed below. To suggest otherwise would likely be met with disbelief, so he opted for a vague fabrication. Evil entities? Feng Xianhuang's expression stiffened, as if recalling something significant. She remembered that in her past life, aside from the catastrophe triggered by the massive creature suppressed beneath the Hellfire Peak, there had indeed been a surge of malevolent energy from the direction of Moonwatch Peak, which was swiftly quelled by the ancient ancestors of the sacred ground. Could it be that, as this fellow suggested, something sinister was sealed beneath the mountain? I did not expect you to perceive such clues, she thought. While Jiang Xianying took a sip of his drink and continued, his tone somber. As Xiao Ming has indicated, there is indeed a seal below Moonwatch Peak, inscribed with a formidable array. Should an outsider inadvertently trigger it, the array would annihilate them. Thus, I must caution you both. Do not let your curiosity lead you to venture into the mountain. If the array is set off, even I may be unable to save you in time. Startled by Jiang Xianying's warning, Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang exchanged glances. They could sense the array's presence within the mountain, yet they had not anticipated that triggering it would pose a challenge even for someone of the Saint King realm. With the necessary precautions regarding Moonwatch Peak addressed, it was time to turn to matters concerning themselves. As Xiao Ming pondered, Jiang Xianying spoke once more, drawing him back to reality. I am known as Jiang Xianying, though for the moment, I shall refrain from divulging my origins, lest you both be disheartened by the revelation. What you must understand is that this world is vast. Even the sacred land of Fuyou is but a slightly more powerful ant compared to some ancient forces in the eastern domain. One of you possesses the chaos body, while the other bears the bloodline of the ancient phoenix. Such remarkable endowments shine brightly even when viewed from the perspective of the Zhang Yuan realm. However, there are realms beyond realms, and beings beyond beings. Your physique merely determines your starting point, not your ultimate destination. Whether you will become true powerhouses in the future depends on the effort you are willing to invest. As she spoke, Jiang Xianying felt she had been rather verbose and swiftly shifted her tone. I shall dispense with further superfluous words, since I have taken you as my disciples. It is only fitting that I make a gesture. With this pronouncement, Jiang Xianying flipped her right hand, and a miniature stone tablet materialized in her grasp. This tablet bore the inscription of a secret technique of my clan, capable of coalescing the essence of desolation through the comprehension of the barren realm. It allows those outside the divine desolation ancient clan to effortlessly master the power of desolation, given your innate talents. Should you grasp this power and integrate it into your true essence, both your physical forms and cultivation will experience a profound transformation. Once you have mastered this secret technique, I shall impart to you further divine abilities pertaining to the power of desolation. Upon finishing her words, Jiang Xianying tossed the stone tablet, which expanded to a size of 10 feet and landed upon the mountainside of Wangyue Peak. The swirling aura of desolation seemed to be drawn towards the tablet, converging around it with remarkable swiftness. Such decisive action rendered Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang momentarily speechless. Master, if you were to freely impart your clan's secret technique to us, would it not invite grave consequences should it come to the attention of your kin? After a moment of contemplation, Xiao Ming asked gravely. Feng Xianhuang, though silent, displayed a similar concern through her expression. If Jiang Xianying were to transmit clan secrets without authorization, it could lead to dire repercussions for both her and Feng Xianhuang. Should they be recognized by the formidable members of the divine desolation ancient clan? Are you afraid? Jiang Xianying inquired with a faint smile, seemingly perceiving their apprehension. This secret technique was established by my mother, and as her daughter, I am naturally entitled to impart it. At this juncture, Jiang Xianying's demeanor shifted to one of melancholy as she took a hearty swig from her gourd. If you are fearful, you may return to the sacred land of Fuyou. Upon hearing Jiang Xianying's final words, a twitch escaped the corner of Xiao Ming's mouth, while Feng Xianhuang's expression fluctuated significantly. She finally recalled the true nature of the divine desolation ancient clan, a force even more formidable than the major imperial clans of the eastern domain. In her previous life, although her encounters with such powers had been limited, she was aware that they harbored immense terror, with some capable of suppressing a dark forbidden zone with the strength of their entire clan. However, due to certain constraints, the ancient beings of these venerable clans are unable to easily reveal themselves to the outside world. The reasons for this were never understood by her in her previous life. Unexpectedly, in this lifetime, she would encounter the divine wilderness ancient clan. I shall learn. After a moment's contemplation, Feng Xianhuang was the first to agree, leaving Xiao Ming rather taken aback. He did not anticipate that this empress would acquiesce so readily. I shall learn as well. Noticing Jiang Xianying's gaze directed towards him, Xiao Ming also promptly consented without hesitation. If Feng Xianhuang was unafraid, then what was there for him to fear? Excellent. Truly worthy of being my esteemed disciple. You have not disappointed me. Observing that neither displayed any trepidation, a slight smirk graced Jiang Xianying's lips as he continued to stoke the flames. Since you have both agreed, now focus and contemplate. Whoever comprehends this secret technique first shall become the chief disciple of our sect. Whether it be the senior brother or the senior sister shall depend on your efforts. Chapter 25. Temporary Surge. Even the reborn empress must endure defeat. Senior brother. Senior sister? Upon hearing Jiang Xianying's words, Xiao Ming's expression shifted slightly. In that moment, he suddenly felt an intense battle spirit, igniting like a raging flame around him. Turning his head, he discovered Feng Xianhuang beaming with excitement, her eyes glinting with playful mockery as she regarded him. What is that look in your eyes? Do you believe you will comprehend this secret technique before me, and comfortably place me beneath you as your senior sister? What do you think? Feng Xianhuang, oblivious to any impropriety in Xiao Ming's words, gazed at him with a proud demeanor. As a reborn empress, she had attained the 7th level of the emperor realm in her previous life. Her insights into cultivation and comprehension of profound concepts far surpassed that of the spiritual sea realm. No matter how exceptional Xiao Ming's aptitude might be, it could not possibly exceed hers. It was akin to a university student being demoted to the 1st grade of elementary school, even when faced with an unfamiliar mathematical problem. Her years of knowledge and experience would enable her to solve it effortlessly. How could she possibly lose to a mere elementary student who had just graduated from kindergarten? Was that not laughable? Heh, you are indeed quite confident. Observing Feng Xianhuang's demeanor reminiscent of a proud little princess, Xiao Ming could only manage a dry chuckle. Although he suspected that she would grasp the technique before him, he refused to concede verbally. From your tone, it seems you are not convinced? Feng Xianhuang, upon hearing this, raised an eyebrow slightly, her gaze challenging as it met Xiao Ming's. How about this? Let us have a contest. If you are the first to comprehend the secret technique, you shall not only be my junior brother, but also cook for me in the future. If I lose, I shall address you as senior brother and prepare whatever meal you desire. Not long ago, she had wagered against Xiao Ming and ultimately retreated in defeat. Yet, nothing is absolute. She could not allow herself to be bested by him time and time again. This time, she was confident that her inherent advantages would allow her to decisively surpass Xiao Ming, proving that she was no mere trifling opponent. Ding. The life choice system has been randomly activated, presenting the host with the following options. Option 1. Surrender voluntarily, renouncing the wager against Feng Xianhuang, and proclaiming oneself inferior to her in every aspect, thereafter dutifully assuming the role of a disciple and cooking in exchange for a randomly awarded martial art technique. Option 2. Disregard her entirely, dismissing the proud Empress Feng Xianhuang with a mere roll of the eyes, and take the initiative to sit in front of the stone tablet for contemplation, which will yield a random spiritual treasure as a reward. Option 3. Fearlessly accept Feng Xianhuang's wager, asserting that she shall henceforth remain beneath him, preparing to have her serve him as a devoted disciple, in return for a randomly granted talent. Option 4. Defy the heavens, delivering a slap to Feng Xianhuang, compelling her to kneel and plead for his consent to the wager, thus earning a random divine ability as a reward. As the system's notification echoed unexpectedly, along with the emergence of several options before him, Xiao Ming's eyes sparkled with excitement. It must be said that this empress was indeed a stroke of fortune for him. Having triggered the system's selection once more, after a cursory glance at the 4 options, Xiao Ming swiftly dismissed the most absurd one. Slapping Feng Xianhuang and demanding her to kneel? He was no superhuman. Surely, the system was malfunctioning. The first 3 options, however, had their merits. Yet as a man, to be provoked by a woman, yielding or ignoring her would render him somewhat feeble. As cultivators, we cannot afford to be spineless. Thus Xiao Ming resolutely made his choice. System. I choose 3. Ding. Congratulations to the host for making a choice. You have received the reward of extraordinary enlightenment. The reward has been automatically placed into the system space and can be extracted at the host's convenience upon completion of the selection. Extraordinary enlightenment. When the host concentrates on contemplation, their comprehension will amplify indefinitely, and with the passage of time, they will enter a state of sudden realization. Is this a temporary boost granted to me? Upon receiving this information about the reward, a look of surprise crossed Xiao Ming's face. He considered his own comprehension to be quite commendable. Even if he was not a prodigy of enlightenment, he was certainly a remarkable talent. Otherwise, he would not have become the strongest prodigy among the younger generation of the Xiao clan. Now, with this endowment of talent, he felt entirely confident in surpassing anyone, even the reborn empress. After all, sudden realization is an elusive realm of enlightenment, allowing one to achieve harmony with the universe and effortlessly resonate with any martial art, divine ability, or principle. In such a state, One does not merely contemplate the essence of techniques. Rather, they fully immerse themselves within it. Provided one's comprehension is robust, it rivals the experience of receiving a divine transmission. This is incomparable to mere contemplation. Do you need to ponder this further? Seeing that Xiao Ming had yet to respond, Feng Xianhuang could not resist speaking again. Is there truly a need for deliberation? Since you possess such confidence, I shall indulge you. However, do not renege should you find yourself at a disadvantage. Upon hearing this, Xiao Ming waved his hand dismissively and replied with an air of nonchalance. As soon as he spoke, a prompt from the system echoed in his mind, indicating that his extraordinary perception could be extracted with a mere click. Without the slightest hesitation, Xiao Ming chose to extract it immediately. As a radiant light enveloped his being, he acquired this remarkable talent. Since you are so confident, let us await the outcome. Feng Xianhuang could not help but let out a cold laugh, choosing not to waste further words on Xiao Ming as she strode towards the stone tablet. By the way, you still owe me a sacred king's secret art. You haven't forgotten, have you? Just as Feng Xianhuang took her first step, Xiao Ming's voice floated from behind, nearly causing her to stumble. Is it merely a sacred king's secret art? After this competition, regardless of the outcome, I shall indeed provide it to you. Seeing Feng Xianhuang nearly transform into a furious tigress, a look of frustration crossed Xiao Ming's face. Her temper was somewhat volatile. No wonder she was known for playing with fire. However, considering that she was soon to become his junior apprentice, he decided not to hold her past misdeeds against her. As Feng Xianhuang sat cross-legged to commune with the stone tablet, Xiao Ming settled beside her, adopting a similar posture to connect with the stone tablet. As their souls intertwined with the essence of the stone, a chaotic space imbued with desolation unfolded before their eyes. The heavens offered no sun or moon, and the earth was devoid of life. Only ancient characters, exuding a terrifying aura of desolation, floated ominously in the air, as if they could devour vitality itself. Great desolation refining divine art. Upon seeing these 5 characters, Xiao Ming began to concentrate his attention, activating his extraordinary perception. His already exceptional understanding surged exponentially in that moment, multiplying beyond ordinary limits within mere breaths. With a resounding roar, Xiao Ming successfully entered a state of epiphany. His spiritual consciousness seemed to transcend, merging with the universe. The desolate essence contained within the stone tablet resonated with him, amplifying the profound atmosphere of desolation in the world around him. In this transformative moment, the ancient characters he beheld began to evolve into a greater array of cultivation scriptures. Such a spectacle compelled Feng Xianhuang to open her eyes wide, while Jiang Xianying, caught off guard, spat out a mouthful of spirit wine. Chapter 26. Mastering the Power of Desolation. Feng Xianhuang was on the verge of tears. Epiphany. Upon sensing the profound aura emanating from Xiao Ming, both Feng Xianhuang and Jiang Xianying nearly bulged their eyes in disbelief. Epiphany. This was the ultimate state of comprehending the arts and grasping the laws of the universe, and yet Xiao Ming had somehow stumbled into it? Damn it. How could he achieve such enlightenment? How could this imperial one compete with him? Feng Xianhuang gritted her teeth as she glared at Xiao Ming. Her heart constricted with frustration to the point of tears. She had initially believed that she could easily overpower him, only to find that he had entered a state of epiphany shortly after settling down. This was akin to receiving a coveted secret art without merit. It felt like cheating. No, even if he achieved epiphany, I am the reborn empress, with a foundation that far surpasses his by hundreds of times. I still have my chance to turn the tide. As her thoughts settled, Feng Xianhuang swiftly adjusted her mindset and once again entered a meditative state to comprehend the secret technique. Xiao Ming, situated beside her, experienced a moment of enlightenment, emanating an enigmatic aura that proved to be immensely beneficial to her. If she could harness this advantage effectively, she might grasp the essence of the technique ahead of time. Thus, until the final moment, the outcome remained uncertain. The girl's mental fortitude was commendable. Witnessing Feng Xianhuang transition from shock to dismay, only to promptly recalibrate her mindset and meditate, Jiang Xianying's face revealed a hint of admiration. In terms of mental resilience, recognizing that this contest was likely a foregone conclusion, yet still adjusting her mindset to fight until the last moment is indeed a requisite quality for becoming a formidable warrior. Only through tenacity can hope flourish. Even if the eventual outcome proves unsatisfactory, one can still find solace in the absence of regret. Time passed, perhaps a quarter of an hour, or even 2.5 hours, as mysterious patterns began to emerge on Xiao Ming's body. A terrifying aura of desolation erupted from him. He had succeeded. Upon witnessing Xiao Ming's successful manifestation of the desolate patterns, Jiang Xianying's expression brightened momentarily, only to shift to one of gravity, as if recalling a pressing thought. Although this individual had managed to condense the desolate patterns, It would take several years of growth to reach the level necessary to enter that realm. One could only hope that time remained on their side. Contemplating the heavy burden of her mission, a weight settled upon Jiang Xianying's heart. Meanwhile, as Jiang Xianying's thoughts raced, Xiao Ming felt the presence of the newly formed desolate patterns within him, along with the surge of desolate power in his true essence. An expression of shock and incredulity crossed his face. Despite no change in his cultivation realm, he sensed that his strength had been amplified manifold. Most astonishingly, this thread of desolate power appeared capable of obliterating and devouring vitality. Although it could not directly consume the life force of living beings to enhance one's cultivation, it could fortify the physical body and aid in healing injuries through that very vitality. Truly, the divine desolation ancient clan possessed powers of an extraordinary nature. Having successfully comprehended the great desolation refining spirit technique, he was, in essence, considered half a member of the divine desolation ancient clan. With these two divine abilities in his possession, he should strive for their complete mastery at the earliest. As Xiao Ming marveled internally, Jiang Xianying, returning to her senses, suddenly produced 2 jade slips. This caught Xiao Ming's attention instantly. As her master, Jiang Xianying was a lesser fate envoy of the divine desolation ancient clan, and the techniques she provided her disciples were bound to be exceptional. Were they of quasi-emperor level, or perhaps even emperor level? Do not dwell on it. These 2 divine abilities are both at the Saint King level. One is named Great Desolation Prison Sky Finger, created by a quasi-emperor of our clan, and it possesses a formidable destructive power. The other is called 8 Desolations Traverse, a technique that integrates mobility and defense, also meticulously developed by a quasi-emperor. Although both of you possess astounding talents, techniques at the emperor tier generally require a comprehension of the profound realm to initially harness and manifest their true potential. Therefore, at this juncture, the saint tier techniques are indeed the most fitting. Seemingly perceiving Xiao Ming's thoughts, Jiang Xianying immediately began to elucidate. Upon hearing her words, Xiao Ming did not rebut. Indeed, while imperial-level divine abilities are formidable, they remain utterly ineffective if one cannot harness them. Only through comprehending the profound essence or touching upon the laws can one truly cultivate imperial divine abilities. However, to be able to command a unique power of the ancient god clan right after becoming a disciple, along with acquiring 2 royal-level divine techniques, this apprenticeship truly proves to be a remarkable fortune. This woman has yet to embark on her journey? With a wave of his hand, Xiao Ming took the 2 jade slips, casting a sidelong glance at Feng Xianhuang, a smile involuntarily curling at the corners of his mouth. From this day forth, this aloof empress would henceforth refer to him as her senior brother, and she would even prepare meals for him. With the passage of time, wouldn't he inevitably become someone significant to her? The mere thought sent a thrill through him. Clearing his throat, Xiao Ming shook his head, suppressing his distractions, and began to comprehend these 2 divine techniques. As he once again calmed his mind, his extraordinary talent for understanding ignited anew. With his comprehension rapidly compounding, Xiao Ming entered a state of epiphany once more. Jiang Xianying nearly lost her balance atop the gnarled tree upon witnessing this. How could this be? This fellow actually experienced another epiphany. It is widely acknowledged that such moments are rare and elusive, requiring not only exceptional comprehension, but also the right timing, environment, and circumstances. Without luck, even the most perceptive minds struggle to achieve such enlightenment. Take her for example. In her entire life, she had only experienced 2 moments of epiphany, highlighting just how rare they truly are. Yet, her disciple, having just undergone an epiphany, was now on the brink of another. Was this mere coincidence, or had he mastered some method to attain enlightenment at will? Filled with incredulity, Jiang Xianying refrained from interrupting Xiao Ming's contemplation of the divine techniques, opting instead to carefully sense her disciple with her spiritual awareness. If it were the latter, and if she could glean the method of attaining epiphany from him, perhaps she could swiftly break through to the Saint King realm and become a genuine quasi-emperor powerhouse. However, as time passed, aside from acknowledging Xiao Ming's handsome appearance, she could discern no method that could facilitate such enlightenment. Perhaps I should interrogate this lad later. Resolute in her decision, Jiang Xianying shifted her focus away from Xiao Ming and resumed sipping from her wine gourd. Yet at that moment, accompanied by a surge of desolate energy, Feng Xianhuang suddenly opened her eyes, revealing intricate patterns of desolation upon her form. This bestowed her phoenix power with an enigmatic transformation. It resembled an unquenchable fire, eternally burning. It seemed that wherever life thrived, her phoenix flames would continue to blaze until they utterly consumed the vitality of her foes. This transformation left her utterly astonished. As a reincarnated empress, she was acutely aware of the magnitude of enhancement such a property change could bestow upon her combat prowess. Little did she expect that her entry into the Fuyo sacred land would grant her such an extraordinary opportunity. As her thoughts settled, Feng Xianhuang cast a glance at Xiao Ming beside her, only to find him still immersed in his state of comprehension. A look of astonishment crossing her face. Could it be that he has yet to grasp this secret technique even after entering a state of enlightenment? Is there something amiss with his innate understanding? Truly, one cannot outsmart destiny. It was unexpected that while he remained in this meditative state, his grasp of the secret technique still fell short of mine. The thought that she had emerged victorious from this contest caused a smirk to involuntarily curl at the corners of Feng Xianhuang's lips. However, before her joy could linger, Jiang Xianying's words suddenly pierced through the air like a splash of cold water, dousing her elation. Do not rejoice too soon. He has already mastered the secret technique. This is his second moment of enlightenment. Was it in comprehending the Saint King level divine ability I had just imparted to him? Upon hearing Jiang Xianying's words, Feng Xianhuang felt as if struck by lightning, her smile freezing instantly. A second moment of enlightenment. Is this fellow's comprehension truly so monstrous? Even I, a reborn empress, cannot compare. What manner of creature has he been reincarnated from? Truly, the Saint King level divine abilities surpass anything I have previously learned, both in the application of true essence and in the enhancement and protection of the physical body. Standing in a league of their own. While Feng Xianhuang was utterly astounded, Xiao Ming emerged from his meditative state, his face radiant, as if he had attained something monumental. In this moment of comprehension, he had successfully grasped the fundamentals of the 8 desolations and crossings, marking a significant leap in his combat prowess. Chapter 27. Senior Brother. Junior Sister is feeling mischievous. I kindly ask for your guidance. As the thought settled in, Xiao Ming resolved to press on and delve into another Saint King level divine ability. However, he suddenly felt a chill creeping up his back. Turning around, he discovered Jiang Xianying staring at him with intense fervor, while Feng Xianhuang appeared somewhat disheartened. As though greatly affected, you have comprehended one of the Saint King level divine abilities. Jiang Xianying inquired, his excitement palpable. Noticing Jiang Xianying's eager demeanor, Xiao Ming merely nodded slightly, which caused Jiang Xianying to take a deep breath, nearly compelled to pry open Xiao Ming's head to discern the secrets of his extraordinary intellect. In just 2.5 short hours, Xiao Ming had not only grasped the Great Desolation refinement technique, but had also comprehended a Saint King level divine ability. Such an accomplishment is exceedingly rare, even among the ancient clans of the divine wilderness. Moreover, Xiao Ming had experienced enlightenment twice within this brief period. How did you enter such a state of enlightenment? Amidst his astonishment, Jiang Xianying posed the question. This made Xiao Ming's heart tremble slightly, as he realized he had unwittingly appeared exceedingly prodigious. This is a soul talent I have awakened. As long as I focus and concentrate, my comprehension will dramatically increase, and there is a certain probability of entering a state of enlightenment. After a moment's contemplation, Xiao Ming could only attribute this ability bestowed by the system to his awakened soul talent. After all, in the Tsungyuan realm, the physical body can awaken various exceptional talents, and the soul can similarly manifest its own abilities. Furthermore, these talents cannot be transferred, rendering others unable to covet what is not theirs. Soul talents? Upon hearing Xiao Ming's explanation, Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang's eyes widened in astonishment, as if they had encountered a ghost. It is well known that in the Tsungyuan realm, apart from beings of spiritual essence, it is exceedingly difficult for other races to awaken soul talents. Indeed, more challenging than breaking through to the Emperor realm. To think this individual, in addition to possessing a chaotic physique, also harbors an exceedingly rare soul talent. Is he a monster? It seems I have taken on an extraordinary disciple this time. My interest in you continues to grow. Amidst her astonishment, Jiang Xianying scrutinized Xiao Ming, seemingly with an urge to strip him bare to study his anatomical structure, which left Xiao Ming feeling rather unnerved. He could only widen his eyes and watch Jiang Xianying with vigilance, fearing she might approach him with inappropriate intentions. Do not worry, I shall not harm you. There is no need for such scrutiny, she reassured him. Everyone has their own secrets. Not only do you appear to be extraordinary, but your senior sister here is also quite remarkable. Nevertheless, now that you are my disciples, you belong to me. Although I may seem a bit unreliable, Jiang Xianying, would never stoop to treachery. With that, she took a sip of her drink and continued addressing Feng Xianhuang. Since you have comprehended the great wilderness refining divine technique, you are qualified to cultivate our clan's supernatural powers. Just now, I bestowed 2 techniques upon your senior brother. Make sure you also contemplate them diligently, so you do not fall too far behind Xiao Ming. Now, the day is drawing to a close. You two should dig a hole and rest early. Do remember to prepare some delicious dishes for me to enjoy with my drinks tomorrow. With those words, Jiang Xianying's figure suddenly vanished, presumably entering the inner sanctum of Wangyue Peak. In the vastness of the mountain, only Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang remained, the atmosphere plunging into a profound silence. This is a Saint King level fire control secret method I obtained from a cave dwelling. It now belongs to you. After a moment of contemplation, Feng Xianhuang retrieved a jade slip from her spatial ring, raising her right hand to allow it to float before Xiao Ming. This secret method, acquired 6 months prior, had greatly aided her in her previous life and was the only Saint King method she could currently offer. A Saint King level fire control technique. Xiao Ming could not help but be taken aback, a look of delight spreading across his face. Indeed, it was a fortuitous coincidence. He still had the primordial fire seed in his system space, yet had been troubled about where to find a fire control technique after inheriting it. To his surprise, Feng Xianhuang presented him with exactly what he needed. Truly, a timely gift from a thoughtful sister. The items have been given to you. I will keep these 2 jade slips for now and will ponder over them tonight before returning them to you tomorrow. Without overthinking, Feng Xianhuang spoke and then took the 2 divine abilities given to her by Jiang Xianying. She aimed to grasp them by tonight, seeking to alleviate the sense of defeat that lingered within her. Wait, have you forgotten something? Just as Feng Xianhuang was about to depart, Xiao Ming intercepted her, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. According to our earlier wager, you shall henceforth be my junior sister, and you shall also cook for me. You wouldn't dare to renege on this, would you? Upon hearing Xiao Ming's taunt, Feng Xianhuang's lips twitched involuntarily, a sudden urge to strike him arising. I would never stoop to such deceit. I acknowledge my loss. You shall be my senior brother, and I shall find time to prepare meals for you. After a brief silence, Feng Xianhuang conceded. Very well, cooking can wait, but as my junior sister, shouldn't you address me as senior brother, allowing me to bask in the warmth of camaraderie? Xiao Ming waved his hand dismissively, seemingly unperturbed. Senior brother. No, that tone is far too cold. And your delivery lacks any semblance of fraternity. It must be more tender. After Xiao Ming's words, Feng Xianhuang stiffly responded, leaving him devoid of satisfaction. He promptly corrected her, causing a vein to throb on her forehead. After a moment of silence, observing Xiao Ming's eager expression, Feng Xianhuang clenched her teeth and tried again. Senior brother. The tone remains too frigid. Try once more. Senior tyrant. Goodness, that sounds like the voice of a 1,000-year-old grudge, utterly devoid of kinship. No, it must be redone, and remember to soften your tone. Xiao Ming, what with that fierce expression? Are you looking for a fight? You guessed it right. At Xiao Ming's remark, Feng Xianhuang's face contorted in frustration, her breath growing tempestuous. Though I am your junior sister, do not forget. Your cultivation is currently inferior to mine. With that, Feng Xianhuang clasped her hands in salute, unleashing her 9th layer spiritual sea cultivation in a powerful burst. Senior brother, my skin itches, please grant me guidance. With those words, Feng Xianhuang transformed into a blur, reaching out towards Xiao Ming. Itches, you say? Then allow your senior brother to scratch that itch. As the saying goes, fists have no eyes. Should I inadvertently strike you? Do not claim that your senior brother has wronged you. Noticing Feng Xianhuang's advance, Xiao Ming raised an eyebrow. He had been lamenting the lack of an opponent to test his strength, and this imperial junior sister had unexpectedly come forward. Although there was a 4-level gap in their cultivation, his chaotic body was no mere facade. Now, let this imperial junior sister experience the full force of his might. This prompted Jiang Xianying, within the confines of Wangyue Peak, to shake her head. After taking a sip of wine, she shed her garments and immersed herself in the spiritual spring, quietly observing the unfolding farce. Chapter 28. The Evolution of the Primitive Fire Seed and the Chaotic True Flame. Achieving a breakthrough to the 9th level of the Spirit Sea. Cackling with delight, what can the reborn empress do? She is still unable to thwart me. On Mount Wangyue, within a newly established cave dwelling, a smile graced Xiao Ming's face as he recalled his recent duel with Feng Xianhuang. This Empress Jr. truly believed that her status as a reborn sovereign, with a cultivation level for minor realms above his, granted her the ability to easily overpower him. Little did she realize, he practiced a supreme technique that transcended imperial rank, coupled with the divine powers he had just comprehended. Even though this junior sister possessed ample combat experience, she would still find it difficult to contend with her elder brother. However, Xiao Ming was not one to become complacent. After gaining a slight advantage, he noticed Feng Xianhuang's face growing increasingly flushed. He did not wish to humiliate her too much and deliberately left an opening, conceding the match. At that moment, the proud empress nearly transformed from a phoenix into a diminutive peacock. Yet, his master was right. There are always greater heights beyond the heavens and greater beings beyond humanity. Though endowed with a chaotic body and the practice of an unparalleled technique, one cannot assume there are no other anomalies in this world. Should I become arrogant and self-satisfied, I will undoubtedly stagnate. It is imperative that I strive to enhance myself continually. With this thought, Xiao Ming's heart brimmed with determination. He promptly extracted and inherited the human sovereign banner from the system space. Ding! Congratulations to the host for the successful one-click inheritance. The human sovereign banner is now binding to the host. As the system's notification echoed, the human sovereign banner transformed into a beam of light and entered his sea of consciousness, emanating a chilling black aura at its core. It appeared more akin to a demonic artifact than a treasure of the human sovereign. Regrettably, the banner's essence was currently depleted and lacking a soul cultivation technique. He was unable to utilize this supreme treasure, necessitating its temporary storage within his sea of consciousness for nurturing. Gazing at the human sovereign banner within his sea of consciousness, a hint of regret crossed Xiao Ming's face. It seemed he would need to devise a method to acquire a soul cultivation secret art. Suppressing this thought, Xiao Ming extracted another reward, the soul-devouring sword. Ding! Congratulations to the host for the successful one-click inheritance. The soul-devouring sword is now binding to the host. As the system's notification rang out, the soul-devouring sword suddenly materialized before him. Measuring over 4 feet in length, its entire body gleamed a ghostly white, resembling a bone of jade. The hilt was graced by a crystalline skull, its eye sockets glowing with an eerie red light, presenting a rather unsettling sight. Moreover, the blade was shrouded in a layer of strange black smoke, pulsating like ghostly fire, clearly indicating it was not a righteous weapon. Although he understood this object was no good, its ominous appearance left him uncertain about wielding it. Observing the soul-devouring sword's design, Xiao Ming's apprehension dissipated. Should he brandish this sword in battle, he would undoubtedly be labeled a nefarious villain. Nevertheless, he resolved to exercise caution in the early stages, when his strength was sufficient. The distinction between good and evil would be his to define. Shaking his head, Xiao Ming dismissed further thoughts and casually stored the soul-devouring sword. Extracting the final reward from the system space, the primitive fire seed. From the chaos emerged a mysterious spark of fire, capable of devouring the extraordinary flames of the world for its own use. And it is also a potent means to directly enhance one's strength. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully inheriting with a single click. The primordial fire seed begins to merge with the host. As the system's prompt resonated, the primordial fire transformed into a ray of light, penetrating into Xiao Ming's body, unleashing a wave of terrifying energy fluctuations. Flames ignited upon Xiao Ming, and his cultivation aura surged wildly. 6th level of the Spirit Sea Realm. 7th level of the Spirit Sea Realm. As the primordial fire seed fully integrated, Xiao Ming's cultivation stabilized at the 9th level of the Spirit Sea Realm. Such an astonishing transformation did not go unnoticed by Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang, who both looked up toward Xiao Ming's cave abode. What a fearsome and violent aura of fire. Could something have happened to him? As this thought crossed their minds, Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang rushed out of their own caves, hastening to Xiao Ming's dwelling. What a marvelous sensation. Is this the true fire of chaos? Feeling the surging true fire coursing through him, Xiao Ming could not help but reveal a trace of awe. However, before he could marvel for long, 2 figures appeared within the cave. What do you want? Upon seeing the sudden arrival of Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang, Xiao Ming hastily retracted the chaotic true fire, covering his well-built form with vigilance in his gaze. We just sensed an incredibly violent energy fluctuation and thought you had gone astray in your cultivation. Hearing Xiao Ming's words and observing that he was unharmed, Feng Xianhuang and Jiang Xianying felt a touch of embarrassment. After a brief pause, Feng Xianhuang was the first to inquire. Just now, what was that flame? It appeared to be some sort of exceptional, top-tier flame. After the emergence of that flame, she had sensed her own phoenix true fire being suppressed, and this flame exerted a fatal allure over her. It seemed that if she could harmonize with this flame, her phoenix true fire would receive immense benefits. Hence, her eagerness and uncontrollable desire to uncover the nature of this flame. Jiang Xianying remained silent, her gaze fixed intensely on Xiao Ming, her eyes brimming with profound curiosity. This particular flame also exerted a peculiar attraction and suppression over the barren true fire within her. The true fire of chaos. Just now, I inadvertently lost to you, and upon returning, my emotions surged, causing my chaotic physique to awaken a second time, leading to the emergence of this flame. Observing the yearning on their faces, Xiao Ming spoke with a serious air, weaving a fanciful tale. This response left Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang momentarily stunned, clearly unable to accept such absurd reasoning. To lose in a spar, and then due to excessive emotional fluctuation, one's physique awakens a second time? Is the chaotic physique truly so extraordinary? If that were the case, wouldn't Xiao Ming be able to continuously stimulate himself, evolving into a god with each instance? If you do not believe me, feel free to examine my conscience. I assure you, I am not lying. Observing the incredulous expressions on Jiang Xianying and Feng Xianhuang's faces, Xiao Ming enveloped himself in a robe of true essence, rising to his feet as he confidently patted his chest. Let me see your true fire. Jiang Xianying replied in a solemn tone following Xiao Ming's declaration. Upon hearing these words, Xiao Ming turned his hand over, and the chaotic true fire danced like a spirited sprite, quietly igniting upon his palm. The essence of the flame was pure and primal. As if birthed from the very chaos itself, it was indistinguishable from the essence of a chaotic body. Feeling the unique characteristics of the flame, Jiang Xianying murmured with astonishment. Just as Xiao Ming had asserted, this flame seemed to be an extension of himself, having indeed evolved from within him. She never anticipated that the chaotic body could be so formidable, capable of generating such a terrifying true fire. Should her disciple avoid calamity, he was destined to attain the status of a great emperor, and perhaps even surpass that realm. Your true fire is indeed of a high caliber, but your current strength is too feeble to unleash its true potential. In the future, you must focus on enhancing your cultivation, she advised. Moreover, the chaotic true fire possesses a deadly allure for certain fire cultivators and fire attribute beasts. Exercise caution in its use, lest you attract the attention of those with ulterior motives. After reflecting on this, Jiang Xianying cautioned him. If Xiao Ming were not her disciple, she might have been tempted to seize the chaotic true fire for herself in hopes of reaping some benefits. I understand. Xiao Ming nodded solemnly, aware of the treacherous nature of humanity and recognizing that prudence was essential for longevity. After imparting her warnings, Jiang Xianying departed, leaving Feng Xianhuang in a state of complex emotions, standing still in place. As their gazes met, the atmosphere grew somewhat awkward. Chapter 29. What did you say? Xiao Ming is your disciple's fiancé? Ahem. Why are you staring at me like that? Are you looking for another fight? Noticing Feng Xianhuang's unwavering gaze, Xiao Ming cleared his throat, eager for a challenge. Should a rematch occur, he would not intentionally lose. He would decisively seize her and deliver a stern reprimand, reminding this empress that she should not provoke her senior brother. You are indeed a formidable opponent, but I, Feng Xianhuang, shall not be defeated by you. After Xiao Ming spoke, a complex expression crossed Feng Xianhuang's face, followed by a resolute declaration. Without pausing, she turned and exited the cave, her heart in turmoil, needing solitude to gather her thoughts. Moments ago, she had managed to suppress Xiao Ming during their confrontation, boosting her confidence significantly, convinced that she would emerge victorious in their comparison a month hence. However, now, Xiao Ming had inexplicably awakened, not only breaking through to the 9th layer of the spirit sea, but also possessing such an enigmatic, chaotic true fire. If she were to let her guard down, she would undoubtedly find herself at a disadvantage in their upcoming contest, a realization that filled her with unprecedented pressure. Had the woman been struck by misfortune? Observing the departing silhouette of Feng Xianhuang, Xiao Ming's lips curled into a subtle smile. What of the reborn empress? Unless he deliberately eased the challenge, it would be exceedingly difficult for this woman to triumph over him. Nonetheless, Xiao Ming remained unfazed, settling into a cross-legged position to resume his cultivation. The primal spark of fire was transforming into the true chaos flame. He needed to swiftly grasp the art of fire control for it to manifest its true efficacy. With this thought, Xiao Ming retrieved the jade slip that Feng Xianhuang had bestowed upon him, his soul consciousness merging with it as he began to comprehend the inheritance contained within. The flame control technique, the myriad fires of the world, ever-changing. The path of fire could take on forms, evolve, merge, split, and combine in a multitude of ways as his soul consciousness delved deeper. The teachings within the jade slip began to materialize as scriptures before Xiao Ming's eyes, transporting him into a realm woven of flames, where the applications of fire left him in awe. With the augmentation of his extraordinary perception, Xiao Ming swiftly entered a state of enlightenment. The true chaos flame morphed into tiny flickers, continuously shifting around him, growing increasingly adept as time passed. It could not only split into multiple fiery entities, but also arrange itself into intricate formations, even transforming into various fiery shapes. If Feng Xianhuang were to witness this scene, she would likely be left agape, for the level of Xiao Ming's flame control, achieved in merely an hour, would have taken her half a year to attain in her previous life. 1 hour of enlightenment equated to 6 months for others. Such cultivation efficiency was truly remarkable. 2.5 days swiftly passed, as Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang entered the sacred land of Fuyao. Tales of their exploits began to circulate throughout the northern Xian realm. Numerous factions became aware of their presence, as overnight, the sacred land welcomed 2 prodigious talents possessing the potential for imperial ascension. Many of the saints from various sacred grounds felt a surge of competitive spirit, eager to challenge these 2 individuals. After all, Defeating these gifted individuals would not only elevate their own renown, but also bolster their self-confidence. Moreover, as the situation unfolded, the backgrounds of Xiao Ming and Feng Xianhuang were unearthed. The little princess of the Phoenix clan, Feng Xianhuang, had a relatively uneventful life, being the cherished darling of her family with little scandal to share. In contrast, Xiao Ming was revealed to be a castaway of his family, accused of attempting to seduce his cousin to frame his brother, and subsequently stripped of his cultivation and ruined in physique by his own father. This revelation piqued the interest of many factions. Having lost his cultivation and body, how did this individual manage to restore his powers in just a few days? With the potential to ascend the 1,061 steps of the Fuyao heavenly ladder? Clearly, this so-called castaway from the Xiao family possessed extraordinary opportunities. Remarkably, aside from his own impressive prowess, Xiao Ming was also revealed to have a formidable younger brother. Young Master Xiao Run, astonishingly, is endowed with the supreme bone. Just a few days prior, he underwent a transformation within the Xiao family, successfully nurturing his supreme bone and experiencing a meteoric rise in cultivation to the 8th level of the Spirit Sea realm. Upon his return to the Tai Sacred Land, he remarkably passed the assessment set by the Tai Saint Lord, thus becoming a sequential holy son of the Tai Sacred Land, and was even taken as a disciple by the Tai Saint Lord himself. He was bestowed with the celestial flame by the Tai Saint Lord, propelling his cultivation from the 8th to the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm, merely a half step away from refining the Spirit Sea to forge a perfect celestial realm. He is undoubtedly the most sought-after young prodigy among his generation at the Tai Sacred Land, possessing the potential to attain the status of an emperor. According to the speculations of insiders, Xiaoran could have easily advanced to the 1st level of the celestial realm with the rewards conferred by the Tai Saint Lord. However, in anticipation of the upcoming journey to the ghostly fiend's secret realm in half a month's time, he chose to restrain his cultivation at the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm, aiming to refine his Spirit Sea using the celestial fiendish energy to create an immaculate celestial realm. His combat prowess is unparalleled. Aside from the monstrous talents of the imperial bloodline, none in the same realm of the northern Xian territory can rival him. Rumors have it that this brother, endowed with the supreme bone, will soon ascend to the Fuyao Sacred Land to seek retribution against his elder brother and cleanse the humiliation brought upon him. Many prodigies are keenly observing the movements at Fuyao Sacred Land, not wanting to miss this anticipated sibling showdown. Meanwhile, Xiao Ming remains oblivious to the external happenings, deeply engrossed in his cultivation. After gaining preliminary mastery over the flame control technique, he sought to reclaim the great wilderness prison sky finger from Feng Xianhuang, immersing himself once more into the comprehension of profound techniques and abilities. On the other side, at Fuyao Sacred Land, atop the Jade Maiden Peak, a voice resonated, "Sister, you have finally returned. I was just looking for you." As one figure materialized in the Grand Hall, another followed suit. It was none other than Ling Ruoxuan, the Peak Master of Jade Maiden Peak, alongside her sister, the esteemed Elder Ling Rui. "What troubles you? Is there a significant issue at Jade Maiden Peak?" Ling Ruoxuan inquired, her brow furrowed, recalling the myriad of eyes that had been watching upon her return to Fuyao Sacred Land. "No, it is that a couple of days ago, 2 prodigies possessing the potential to attain emperor status emerged at Fuyao Sacred Land. Both have ascended beyond the 1000th step in the entrance examination of the Fuyao Heavenly Ladder. One is named Xiao Ming, and the other Feng Xianhuang." Upon hearing these names, Ling Ruoxuan's pupils involuntarily contracted, a figure flashing through her mind. To her astonishment, the young man she had shared an intimate evening with not long ago had managed to ascend beyond the 1000th step of the Fuyao Heavenly Ladder. Such an accomplishment far surpasses her own earlier achievements. Truly, he is worthy of being the man she once embraced. A slight smirk tugged at the corners of Ling Ruoxuan's lips, leaving Ling Rui beside her somewhat bewildered. "Sister, do you happen to know the young man named Xiao Ming? It is said that the token he brought to the Fuyao Sacred Land for the assessment is the Peak Master's jade pendant held by his sister." Upon hearing this, Ling Ruoxuan nodded slightly, her gaze somewhat evasive as she spoke. "I had a brief encounter with him in the 10,000 Great Mountains. I encountered an unexpected situation, and he happened to lend me significant assistance." "How wonderful. This certainly simplifies matters." Ling Rui's expression brightened upon hearing Ling Ruoxuan's words. "This fellow happens to be the fiancé of my disciple, but unfortunately, he was snatched away by a certain individual from Wangyue Peak to become a disciple. My disciple returned and lamented to me about wanting to find him." "What did you say?" Just as Ling Rui's words were about to conclude, Ling Ruoxuan's countenance suddenly shifted, and she grasped Ling Rui's shoulder tightly. "Xiao Ming is your disciple's fiancé." Ling Rui had taken on 2 disciples, one named Yunling and the other Su Qinghua. Both possessed commendable talents, a fact she, as the Peak Master, was well aware of. She had never anticipated that the fiancé of one of them would be Xiao Ming, someone with whom she had a connection. What a coincidence this is. Chapter 30. She must not allow this opportunity to fall into the hands of another. Caught off guard by Ling Ruoxuan's sudden grip and her evident agitation, Ling Rui was momentarily stunned, but then her expression changed dramatically. In that instant, as Ling Ruoxuan's breath became erratic, she sensed that something was amiss. Sister you have lost your primordial yin. In her heart, surprise flooded Ling Rui. She instinctively seized Ling Ruoxuan's shoulder, her emotions becoming agitated as well. Could it be? That person is Xiao Ming. Upon hearing Ling Rui's words, Ling Ruoxuan's expression shifted once more. After breaking free from her grasp, she took a deep breath, her demeanor returning to its usual cool composure. It was merely an accident. Had it not been for the schemes of the extreme desire demon lord, I would never have. As she spoke, Ling Ruoxuan seemed to feel quite embarrassed, promptly changing her tone. I will be entering seclusion for a period of time. You will handle the matters of the Jade Maiden Peak. With that, she turned to leave, but then paused for a moment as if recalling something. By the way, do not seek trouble with him. It was I who coerced him, and he bears no responsibility in this matter. As for the relationship between him and your disciple, let them take their course. With those final words, Ling Ruoxuan's figure vanished, leaving Ling Rui in a state of disarray. For a long time, a senior sister who had been very close to Ling Ruoxuan had been captured and brutally killed by the people of the Nine Nether Demon sect. Her body discarded before the mountain gate of the Fuyao sacred land. Since that incident, Ling Ruoxuan not only harbored a deep hatred for the demon lord of the Nine Nether Demon sect, but also developed an aversion to men, maintaining a cold demeanor for years. Little did she expect that after preserving her purity for hundreds of years, she would unexpectedly lose herself to a man. And that man would be none other than her disciple's fiancé. This truly is a calamity. One may escape for a moment, but cannot escape for a lifetime. What shall be done next? On one side stands her elder sister, and on the other, her disciple, both situated upon the Jade Maiden Peak. Although Xiao Ming has been accepted as a disciple by a master from the Moonwatch Peak, and typically does not frequent the prominent summits of the Fuyao sacred land, it is inevitable that they will eventually cross paths, given that he resides within this sacred domain. This thought alone leaves Ling Rui feeling quite perplexed. It seems she must seize an opportunity to probe Xiao Ming's sentiments towards her sister and his attitude towards her disciple. In just 2.5 days, not only has she grasped the essence of the great wilderness refining God technique, but she has also made significant progress with the fire control technique. Her strength has soared to remarkable heights. As she revels in her increasing mastery over the powers of desolation and chaotic true fire, Xiao Ming wears a satisfied smile. His cultivation has firmly stabilized at the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm, and with further refinement, he will soon be ready to challenge the celestial realm. Alas, 2.5 days feels rather insufficient. The Great Wilderness Prison Finger and the 8 Wilderness Traverse remain at the entry-level stage, indicating that he must dedicate more time to comprehend these profound techniques. Feeling a twinge of hunger, he resolves to seek out that female Imperial Junior to prepare him something to eat. Reflecting on the past 2.5 days, he realizes that Feng Xianhuang has been sequestered in her cave, seemingly avoiding him, her elder brother. This irks Xiao Ming greatly. They had agreed that she would cook for him, yet she has chosen to hide away. Is this not a blatant breach of their agreement? Though cultivators like him can easily forego meals, his concern is not merely for satiating his hunger. Rather, it is the attitude of Feng Xianhuang that weighs on his mind. Thus, he feels compelled to remind his junior sister to honor her word. Where is the master of Moonwatch Peak? As he prepares to leave his cave, an ancient voice suddenly reverberates through the air. This startles Xiao Ming, for it belongs to the Grand Elder of the Celestial Guard Pavilion, who has urgent matters to discuss with the disciples of Moonwatch Peak. The Celestial Guard Pavilion appears to be the institution responsible for assigning tasks and distributing resources within the Fuyao sacred land. Could it be that the Lord of Fuyao has a mission for them? As this thought crosses his mind, Xiao Ming steps out of his cave, only to see Feng Xianhuang, who has also emerged from her own retreat, an unprecedented occurrence. Come in. As Jiang Xianying's voice resonates in the air, a ripple manifests, and the elder is directly teleported inside. This is due to the protective barriers Jiang Xianying has established around Moonwatch Peak. Without her permission, or unless one has cultivated the Great Wilderness Refining God technique, any attempt to enter Moonwatch Peak would trigger these defenses, resulting in instant annihilation, even for those at the Saint Realm. Therefore, within the Fuyao sacred land, without Jiang Xianying's consent, even the Peak Masters dare not tread into the inner sanctum of Moonwatch Peak. Greetings, young friends. It is a pleasure to meet you for the first time. I am Su Beeching, the Grand Elder of the Celestial Guard Pavilion. Upon entering Moonwatch Peak, Su Biqing descended before Xiao Ming and Feng Xianwang, greeting them with a courteous bow and a smile. Although he had reached the 4th level of the Saint Realm and was considered a formidable figure within the Fuyou sacred land, he dared not adopt an arrogant demeanor in the presence of Xiao Ming and Feng Xianwang. Elder Su, you are too kind, they replied with a respectful nod. Their curiosity piqued. Might we inquire what brings you here on this occasion? There are indeed matters of significance, Su Biqing stated directly, without further ado. In approximately 10 days, the Ghost Fiend's secret realm in the northern region of the Northern Xian territory will be opening. The Holy Master has sent me to inquire whether you wish to participate. Should you choose to do so, the two of you need not partake in the intersect competition to qualify for entry into the secret realm. However, if you decide against it, the sacred land will not insist. The Ghost Fiend's secret realm? Upon hearing Su Biqing's words, Xiao Ming's expression shifted, revealing a hint of astonishment. He was somewhat familiar with this secret realm from his time in the Xiao family. It was said that over 3,000 years ago, a fragment of a broken world traversed from the void, ultimately landing in the northern expanse of the 10,000 mountains, giving rise to this secret realm. It was rumored to be filled with various malevolent energies and inhabited by all manner of demons and monsters, yet it also harbored countless opportunities. Besides the rare celestial treasures, the most enticing aspect was the malevolent energy contained within. This energy held a fragment of the world's primordial essence. If a practitioner at the spiritual sea realm were to consume it, they could not only easily break through to the cave heaven realm, but also experience a qualitative leap in the quality of their newly opened cave heaven. Thus, since the emergence of the secret realm in the 10,000 mountains, it had been fiercely contested by numerous forces, but ultimately came under the control of the 5 dominant powers of the Northern Xian territory. However, due to the incomplete laws of heaven and earth within the secret realm, practitioners above the cave heaven realm were unable to enter. Furthermore, the cultivation of the malevolent energy was exceedingly arduous. Consequently, the 5 powers united to establish restrictions, allowing the secret realm to open only once every 10 years, permitting their juniors to enter and vie for opportunities. And now, in just over 10 days, the Ghost Fiend's secret realm would open once more. We shall participate. As the information regarding the Ghost Fiend's secret realm flooded Xiao Ming's mind, Feng Xianwang, without hesitation, eagerly affirmed her intent. If memory served her well, this opening would see unprecedented changes, including the emergence of the legendary 7-colored malevolence. In her past life, the 7-colored malevolence had been seized and refined by the prodigies of the Tai sacred land and the Yaoquan sacred land, resulting in the creation of 2 supreme geniuses even more formidable than the imperial sons. Even with her ancient phoenix bloodline, she had been suppressed by those 2 for an extended period. This time around, she would not allow such an opportunity to slip into the hands of others. Excellent, Su Biqing remarked with a subtle smile upon hearing Feng Xianhuang's instant agreement. With their participation, the Fuyou Sacred Lands team would possess a steadfast backbone, potentially reaping greater benefits within the Ghost Fiend's secret realm.